In this video, I'm gonna rank all things Star Wars for over 3 hours. Yep, you read the title right, it was not a lie. We're ranking movies, TV shows, characters, lightsabers, deleted scenes, heck, every single Clone Wars arc, and so much more. This video has it all. Now, it's gonna be a long one, but hey, that's on you. You knew that when you clicked. So relax, kick your feet up, and get ready to enjoy. And we're gonna start off with, I think, the most obvious category. Star Wars movies. Films that have captured the hearts, souls, and imaginations of people all over the world. In the last 50 years, we've had 11 movies, all helping to tell one epic story. And this morning, I hopped out of bed thinking to myself, you know what? Today's the day. Somebody cue the music, because in this video, I'm going to rank every single Star Wars movie from absolute worst to absolute best. That's right, 90 videos and literally hundreds of comments begging me later. I'm finally doing it. So without further ado, let's get into it. And coming up first, at the number 11 spot, as the absolute worst Star Wars movie to ever be made, say it with me now, it's Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Now, this is not a hot take whatsoever. Despite some, let's just say, passionate individuals on Twitter, I'd say that a good majority of Star Wars fans absolutely hated this movie. And for good reason. I mean, I'm right up there with them. It's honestly kind of hard to think of something that Episode 8 did right. I'm not going to do a whole plot breakdown because that would take hours, but there are plenty of video essays on YouTube that go over every aspect of this movie and just tear it apart. There's this YouTuber I like named Mauler, who made a 3-part video essay series breaking down The Last Jedi in its entirety. And if you add up all 3 of his videos, it comes out to over 4.5 hours long. I mean, that's how many issues the movie had. I am going to go over some of the big things that I thought this movie did really badly, and there was no bigger disappointment than the absolute and complete destruction of Luke Skywalker and his character. The Luke Skywalker that we knew from the original trilogy was a passionate, optimistic, dedicated young man who saw the good in everybody and refused to give up on somebody no matter how evil they seemed. He was a character that everyone could look up to and learn something from, no matter how young or old you are. So based on that, there's no way that Rian Johnson would have completely bastardized the character we knew and loved solely for the purpose of subverting expectations, would he? I mean, that's like Sam Sulek not getting a sick chest bump. It just wouldn't happen. Oh dear viewer, I'm sorry to say that is exactly what happened. Luke is now a grumpy, sad, pessimistic old man. He's given up on everyone and everything he believed in, abandoned the resistance in their time of need, and deserted himself on some random island in the middle of bumfrick nowhere. And the reason that he did all of this is because years ago, he almost killed his own nephew in his sleep because he got funky vibes from him. Now, let's just think about this for like 2 seconds. Does it make sense that the man who didn't give up on Darth Vader, one of the most twisted and vile men in the galaxy, would try to kill his own nephew just because he had nightmares? Anyway, Luke is only a small part of The Last Jedi's overall suckiness. As you might expect, Rey is a total Mary Sue. I mean, she goes to train with Luke on his island, and as far as I can remember, learns literally nothing with him. I mean, literally nothing. Except that she's already super powerful and really dangerous without any training whatsoever, and that getting smacked on the hand with a fern really freaking hurts, apparently. But then on a separate note, don't even get me started on Finn and Rose's entire useless side quest that ultimately goes literally nowhere. It's just a complete waste of time in every way whatsoever. Oh, and who could possibly forget about Admiral Holdo's huge plot hole that she created single-handedly, where she can apparently blow anything and everything up just by going into hyperspace. Huh, that could have been useful information to know for, oh, I don't know, the entire Star Wars saga. Again, I could go on all day and go into huge detail because this movie is just rife with problems, but for time's sake, let's move on to the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 10 is, you guessed it, The Rise of Skywalker. This movie is just barely better than The Last Jedi, and there are a few reasons for that, which we'll get into. But overall, it's, again, just an entire waste of time. I can sum it up for you in a few words. Our heroes run around the galaxy looking for random MacGuffins. When, shocker, they find the random MacGuffins, they go fight Emperor Palpatine, because yes, he is back now. How exactly did he come back, you might ask? Well, somehow.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yep, somehow. That's the answer they gave us. That's precisely how he did it. I can't believe I'm even saying this next part, but after he lifts 1,000 Death Star Star Destroyers out of the random Sith planet that no one's ever heard of until now, and zaps all the other ships with Force Lightning, Rey says that she is all the Jedi, and kills him again with his own Force Lightning. And there we have it. Half the movie is a random treasure hunt, and the other half is a random duel with no stakes or significance to us as viewers whatsoever. A perfect recipe for a great movie. To be fair, there were a couple things here and there that weren't too bad. I thought that Han Solo and Kylo Ren had a pretty nice moment with each other that gave more finality to Han's death. Even though the entire thing was like some weird funky hallucination in Kylo Ren's brain, I get what they were going for, and I can appreciate that. It was also pretty cool to see Lando Calrissian again. I kind of forgotten about him, but he was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. Alright, we're gonna break into single digits now, and this opinion might be a little unpopular, but I think that the 9th worst movie in Star Wars is all the way on the other side of the saga, and that is Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Look, I straight up don't think this movie is very good. I think it does some things well and does have some good good parts, but overall, I found it kind of lacking. In my opinion, I think it was just a very weird choice to give us a kid Anakin. I completely understand why they did it, but I think that there were other options for the plot that would have served the prequels a little bit better. Also, I'm a tad biased because I just don't like child actors at all. No offense whatsoever to Jake Lloyd, I think he did fine, and he did not deserve the hate that he got for being a part of this movie. But generally, children in movies are just not my cup of tea. On a separate note, the three bright spots of this movie were Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul, and they were all criminally underused. Qui-Gon Jinn in particular, I would have liked to see more of. I think he was a really interesting character. Finally, things like Jar Jar Binks and the Gungans as a whole just pissed me off. I found them super annoying. If I had to sum it up, I'd say that the main reason this movie is here on this list is because I think it did a lot of things badly, but also, I just find every other movie in Star Wars to be just a little bit better, just a tad, and I can't really put this one higher. But speaking of other movies in Star Wars that are better, let's move on to number 8, which is the one and only Force Awakens. I think that most people would agree that The Force Awakens is probably the best movie out of the sequel trilogy. It certainly had its issues, and we'll get to those, don't worry, but it also did a few good things right, in my opinion. Princess Leia was given the respect that she deserved, and she was right where she should have been, leading the resistance against the power of the First Order. Also, Finn and Poe were both pretty good characters that I was actually interested in, at least until the next two sequels absolutely squandered them, especially Finn. I mean, man, talk about a downgrade. He went from being the next big Jedi to some random background character. Kind of sad to watch, to be honest. Kylo Ren was actually a really cool villain initially, and he genuinely seems like someone to be frightened of. He kind of lost some of that mystique and intimidation when he got beat in a lightsaber duel by someone who never even held a lightsaber before, but for a lot of the movie, he's pretty cool. And I will give it to him, his lightsaber is actually sick, I'm a big fan of it. However, two components of the movie just shine through as absolute garbage, and those are Rey and Han Solo. Rey, as you might expect, is a total Mary Sue, who is extremely competent at everything she tries to do. Lightsaber fighting, piloting, using the Force, she learns it all in like 2 seconds. Absolutely no hate at all for Daisy Ridley, she's a good actress and she did the best she could with what she was given. It just so happens that what she was given was absolute trash that deserves to be lit on fire and burned for no one to ever see again. And then there's Han Solo, who at first was great to see again. I mean, we were all happy when he showed up in the Millennium Falcon in the middle of the movie. But then you think about it and you realize, oh wait a minute, he's right back where he started. In the original trilogy, he goes through this awesome journey, from a selfish rogue to someone who would give his life to help a cause greater than himself. So it's kind of really sad to start up in The Force Awakens and see that he's back to his old ways. He's left Leia, he's left Kylo Ren, and now it's just him and Chewie, smoking dope in the Millennium Falcon like Cheech and Chong. It's really sad to see, and it totally brings down the mood of the entire movie. Also, it's almost criminal that we never got a scene with Han, Luke, and Leia all in the same room together. I mean, these are sequels to the original movies. It seems like the bare minimum for this trilogy, and sadly they robbed us of it. But you know what? Enough of that. Let's move on, and coming up at the number 7 spot actually has a lot to do with Han Solo, because it's none other than Solo, a Star Wars story. Look, I'm gonna be honest here. I like Solo. I think that it's a decent movie and I don't really understand all the hate for it. All the actors were, in my opinion, really good younger versions of their original characters, and Donald Glover especially was very memorable as Lando. Also, I thought that the way Han met Chewbacca was very well done too. And I know it's not exactly how it went down in Legends, but it's not too far off either. By far the biggest flaw in this movie is the character of Han Solo himself. I didn't think he was bad at all, but if you take a second to think about it, you kind of realize that it lacks understanding of Han's journey. When we first meet him in the original trilogy, he's a rogue scoundrel who looks out for number 1, and only after those 3 movies does he start to become someone who cares about more than just himself. Solo, however, jumps the gun. In the movie, Han is a straight up good guy, someone who cares about doing the right thing, and he simply wouldn't have been at that place yet. Other than that though, there's not too much more I can say. I kind of like Solo, and I think putting it right above the middle of the list works well. Alright, approaching the smack dab middle of this list at number 6 is the one and only Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is one of those movies that has a really bad reputation among Star Wars fans, and even though I kind of get why, I can't say I fully agree. Don't get me wrong, this movie has a lot of faults, and we'll get to those, but it also does a few good things right. First of all, the straight up plot of the movie is just better than The Phantom Menace. I say that with 100% certainty. It's more concise, it flows better, it's more engaging, and it just works better. Ewan McGregor was actually so good as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I think it's safe to say that he carried the movie, at least to some extent. I mean, show me someone who says they don't like Obi-Wan, and I'll show you a filthy liar. Finally, this is the movie that really gave some background to the Republic, the Clone Wars, and the Jedi Order. Love it or hate it, this movie does do a pretty good job describing what happened before the Empire, and I think that people overlook that. After all, it is a prequel. Its main purpose is to add to and expand upon what happened in the original trilogy. So that's what I think the movie does very well. However, there are some downsides, and I think that most people could tell you what they are. The CGI looks pretty bad for a lot of the movie. I mean, it literally feels like a video game. All of the Anakin Skywalker, Padme Amidala romance scenes are really cringy and hard to watch, and there are endless memes about these. I don't think I have to get into that too much. The movie does introduce Count Dooku, who, as you might know if you've watched this channel before, is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Unfortunately, he is criminally underutilized for the entire prequel trilogy, in fact, so that was a little bit disappointing. But overall, I think that Attack of the Clones is a little overhated, and I'm pretty confident that it belongs here, at the number 6 spot. Alright, so from here on out, all these movies are just great. Like, these next 5 are just objectively some of the best cinema you will find. And surprisingly enough, at the number 5 spot itself, we have Rogue One, which might surprise some of you. I mean, it surprised me, and I made the list. But speaking of surprises, imagine that you're casually chilling with your army of battle droids, and then out of nowhere, some quick-witted buffoon jumps down on you. I think he would, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think he'd say something along the lines of, "Hello there, everybody. My name is Jedwerd, and I make tons of videos about Star Wars and other franchises like it. And if you're enjoying this video so far, then do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it." As I was saying, Rogue One is not really what you think of when you think of Star Wars. It's gritty, it's more realistic, it's brutal, and everyone dies in the end. But in my opinion, those are some of the things that make it so great. It totally takes you by surprise and shows you the realities of a war against a galactic empire. It also shows how far people are willing to go and how much they'll sacrifice for the things they believe in. Those are some of the more thematic elements of it, and they are great, but on a more superficial level, the characters are all really interesting, and they're engaging to watch and learn about. Cassian Andor, Director Krennic, and Jin in particular are really good in my opinion. The plot comes together really well, and it's easy to follow, along with looking phenomenal. I mean, the visual effects in this movie are out of this world, literally. Finally, this is really superficial, but the icing on the cake for the whole movie is Darth Vader's hallway scene. I mean, he just absolutely starts popping off, and to be honest, I am all for it. Very rarely in Star Wars do we get to see him absolutely obliterate his enemies, so getting to watch him in action is definitely a treat. The reason it's not higher is mainly because all the movies that are coming up are too good to put behind it. But again, this movie is not bad at all, and honestly, I quite like it. But it's simply not as good as the number 4 movie on this list, which coincidentally is the one and only Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. When people think of Star Wars, they think of this opening shot. It truly is one of the most influential pieces of cinema to ever be released, and that is not an overstatement. The entire movie is a gem, and there's a reason that it stood the test of time for so long. All of the characters are really well done and really well introduced. This is arguably Obi-Wan Kenobi's best movie, and Alec Guinness killed it. Obviously, we get introduced to Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, who, again, are just icons, and this movie started them off really well. But one of the real crown jewels is Darth Vader. From the instant he walked onto the big screen, he captivated millions. Dressed in all black, with an evil-looking mask, and the creepiest breath that anyone has ever heard, there was literally no way that he didn't become a cultural icon instantly. Honestly, there's not even much more that I can say. This movie just rocks, and even though in my opinion it is the worst of the originals, that means nothing, because it is still so good. But speaking of other originals, that reminds me of the next video on this list, which at the number 3 spot is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This movie has so much sentimental value to me, and I must have watched it dozens of times growing up because I have such a place in my heart for it. The Jabba the Hutt scene in the beginning is one of my favorite scenes of all time, and I know it doesn't really make much sense when you think about it, but still, I absolutely love it. I gotta be honest, I don't mind the Ewoks as much as a lot of people, and they actually do fit into the plot kind of well, but they're not a great part of the movie, and I could take them or leave them. I know Harrison Ford absolutely hated them, so that's still kind of funny to me, but regardless. This movie really gets good in the last 30 minutes or so, when Luke and Darth Vader have their epic showdown, and Luke has to make his ultimate choice. It's really impactful to see Vader turn back to the light side and kill the Emperor, bringing balance to the Force and saving his son. The one part of the movie that I really wanted to get your guys' opinion on was George Lucas CGIing Hayden Christensen into the end of the movie as a Force ghost. Personally, I don't mind it, and I think it kind of works, but let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, we're in the top 2 now, and if you can do math, then you probably know what's coming next, or at least you can narrow it down to the 2 most likely choices. And that's why it shouldn't be a surprise whatsoever that at the number 2 spot, we have the best of the prequels and definitely a fan favorite. That's right, it's the one and only Revenge of the Sith. I think that most people who've actually watched it really like this movie, and George Lucas kind of saved the public perception of the prequel trilogy with it. The CGI is good, the characters are awesome, and who can forget that the story is actually really well done and interesting. Also, the entire purpose of the movie is to document the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire, along with the creation of Darth Vader, and let's be honest, it does that really well. Order 66 is also one of the most moving scenes in all of cinema, just absolutely heartbreaking, and again, it was executed really well, no pun intended. Finally, the acting in this movie was just all around incredible, from literally everyone. This was the movie that really brought it all together. Especially Hayden Christensen, I gotta be honest. I thought that he was a little lacking in Attack of the Clones, but in Revenge of the Sith, he was just great, so kudos to him for that. Anyway, with that out of the way, we have finally arrived at the number 1 spot, the best movie in all of Star Wars. I think I said this earlier, but by process of elimination and sheer common sense, you probably know which movie this is. To be honest, you probably knew before you clicked on this video, because you know it, you love it, the single best movie in Star Wars is none other than the legendary Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is so iconic, and I don't think there is a single Star Wars fan who hasn't loved it. One of the things that makes this movie so great is the character development that it gives to Luke Skywalker. If you didn't notice, Luke goes through the ringer in this movie. He can't use the Force, he can't save his friends, and he can't beat Darth Vader. These failures provide him with obstacles that he needs to overcome, and when he does overcome them in Episode 6, it's more rewarding and satisfying, and the audience is right there with him. Honestly, I think it's safe to say that this movie is the best of both Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and it turns them into 2 of the best characters in Star Wars. And actually, speaking of best characters, today I'm going to be ranking every single Star Wars TV show on this tier list right here. And without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking this list off with an absolute slam dunk of a show, we have Star Wars The Clone Wars, and this is an easy S tier. Now boys, look, this is such an obvious answer. If you disagree, if you think that Star Wars The Clone Wars isn't S tier, that I think I see one of my old friends over there. I think, oh, it is. That's Coco Melon over there. I think you should probably go check him out for a little bit if you want, because this is obviously not the place for you. Because Star Wars The Clone Wars, easiest S tier of my entire life. It is one of my favorite Star Wars projects ever. The characters, the episodes, the storylines, they're all so good. And the best part is, the more you watch it, the better it gets. Now, season 1, I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit, it's a little rocky. It's not exactly the greatest show ever. It's a little kiddie. It's a little geared towards kids, and as it should be, it's a kid's show. But season 2 on, as it extends onward, it becomes more and more gritty and realistic, and they've got some pretty dark themes in there, boys. There's a scene where Ventress, goes over, stabs a clone trooper with his lightsaber, I think, and then kisses him as she pulls the lightsaber out and he dies. There's something like that. I'll put the actual clip in so you know whether or not I'm telling the truth to you, but it's pretty dark sometimes. There's some pretty intense episodes. Aside from that, we also got some of the greatest characters in all of Star Wars. You know, your Cad Banes, your Savage Opress, the redemption of Darth Maul. I mean, who could forget that? Ahsoka Tano. The list just goes on and on for how amazing this show is. It is truly impressive what Dave Filoni achieved with this. So I'm very, very comfortable putting that S tier. Alright, coming up next is another very easy placement, and that is the one, the only Bad Batch. And Bad Batch, I'm very comfortable putting in C tier. Now, boys, if you watched this channel before, you know that a long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, no, I'm just kidding, in this very own galaxy of ours, I also ranked every Star Wars show from worst to best. Almost a year and a half ago, December 1st, 2022. It's 2024. Now, first of all, there's been a lot of new shows that came out since then. There's been Ahsoka, there's been Acolyte, there's been more seasons of Bad Batch, and the list goes on and on. I made this video when I was a young pup. Speaking of young pups, Dog Word, what do you think? They do it all for so you boys ain't making no noise. Always love getting his advice, but I made it when I was a young lad, and I was naive, and I had a lot of bad opinions, and even more importantly, you might notice that this video is done in order, is in a numerical order, is what I'm trying to say. It's like number 11, Resistance, number 10, whatever it was, and then I go down and down, and that kind of puts me in a pickle in a lot of places, because when I get to, numbers 5 through 1, they're all some great shows, but I have to put them somewhere. That eventually left me placing, well, I'll just cut to the chase and show you what I have for my number 2 show. Alright, if you're older than the age of 7 and you can do basic math, you probably have some idea what's coming up next. Yep, you guessed it. Coming in at number 2 is The Bad Batch. I don't think... See... That's the problem with my numerical list and my obvious youth and immaturity, is the fact that Bad Batch is not the second best show in Star Wars. I'm sorry to break it to you, it's simply not. So that is why this time I've opted to go for a little bit more of an easier ranking method, and again, I'm doing this list again so I can, go back to old Jedwerd and fix some of his mistakes. That video is on my channel if you want to go find it later and see how young and naive and stupid I was, to be Anne Frank. But here we are, and we're at The Bad Batch, and The Bad Batch is a solid B tier show. Now, guys, let's be honest. The main reason for this is because Bad Batch has this style of show where, for some reason, they decided to do this thing where they have 3 episodes in the entire season of plot pertaining to an actual overarching storyline. And every single other episode has nothing to do with anything, and all it does is absolutely waste our time to take us on random side quests for characters that, to be honest, are not really worth it for us to see that. I'm sorry, okay? I'm just gonna say it. It is very annoying how most of the Bad Batch episodes have nothing to do with an overarching goal. It's just like, oi, Sid needs us to go get some supplies from random planet in the middle of bum frickin' nowhere. Oi, boys, come on, let's go. And they all kind of follow in suit in their happy little Bad Batch lines, and they go do whatever mission it is. Oh no, there's an obstacle in our way. Oh no, maybe if we're lucky, the showrunners will give us Ventress, or they'll give us Cad Bane, or some random piece of nostalgia to win us over. And it's just very annoying. Look, I like my shows to either have a purpose or to do what Clone Wars does. Clone Wars, you might notice, does not have an overarching purpose. There's not one goal of the Clone Wars besides to win the Clone War, obviously. But what Clone Wars does do is it has actual storylines, and they're not very long. You don't need to have super long ones, but it'll have 3 or 4 episodes where it's one story that it follows for those 3 or 4 episodes. And the next episode after that storyline ends, it's more episodes about that storyline. You know what I mean? You feel like you're actually watching a story. Whereas Bad Batch is one episode mini stories with the lowest possible stakes and the same characters over and over again. It gets very repetitive. Now, that being said, Bad Batch is on B tier for a reason. Bad Batch has some great stories. Some of the stuff with Emperor Palpatine and shutting down the cloning was awesome. The Crosshair storyline in season 3 and season 2 was really good. I really liked that. So I think that is where Bad Batch really shines, when it's actually going for a goal, and they're not just messing around in some random outer rim planet doing odd jobs for Sid. I'm very comfortable putting the Bad Batch in B tier. That is what my thoughts on the matter are. Do you see what I see, gentlemen and ladies? Because what I see is an absolute piece of freaking garbage. The Acolyte. I did not have you when I made my first tier list of the Star Wars TV shows. Now, you might notice on this list, boys, that I did not put an F tier because I'm stupid. Let's do a little adjustment making right now. Bum, bum, bum. That's right. That is where the Acolyte belongs. Now, look, if you watch a lot of Critical Drinker, for example, I don't have the same problems with the show that he does because, first of all, the whole thing, I understand, I'm not a huge fan of forced diversity in any context because I think it completely destroys the point of diversity. It should be natural. It should not exist for the point of being diverse, you know what I'm saying? But I think diversity has way more of a place in Star Wars than it does in, like, historical dramas, for example. You know what I mean? Like, for example, Cleopatra got reviewed bomb because Cleopatra was made black in the show, and Cleopatra was from, like, Macedonia or something. There was no reason historically for her to be black, so the show or the movie or whatever it was got a terrible rating. Now, look, Star Wars is actually an exception to that, I think. I think Star Wars, if there's any place to have exceptional amounts of diversity for the sake of diversity, Star Wars is your place to do it. There's aliens everywhere. There's, like, no real system of confirmation for what someone should be. I do not mind that. The real problem with The Acolyte is the show, whether or not you care about that, is boring as freaking frick. It is unwatchable. It's like offensively boring. If there's anything the show's offensive about, it's how boring it is. They spent like $180 million on this show. 180 million. That's like 27 million per episode. More than that, probably. My math's not that good. I didn't do that great in school when it came to math. Sue me. But they spent a lot of money on the show. And you think with all that money and all that creative control, you really could have made a better show. You really just could have. Because the show right now, there's almost no redeeming qualities. It's not fun to watch. It's not interesting. The dialogue feels it somehow feels more hurtful than the prequel dialogue. Because the prequel dialogue, I know, at least you know, it's kind of a joke. Like okay, George Lucas, he can't write dialogue, sure. This is like, okay, you know all the mistakes. You have access, you're Disney, you have access to the best writing teams in the world, and this is what you come up with? Anyway, I'm not going to stay on this too long because, again, I know if you're watching this, then you've probably seen The Acolyte, know that I'm right, and seen the absolute terrible reviews that it has on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's the lowest show in history. It's definitely the lowest Star Wars product in history in terms of review, and it's also, I think, maybe the lowest show. Don't know about that. You can fact check me, but that's that. That's crazy. All right, next up is Tales of the Empire, and Tales of the Empire, I'm actually a little sad about, boys. I'm actually a little sad about, because Tales of the Empire had a real potential to be an awesome show. It really did. And you want to know how I know that? Because Tales of the Jedi, which is right here, is probably an A tier show, and honestly, I'm considering putting it S tier. Tales of the Jedi is a beautifully done show that explores characters that we all want to know about, like Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn, not Mace Windu. I mean, a little bit Mace Windu, but Qui-Gon Jinn explores all these characters a little bit more. We get to see more of their backstory. Ahsoka, it tells us how Ahsoka survived and what she did with the Inquisitor, all that, and it's very interesting and very well done. I really do enjoy Tales of the Jedi a lot, which is why it's so sad to me that I'm putting Tales of the Empire at like maybe a C tier. I'm sorry, it's just not that great. I've always wanted to see what happened to Barriss Offee. And okay, it kind of makes sense that she became an Inquisitor. But what you don't do for Barriss Offee, what you don't do is make her a sad, remorseful character who all of a sudden wants to do the right thing. She blew up a Jedi temple and was gonna let her best friend take the fall for it. That is not a good thing to do. That is not a righteous thing to do. That's not a moral thing to do. So the fact that all of a sudden she decides to become this moral beacon or try to do the right thing is like, okay, I understand what you're going for, but there's better ways to do it. You can make her less of a black and white character. You can make her a little gray when it comes to these things. I don't care. Another thing was that there was just so much less content in this than there was in Tales of the Jedi. And the episodes were all shorter, and there were less episodes in general, I'm pretty sure. I think there were less episodes. So I really was unhappy and unsatisfied with Tales of the Empire. And it was really, a missed opportunity. It could have gone to so many great heights because it was riding off the wind of Tales of the Jedi, and it just didn't. It just didn't have that oomph behind it. So sad, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Ewoks, and boys, it's time for, in Jedwerd tier lists, you never, get through a whole video without adding a row. And we're gonna add the never watched. Bum, bum, bum. And you guys always roast me for this. You always act like I'm supposed to watch every third-rate Star Wars TV show that came out in 1984, whenever Ewoks came out. I'm sure you Star Wars nerds will know. I haven't. I'm just gonna break it to you, I haven't. And you know what? I haven't watched Droids either. This is Droids right here, so I cannot rank them. I gotta be honest, they look like they look like George Lucas cash grabs. The traditional Baby Yoda, Ewok, you know, cash grabs. They're just trying to make some money off these shows. And I really do not think they look that great. And to be honest, I haven't really heard much raving, you know, absolute love for these shows from the Star Wars fans. So I'm not convinced that these are absolute magnum opuses of the Star Wars name. I gotta be honest. So I'm just gonna put that there. And while we're here, I have to put Visions too. I've seen one episode of Visions and it was all right. This wasn't for me. To be honest, it doesn't look that bad, but it's just not something I'm interested in, so I never watched it. And I guess if we're being fair, we really should put Star Wars Resistance there too, because I have not watched Star Wars Resistance, but if you watch my last video about ranking the Star Wars TV shows, I did put this absolutely freaking dead last. And you want to know why? Because I'm very, very positive that a TV show about the Resistance, one of the least interesting periods in Star Wars history, I'm very positive that TV show will not be good. I'm just positive. But hey, I'm sure someone in the comments is going to have watched it. Let me know what you think. I'm going to leave it never watched and be very generous because I'm very tempted to put it. My F button trigger finger is getting real itchy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to leave it never watch. I'm going to have some self-restraint. Pull out a David Goggins and have a little discipline. Never watch is safe. Next up is Rebels. And you guys are going to freaking kill me. Because, okay, it's time. Once again, it can never be a Jedwerd video if I'm talking about TV shows and I don't acknowledge that once again, I have never actually seen seasons 3 and 4 of Rebels, and that is when Rebels gets very good. I have to acknowledge, I've never actually seen that, and I'm desperately sorry. I know you guys have been telling me this since I made that last video in December of 2022, and I acknowledge, I really should have watched it. I really should have, but I have seen Rebels seasons 1 and 2, and I gotta be honest. Oh, hi, Dogword. Oh, look how happy he is. Oh, no, look how... Hi, buddy. Okay, sorry, I'm getting off topic. I have seen seasons 1 and 2. I gotta be honest, way worse than Clone Wars. I'm right now, based on only off seasons 1 and 2, I gotta put it like B tier. Most of the characters are very good. Ezra Bridger is very annoying in my opinion. I really think Ezra Bridger is not a great character in seasons 1 and 2. And this is where my lack of knowledge comes in. Because I know he gets way better in seasons 3 and 4. And I know they introduced Thrawn, and I know they bring a lot of plots and cool ideas. So, because of that, I'm gonna put it in never watched. Because I know that if I watched it, I'd probably put it in A tier and S tier, but out of complete fairness, I have to put it in never watched. No, I don't have to do that. Why do I have to do that? That's stupid. I've watched 2 of the seasons. So, you know what? I'm gonna make a logical assumption based on the evidence provided to me. I'm gonna put this in A tier. Because even if seasons 3 and 4 were great, I still do not think they would be as good as Clone Wars, but I can see it being very good. So I'm gonna leave it in A tier. I think that's fair. And I think a lot of you are gonna want S tier, and that's fine. I understand that. So, man, right now it's looking like a lot of shows that I've never watched. And I promise you, that is just pure optical illusion. Because if any of you watched Ewoks and Droids, shows that both premiered in like 1984 or something like that, you are very impressive. I'm sure a lot of my older fans are gonna have watched those because they simply grew up with that, and back then they're probably desperate for any Star Wars thing they could get. But if you're, you know, under the age of like 25 and you've actually seen those shows, consider me wildly impressed because I think a lot of us haven't. So we're gonna leave them in never watched. But all that's to say is I don't have a number, but coming next is The Mandalorian. In Mandalorian, first my heart to do so, because Mandalorian Season 1 is like A S tier, I gotta be honest. But the show, I've talked about this before, the show starts off really good, Season 1, and it just declines. It just falls off so hard. I gotta put it B tier, because the second 2 seasons are very uninteresting, pretty boring, and they're obviously just grasping for scraps. I mean, it really is. Grab anything on the Star Wars name that's ever been successful and squeeze it and wring its neck for all the money it's worth, you know? So, I'm gonna put it B tier. If it was just season 1, I'd put it S tier. But it's not. There's seasons 2 and 3, so I gotta put it B tier. But you know what I gotta do? I also gotta grab some water. While I'm getting some water, subscribe, by the way, because this has been a great video so far, and I'm back, baby! Woo! Got my water, got my dog, and let's get back to the list. Coming up next is Ahsoka, the Ahsoka TV show. Delicious. Jedwerd, sponsored by water. Go pick some up today. I think Ahsoka, honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think Ahsoka should be C tier. Not a ton of redeeming qualities, and it's just a very middle-of-the-road show for me. Andor. Now, Andor is another one of those shows that fell victim in my video where I last ranked the Star Wars TV shows. It fell victim to me having to make a numerical list, or I decided to make a numerical list, because I could only put so many at the top, you know? So I ended up putting Andor at like number 5 or something, which I do not think is accurate, but, you know, I figured the shows that I wanted above that, I had to put above that. So this is a better format for ranking Star Wars TV shows and ranking a lot of things in general. Anyway, that's kind of a tangent. What I'm trying to say is Andor is definitely A tier. Andor is one of the better Star Wars creations in a long time. The more I've gotten older, the more I've appreciated a grittier Star Wars TV show with, like, you know, real threats and real stakes and real characters that could die, because we know Andor's gonna die, and there's no reason that any of the characters that he surrounded himself with are gonna live, because they're not, you know, huge Star Wars characters that are gonna live forever. It is sad that this show did not get more viewership because now I think they're making a season 2, but to be honest, I'd be surprised if it ever actually went through. Because from what I can tell, this show could just not bring in the audience the way that, you know, Ahsoka or The Mandalorian could. So, good show. Really good show. Great characters. Really good story. I'm going to put that A tier. I really like Andor. And I regret in my last video putting it at number 5 or whatever I put it at. And speaking of great TV shows, we have the Book of Boba Fett. Yes! Holy cannoli, we're saved! Book of Boba Fett is an absolute F tier show. To me, it's spit in the face of Boba Fett in every single way. Because for some reason, the show decided, you know what would be a good chorus for this ruthless bounty hunter that everyone likes for his total mercilessness? Let's make him a nice guy. Let's make him have fun and be happy and want to rule with respect and have a good time and not be intimidating and ruin his character. It really was annoying. I wanted to see a cold, heartless Boba Fett. I didn't want to see Boba Fett intent on becoming a better man for no real reason. I think whatever argument you can make for this new Boba Fett being better, this is completely overshadowed by the fact that nobody wanted to see it, and he would have been better as a mean, like, you know, tough Boba Fett. I think everyone wanted to see that. You know, when the side bounty hunter, Fennec Shand, you know that when Fennec Shand is a tougher and cooler character than Boba Fett, you know, Boba Fett, you know you're in trouble, because Boba Fett should be top dog. And he was overshadowed by his, like, sidekick, by Fennec Shand. They also brought in Cad Bane for some freaking reason. I cannot figure out why. It's not like these characters had a rivalry or anything. It's like, oh, we're getting to the end of the Boba Fett season, guys. What do we freaking do, Disney executive team? Oh, I know. Bring in known legacy character that has had 3 interactions with this Boba Fett character, maybe in his lifetime, potentially. Bring him in and have Boba Fett kill him. Finally, one last thing to, you know, really put the icing on the cake. You know that it's bad when The Mandalorian has 2 whole episodes where Boba Fett is not in it in Boba Fett's show. There's like 6 episodes of Boba Fett in here, and 2 episodes that are just completely about The Mandalorian with Boba Fett not appearing once. This is a good place to put it, right there with the Acolyte. I do not like either of these shows. Obi-Wan Kenobi. No, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I also really did not like. It's been a while since I watched it, because I watched it when it first came out, and again, I really did not enjoy it at all. One of the big problems with the show is it was trying to give way too much screen time to Reva, a character who I was very uninterested in and did not care about that much, and whose character in general did not make a lot of sense to me. She's a very wishy-washy, flippity-floppity character when it came to morality. She was like, oh, I'm trying to kill Darth Vader, but the second that fails, I'm gonna go kill Luke Skywalker anyway as a child. For no reason. Why do you want to kill Luke Skywalker? I do not understand. You try to kill Darth Vader. Darth Vader, you cannot kill it, because obviously he's way better than you, and I will say, him and Reva was a cool duel. I will give it that. But when you try to kill Darth Vader and it doesn't work, why is your first thought, let me go kill an infant on Tatooine who Darth Vader doesn't know exists? It does not make sense to me. It's not logically consistent. And then when Obi-Wan shows up, he's like, hey, Reva, I understand. You're okay. What the frick do you understand, old Ben? What is there to understand here? She's trying to kill Luke Skywalker for no reason. It was just really annoying to me. And honestly, one of the things that really pissed me off was how much it was about Leia. When I think of an Obi-Wan show, I do not think of something that needs Princess Leia intrinsically coming in as a 9-year-old. And if anything, it makes the canon weaker. Because now, when Obi-Wan Kenobi sees Princess Leia on the Death Star 10 years later, it's kind of weird that she doesn't, you know, care about him more, or think about him more, or know about him more. Her best reaction is like, oh, he served my father in the Clone Wars, not, oh, you saved me from those pirates and Inquisitors when I was 9. It really was not a good show in my opinion. It was slightly better than Book of Boba Fett because there were some good things about it. There was some good to see some old, honestly, Ewan McGregor, I'm gonna be happy if Ewan McGregor's in it. I like Ewan McGregor and I think it was good to see him in his element, and he's obviously very happy to be there. Now, before we get to this next one and this very last one, it is my sadness to report to you boys. I have to show you something from my old video that I made 2 years ago, and this is why I'm making a new one because I deeply regret some of the things I said. Let's go check it out. Let's go check this out. Oh, by the way, quick side note, I know that there are a lot of niche Star Wars shows like that 2D Clone Wars micro series, whatever thingamajig, but I won't be including things like that on this list because there are about 3.5 people in the entire world who have actually watched those, and thank the maker, I am not one of them. Alright, glad that's cleared up. On to number 8. So, as you see in that, in my opinion, honestly embarrassing statement of mine, I not only said I haven't watched a show, I kind of clown people who have. And I got a lot of hate for that in the comments. Holy cow. I genuinely did not know so many people had watched that. Look, top comment, OG Clone Wars was amazing. And this is just raving over OG Clone Wars. So a lot of you have watched that. I was wrong. A lot of you have watched that. My bad. The show genuinely does not look that bad. I still have not watched it, but I tried to watch a couple episodes. It's not something I love. I think the Clone Wars TV show is better than this one, obviously. But if you've watched it, I'm glad you've watched it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I, however, have not watched it. So I'm forced to put this, sorry, really quick, let me just full screen this, and let me put this in the never watched show. So this is it. This is my Star Wars. Which Star Wars characters could I beat in a fight? Well, today I found a tier list online, and we're gonna find out exactly who I think, in my personal opinion, I could beat and who I'd get absolutely crushed by. Without further ado, let's get into it. First character on this list, I'm gonna say this is just a clone trooper, but There's a chance that it's like CT8395 and I just don't know it, and the comments are gonna know it and they're gonna roast me. But let's assume it's a clone trooper for the sake of this video. Let's say that he doesn't have a blaster, because I'm not giving myself a blaster, so if he doesn't have a blaster, it's more of an equal playing ground. I'm gonna put him right under I would get knocked out. Because here's the thing, I'm not a small guy, I'm like a decent guy. You know what, I gotta take my shirt off for this one, I gotta. Oh, sorry about that, I had to check myself a little bit. But I'm a decent sized guy, 5'10", built like Hercules, so I think in this scenario, there's a decent chance that I might have a small sliver of hope. However, this guy is still a clone trooper, trained under the Grand Army of the Republic, I don't know, years and years of training. I think he's probably gonna wipe the floor with me in most scenarios. I don't think there's a lot of outcomes where I win. I'm gonna put him right under I would get knocked out. Next up, Aayla Secura, I would get crushed. Again, I'm not gonna pretend that she has a lightsaber, because if she has one and I don't, then obviously I'm gonna lose. But even as just like a normal Jedi, I'm gonna get absolutely smoked. She does one of these like and I hit the wall like a ton of bricks, and then she does this, and a whole ton of more bricks drop on me. I'm cooked either way. I'm like Christmas turkey. So Aayla Secura would get crushed, and honestly, that's probably how most of the Force users on this list are gonna go. I'm gonna get absolutely smoked with or without weapons. So, because I might put Anakin Skywalker here too, because again, just like Aayla Secura, honestly, I'm not gonna put Anakin on. They'd have to scrape me off the ground because he's not violent enough to do that, but he would still crush me. By the way, when I say he's not violent enough to do that, I have not killed his mother. I'm not a Tusken. I'm just a human being that he's like met on the street, and he's not enraged enough to, you know, smear me on the wall. So I would get crushed. Boba Fett. Now this is a tougher one. Okay, let's say, again, he doesn't have weapons. No one on this list has weapons. Just me and them, all out brawl. For Boba Fett, I would say he obviously wins. I'm gonna put him in between the clones and the Jedi, because he's definitely more trained than a clone. However, he doesn't have the Force. He just has his good old fist. So I think I would get folded is a good place to put it. I think I would do worse against him than a clone, but definitely better than a Jedi. Alright, next up is Finn. And Finn I'm going to put on, I could beat them if I got lucky. And here's why. The Grand Army of the Republic took a lot of care in their clones. They bred them, they raised them from birth, accelerated their growth, and trained them meticulously. The First Order was like, show those guys off to the factory, they'll get a few days of lessons, and then we'll send them out to combat. Finn couldn't even pull the trigger on innocent civilians. I mean, hey, kudos for him, but if he can't pull the trigger on innocent civilians, the frick is he gonna do to me? I just met him in the mall, theoretically. I'm not gonna hurt him. So when I start beating him up, he's gonna be like, well, he's gonna do the classic Finn, like, I think he would still win just because he has a little more training than I do. For reference, I have 2 months of wrestling and 4 months of infrequent jujitsu under my belt. So I'm not, and I've fought before in small and close scenarios, and I don't want people roasting me in the comments, Blood thinks he's a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I have done some jujitsu and wrestling, that's all I'm saying. So I have a few moves up here, a few little tactics I can pull. However, Finn has been trained to some extent. Not as much as the clones, which is why he's below them, but to some extent. So I'm going to put him right under, I could beat them if I got lucky. Chewbacca. I'm going to put Chewbacca, they'd have to scrape me off the ground. I don't got no chance against Chewbacca. I played LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. I've seen him tear their arms off. He would literally smear me on the ground. R2-D2, I would knock R2-D2 out. Alright, here's the thing. R2-D2 is a little different because he has built-in weapons. So I can't say no weapons because he's got built-in weapons. I think if I immobilize it, well, man, I just realized he's like a 50-pound hunk of metal. Honestly, I think it's anyone's game because he has weapons, but I've got intellect, brute strength. Oh, his flamethrower, though. I would get cooked on a flamethrower. I got nothing against a what am I going to do against a flamethrower? This is a bad idea. I can't beat any of these characters. All right, I'm going to put him, I could beat them if I got lucky. Commander Cody. Commander Cody goes right with the rest of the clones. I mean, at the end of the day, he has more battle experience, but he's not as good as Boba Fett, and he's better than Finn. Like, that's at the end of the day I'm going to say. So everything I said about the clones at the beginning of the video, I'm going to say about Commander Cody. I'm putting him right there. Count Dooku, the legend himself, my favorite character, as you know if you watched this channel before. Count Dooku, I'm going to put with I'll Get Crushed. All right, next up is young Anakin Skywalker, and I'm putting him in They Get Steamrolled. I mean, come on, the kid's 9 years old. What is he gonna do? If you remember that deleted scene, Anakin was struggling in a fight against Greedo. He and Greedo were neck and neck in a fist fight on the ground, and Greedo's his age, so he's obviously not that great of a combatant, because if he was, he would have crushed Greedo. Therefore, I crush him, because again, he's 9 years old. Do you know how young 9 years old is? He gets steamrolled. General Grievous. General Grievous, they'd have to scrape me off the ground for General Grievous. I'm gonna be honest. I got no shot against him. What would I even do to him? To be like, there's nothing I can do. I've seen him fight clones, and I'm worse than a clone. And I've seen him fight clones. I'm cooked. Like, Grievous is fully metal. I can't punch him. I can't half Nelson him. I got jack to do against him. I'm cooked. Next up, Grogu. I think I would knock Grogu the frick out. I think I could take Grogu in a fight. Now listen, I know he's used the Force sometimes. I know he's not like a helpless victim, but I think if I got the jump on Grogu, and I think I, surprised him enough, I think I'd take him easy. Because Grogu's also like this big. Let me find a point of reference. All right, I got a t-shirt. So Grogu's like the size of this t-shirt, kind of. I mean, probably a little bigger than this, but like, here's what I do. I take Grogu in my hand, I get him like this. What's he gonna do against me? What, use the Force? I have him like this. And then I go, boom, kid's out. Down for the count, and I win that one. I would knock him out. All right, Ahsoka Tano. I feel kind of repetitive because every Jedi is going on I would get crushed. I can't beat Ahsoka. Have you seen her do backflips and acrobatics and like kick people in the face? Ahsoka, I would get crushed. I'm willing to say that. Han Solo. Han Solo, I can beat him if I got lucky. Because here's the thing. I'm pretty confident that I'm more jacked than Harrison Ford at Harrison Ford's time filming the movies. Now here's the thing. I think that he has his, his Han Solo kind of charm. Like, I think he could pull some tricks on me that I wouldn't see coming. Which is why I'm putting him on I could beat them if I got lucky. Because I'd have to get lucky, I think. But there's a shot. So you're telling me there's a chance. Because I think there's a chance I got him. But I don't know. That's actually a point of contention for me. Alright, who's up next?
Hey. You're making it uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, who's next? Hunter. Okay, Hunter's like a Boba Fett category. Hunter is more Hunter's on Boba Fett's level. Hunter, I think I have the same chances against with Boba Fett. Jango Fett. Again, Jango Fett goes right here. Jango Fett on both same level as Boba Fett. Without armor, he's just a really good fighter. Like, I got no chance. I've seen him fight Obi-Wan in hand-to-hand combat. Cooked him. He smoked him. So I don't got a chance. I'm putting him on I would get folded. Jar Jar Binks. This is where the fun begins. This tier list I found literally came with preset, boxes. And the bottom one is quite literally Jar Jar Binks. Like, they know where you're gonna put this guy. So it's only natural that I put him right here. I mean, have you seen the guy? He only wins in fights because he gets lucky. He's a totally incompetent person, human, thing, animal. I crush him because that guy's got nothing. Nothing up here, nothing in here. He's a weak link in the Gungan forces after all. Actually, I can't even say Gungan forces. The Gungans as a whole are weak links. They're a weak link species. I'm saying it right now. Kylo Ren. Okay, Kylo Ren's tough because he goes through stages. So Force Awakens Kylo Ren, he'd have to scrape me off the ground because he just, he killed his own dad. Like, he's gonna wipe the floor with me. But like Rise of Skywalker Kylo Ren, because he, they didn't know what they were doing with him. They didn't know what they were doing with him. And then all of a sudden he's a good guy now. He's kissing Rey. That Kylo Ren, I'd just get crushed. He wouldn't have to, he wouldn't plaster me on the ground. I think I had to leave him on I would get crushed. I don't think there's enough evidence to suggest that they'd have to scrape me off the ground. I think crush is a good place to put it. All right, next up, Princess Leia. Now, Princess Leia, look, I think Princess Leia is a better fighter than most of the other non-trained people on this list so far. I think Princess Leia is, I would knock them out. Now, look, I'm not saying that Princess Leia is weak. I'm not being misogynist whatsoever. All I'm saying is, can Princess Leia bench press PR 200 pounds? I don't really think so. Look, I'm not saying that I'm a basket case. I'm not saying that there's no chance. All I'm saying is, I think I would knock Princess Leia out. Let's move on to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader would scrape me off. They'd have to scrape me off the ground for Darth Vader. I'm not a fool enough to think that I have a chance or that he would just merely crush me. Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker, I would get crushed. Oh, I didn't put there. I would get crushed. Yes, again, all the Jedi and some of the Sith are kind of on the same I would get crushed level. I can't do anything against him. Blood is one of these to me, and I'm cooked. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, no, yeah, what am I gonna do? I'm done. All right, next up. Oh, subscribe. How did that get there? Let's just put that on I would get crushed, because you know that you should probably crush that subscribe button if you got in this far. After I did that, I don't deserve subscribe. That was kind of cringy on my part. Let's go on to Mace Windu. Right next to that subscribe button, because I would get crushed by this guy. I've seen him in a fight. Blood was literally hovering between the light side and the dark side every time he pulled out his lightsaber. Honestly, he's maybe one of the only Jedi who they'd have to scrape me off the ground for, because that guy was dark when he was fighting. However, I think the light side would come out. I think he'd see me, have a little pity in his heart, and just crush me, not scrape me off the ground. The Mandalorian. Again, all the Mandalorians kind of go with the I would get folded. This guy's a trained fighter. Trained by Mandalorians, I got nothing against him. But I would not get crushed. I would merely get folded. Alright, Darth Maul. I'm gonna be honest. They're gonna scrape me off the ground for Darth Maul. The frick am I gonna do against that guy? I've seen him during the Clone Wars behead a line of children. I think they were children. I'll have to put the clip in here and see if you guys can fact check me. But I think they were children. Like, this guy's brutal and vicious. I am doing nothing, and I have no hopes of ever even becoming more than a pulp after my fight with him. So I'm putting him on the screaming off the ground. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the negotiator. Again, I get crushed. Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's a Jedi. I've seen him fight so many people. He would crush me. There's nothing I can say. He would just crush me. Padme Amidala. Again, putting him right next to Princess Leia. Good fighter in her own sense. I've seen her take on some guys. I've seen her nail some pretty sick shots with a blaster. But can Padme Amidala bench 200 pounds for a PR? I don't think so. I don't really think so. So, because of that, I'm putting her right with her daughter, Princess Leia, and Grogu. I would knock them out. Sheev Palpatine, my man. I'm putting Sheev right on. They'd have to scrape me off the ground. I've seen him evaporate people with Force lightning. It's not close. I'm done. Captain Rex, again, he's going right next to Cody and the clone. I would get knocked out. I'm not gonna beat these guys. But I maybe land a hit or two if I get lucky. If they have no armor and they don't have any blasters, I maybe get lucky and land a hit or two. I'm putting it right up there with the other clone guys. Rey Skywalker. Everyone's favorite character. Rey Skywalker would be, I would get crushed, I think. All the Jedi, some of the Sith, kind of the same general line. Well, actually, all the Jedi, some of the Sith, and the subscribe button, all in the same line. Up next, Supreme Leader Snoke. They had to scrape me off the ground. That guy was pretty malicious. I mean, he was a bad villain, and Rian Johnson did completely ruin what would have been a cool character and a cool arch villain for the series. But he would pulverize me if I fought him. Stormtrooper. I think I got anyone's game on a Stormtrooper. I've seen those guys in combat. Those guys are nothing to be proud of when it comes to fighting. They're absolute garbage. Now, when I say absolute garbage, I mean they're like pretty average soldiers in the Star Wars universe. I think if we have no armor and it's just us and there's no backup and they don't have blasters, not that it would help them much anyway, they would just miss. I think I would beat them. I gotta be honest. All right, up next is Weird Gungan General Man person thing. I don't know this guy's name. I'm sure the comments will, so let me know, but I do not know. I'm gonna call him Weird Gungan Guy. Weird Gungan Guy, a little bit above Jar Jar Binks, because I do remember from the movies, this guy was the general. He's got something up there. But again, the Gungans, weak-link species. I'm 5'10", built like Hercules. They got no chance against me. I take any Gungan in a 1v1 and I win. I'm very confident I win that. But then again, I just remembered that Clone Wars episode where he takes on General Grievous. Sure, he did have a staff, but I saw he had moves. That is a point to be reckoned with. Maybe the Gungans aren't a weakling species. Maybe you just experienced Jedward character growth when I realized the Gungans aren't completely useless. I'll move him up one level. Yoda. I would get crushed. I have no shot against Yoda. He would not pulverize me. I would not have to be scraped off the ground, but I get crushed. Poe Dameron. Poe Dameron's in anyone's game. Because Blood's a good pilot, Blood can shoot good. Hand-to-hand combat, from what I saw in the Star Wars sequels, not exactly a strong suit. And again, I'm looking at Poe Dameron right now, and he's not like this is a terrible picture, but he's not like a small guy. But again, is he 5'10", built like Hercules? Don't really think so. Can Blood bench 200 pounds for 1 rep PR? Don't really think so. So because of that, anyone's game. I think it's a 50-50 between me and Poe. Let's do a coin flip. Actually, I have a coin right here. Let's see who would win. Heads, I move Poe up one. Tails, move him down one. It is heads. Actually, didn't I just say heads and move him up one? I think I just said heads and move him up one. Brick. Well, if I didn't, the comments will let me know and know that I am the true victor. But I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to move him up one. Alright, this is a terrible image, but I think it's the B1 battle droid. Here's the thing, I think people always underestimate this when it comes to droids, but droids are made of metal. There's one Clone Wars clip I saw on Instagram where the commando droids come in the room and these ARC troopers are there fighting them, and one clone's getting beat up by a commando droid. The droid's on him punching him, and this one clone comes out of nowhere, literally the blue sky in the distance, comes over and hits him with the cleanest that I've ever seen in my entire life. It was a work of art. I'll put the clip up right here. You've probably seen it already as I'm talking my way through this, but that was so cool. So I'm gonna leave him right here. I can beat him if I got lucky, but he is metal. All right, C-3PO. C-3PO, here's the thing. C-3PO also made of metal. I'm putting him on Jar Jar Binks though, only because what is he gonna do to me? Like, I've seen C-3PO. He walks like this. I don't think he can raise his arms beyond this. Even though he's made of metal, I think in the time that it takes him to try to beat me, I beat him. Like, I win this engagement. Eventually. It'll take me like an hour to disassemble a fully metal droid, but I'll do it. You better believe I'll do it. All right, finally at the end of the list, we have Claude. And if you don't know Claude, let me just show you what would happen to Claude. I have let me give you a little visual of what would happen to Claude here. So this right here is Claude. Some viewers sent him to me in the mail for my birthday. I don't know who. I genuinely don't. If it was you, fess up in the comments. I think it was Mike Soda. So if you see him in the comments, blame him for sending me this thing. Anyway, this is Claude. And in a fight, I think it would go something along the lines of... Alright, today I'm going to be ranking every individual lightsaber in Star Wars. So without further ado, let's get into it. And at the first lightsaber, Count Dooku's. And if you've watched this channel before, you know that it's an easy S for me. I freaking love Count Dooku's lightsaber so much. I think it's so sick. I think the curved hilt is awesome. And I think Dooku is so elegant with it. I mean, his big thing is dueling, so he better be elegant with it, but the way he uses it is just phenomenal. Great lightsaber, easy S tier, and honestly, one of my favorite lightsabers in Star Wars. It'll be hard for something else on this list to beat it, but we'll see what's next. And it's Rey's yellow lightsaber from The Rise of Skywalker. Rey Palpatine coming back to haunt us again. Here's the thing. I think a lot of people would say they hate this lightsaber because they feel like they have to because they hate the sequels, which fair enough, the sequels suck. But Rey's lightsaber, objectively speaking, isn't that bad of a lightsaber. Should it be yellow? Absolutely not. They made it yellow just to differentiate her from the rest of the Jedi in Star Wars, which sucks because she does not deserve that differentiation. But the hilt itself is pretty cool, and I do like that they made it out of the top of her staff. You know, the staff that she originally uses in Force Awakens. I think that's kind of a cool addition. So even though I don't think it should be yellow, and I hate Rey, I am going to put it around C, I think. Just off my first gut instinct. Alright, next up is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from The Return of the Jedi. Here's the thing. This is just Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, but worse in my opinion. I think Obi-Wan's Episode 3 lightsaber is better than this one by kind of a long shot. I just think I like the design more. I think it's more, you know, it's more memorable. I don't know. There's no good way to put it. I just find it more aesthetically pleasing. But this one's still pretty good. Like, it's still a cool lightsaber, and it is cool because it was the third lightsaber we ever saw in Star Wars that wasn't the Skywalker saber and Darth Vader's lightsaber. So, because of that, I think I had to put it in B. Alright, next up are Ahsoka Tano's white lightsabers from Rebels, The Ahsoka Show, The Mandalorian, and basically anything after the Clone Wars at this point. These are sick. I actually freaking like these things more than her regular lightsabers. These are A tier for me. I think these are awesome, and I think she deserves white lightsabers more than a lot of characters do. Like, white lightsabers on Ahsoka make total sense. I also really like that there's a short lightsaber and a long lightsaber, like two different sized tilts that do different things. I mean, she has that for her, well, next up are her green lightsabers from the Clone Wars too, so I guess I like them a lot, but I like them a little less than her white lightsabers, but they're still better than Luke's lightsaber. Does that make sense? I think I have to put them A because Luke's lightsaber is worse than these a little bit. So I'll put them beneath Ahsoka's white lightsabers. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. And next up is Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Kylo Ren's lightsaber, I get a lot of hate for saying this. Kylo Ren's lightsaber is S tier. I think it's really freaking cool, and I think it's one of the best parts of the sequels as a whole. I think that it tends to be, again, it's kind of like Rey's lightsaber where people see it and they go, oh, sequel sucks, so the lightsaber sucks. When I was 9 watching the Force Awakens trailer and this thing got ignited on the big screen, I was like, I was like blown away. I was like, that's such a cool design for a lightsaber. I think I'm gonna put it S tier. I love how it's raw, crackling energy. I think that's so freaking cool, and I think that really, really makes it look better. I also like how it's kind of primal, how the lightsaber is, you know, cracked kyber crystal, wires running up and down it. I just think the whole thing's kind of sick. I know it was in Rebels. I know Ezra finds a green one in Rebels. That was the first time it was in Star Wars. But I think Kylo Ren's was well executed, and I like it. Next up is Darth Vader's lightsaber, the man himself, DV. Here's the thing. This is just a worse version of the Skywalker saber. This is like a B. Because it's not very notable. It's not especially impressive. I mean, Darth Vader's great with it, don't get me wrong. But as a lightsaber itself, yeah, it's alright. It's pretty good. It's nowhere near as good as Anakin's lightsaber. Anakin's lightsaber is classic. But it's also kind of intended to look like that. Like, if you look at this and then look at this, you can see the similarities. So it's not meant to be completely different. So I'm going to leave it at B because it's pretty good, but it's not great. It's kind of on the same level as Luke's saber. Next up, oh, it's the subscribe button. Put that at S tier, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, next up is one of these. Oh, God, there's so many basic lightsabers in Star Wars. I feel like they gave maybe 10, 15 really impressive, unique, cool, memorable lightsabers. And then everyone else kind of got the exact same hilt with, like, slight differences. So, like, this lightsaber is basic. This lightsaber is basic. This lightsaber is basic. This lightsaber is basic. They're just all kind of simple lightsabers on this list. And I gotta be honest, I'm gonna put a D. I don't know whose lightsaber it is. Maybe Adi Gallia's. I'm not really sure. Again, all the random Jedi kind of have the same lightsaber, so it all kind of blends together. Next up are Evil Rey's flipping lightsabers, the ones that extend. I gotta be honest, these things are pretty cool, but they are just kind of a worse ripoff of Pong Krell's lightsaber. So I'm gonna put them like C. Like, they would be cool if they weren't such a blatant ripoff of the Clone Wars. And Clone Wars did it better, I gotta be honest. Pong Krell was a beast with those things, so easy C for me, I think. Next up is a Darksaber, and Darksaber is S tier. Darksaber is so freaking sick, man. I love that thing. Everything it's in is so sick. I don't really understand in The Mandalorian why it's so heavy for him. That doesn't make sense to me, and I don't remember that being in other forms of cinema. But at the same time, the lightsaber itself looks awesome with the runes on it. The creation of it was sick with the, what was his name? Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi. I think it's just awesome. I think it's so cool. And the tradition behind it is awesome. How it gets passed down from Mandalorian to Mandalorian to symbol leadership. Freaking love that thing. Alright, next up is this one. I don't really know whose this is. I'm sorry, forgive me. But it looks kind of basic to me. Again, it's going to D. Because these lightsabers look very, very similar. There's nothing going for them, and they're not memorable in any way. So, again, the comments don't know whose it is, so let me know. Because I don't. but I'm gonna put a D. I think most of the basic lightsabers are gonna go D, so we'll see when we get to them, but there's a lot of lightsabers that are gonna go D on this list. Next up is Ezra Bridger's blaster lightsaber. Here's the thing, I really like this concept. I love the concept, but in Rebels, it was so underutilized. The fact that you couldn't have the blade ignited and the gun firing at the same time was a huge downside to me. It was like, okay, you either have a gun or a lightsaber, not both. Why don't you have a lightsaber that can also shoot? Figure out some way to do that. I know you're a techie guy. It's possible. I promise you it's possible. So that pissed me off. Second, it was so underutilized. He uses it like 3 times and then it gets cut by Darth Vader and we never see it again. I think the concept alone drives it to A, but if we were going exclusively off of how much it was used and how well it was used in Star Wars, it'd be like a C. I think it was so underutilized. All right, next up, the Skywalker saber. This is the legendary saber in Star Wars. It has to go S tier. So many people have held this lightsaber in their hands and used it as their own. It's a symbol of Star Wars as a whole. All right, next up we have the Inquisitor's lightsaber. And I've talked about this in a few videos before, but I really do not like the Inquisitor's lightsaber. I think the idea of having a lightsaber that spins on its own automatically is just so pathetic, you know? Darth Maul is cool with his lightsaber, his double-bladed lightsaber, because he's so skilled with it and he can spin it manually and still make it look awesome. There's nothing impressive about going... It's just not impressive to me. Like, I really do not like seeing it, and these guys think they're so cool and they do it. Plus, it's a helicopter, which makes no sense. I mean, a lightsaber is a beam of pure energy, so I don't know how it could spin fast enough to carry a being up in the air. It just, the whole thing is weird to me. The whole concept, this is a D lightsaber. I'm not a fan. Ooh, I do not know whose lightsaber this is. Maybe it's Kanan's Jarrus's, actually. I think this is Kanan's lightsaber. Yeah, it must be Kanan's lightsaber. So, Kanan Jarrus has a pretty sick lightsaber. I love the detachable aspect of it. I think it's really smart and a really good way to hide. What's funny to me, though, is that the bottom half of the lightsaber still looks like a lightsaber. Like, you have the top half separated, but it still is like a metal rod like this long that, if you held in your hand, it looks like a lightsaber. So, it's kind of pointless because he only separated it in weird proportions. But I'm still going to put it like, I'm going to put it A. I like that thing. I think it's a cool design, and I think it's smart for concealing a lightsaber. Obi-Wan Kenobi's Episode 3 and Episode 4 lightsaber. I am a big fan of this thing. This thing looks sick. It is the best version of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsabers throughout all 3 movies. Anyone would tell you this. It looks really cool. It was the basis of Luke's design for a lightsaber, and it is the first lightsaber we ever see in Star Wars. I mean, he cuts off someone's arm with it in the first, 30 scenes of The New Hope, so look, I'm a sucker for this lightsaber. I'm a big fan. And then speaking of Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have his Episode 1 lightsaber right here, which I'm going to put in B. Yeah, B is a good place for it. I actually have this lightsaber, the hilt of it, and I used to have a blade, but then the NeoPixel part of this broke and I couldn't use it anymore. So I just have it propped in my room, but it's still sick. I mean, guys, holding a lightsaber like this feels awesome. You feel so powerful. You're like, feels sick. Anyway, I do have this lightsaber, and I can tell you, it's cool, but not as cool as Episode 3. I think it's an easy B tier. I think it's up there with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader's, but... Alright, anyway. What are we cooking with next? Next is another basic lightsaber. It's another D saber if I've ever seen one. If you show me these 2 lightsabers, they're virtually indistinguishable. Indistinguishable is the word I'm looking for. These 2 are so similar, and it's just kind of a basic lightsaber. It's a basic Jedi lightsaber from the Clone Wars, some Jedi that we never got closure on. Next up is Princess Leia's lightsaber, and here's the problem with Princess Leia's lightsaber. The design is fine. I mean, it's a pretty average lightsaber, but to me the problem is that Princess Leia should never have had a lightsaber in the first place. Like, yes, I know that in George Lucas's sequel ideas, Leia did become a Jedi, which is fine. The problem with this lightsaber is that it was a total shoo-in by Disney to try to make sense of how Leia could fly through space. Like, she was never supposed to be a Jedi. It was never planned in the sequel trilogy. It was just an easy cop-out to make her, she survived getting blasted into space? Well, she used to be a Jedi. That's how it worked. So, the problem with the lightsaber is that it's a symbol of that to me. And I'm gonna put it, honestly, I'm considering F, but, I don't think any lightsabers on this list are going F because a lightsaber is just too cool. Like, any lightsaber, at the end of the day, you say, here, Jed, here's a lightsaber, and you hand it to me in your hands, I'm gonna be happy. I don't care who the fricks it is. I don't care if it's this one or Count Dooku's. A lightsaber is a lightsaber. But, at the same time, I'm not a big fan of this one, so I'm gonna put it D. Next up is Darth Maul's original lightsaber from Phantom Menace, and that is going S tier. When those doors open and Darth Maul's standing there, he does the little... That is sick. That was one of the best scenes in The Phantom Menace, in my opinion. And Ray Park as Darth Maul was so freaking good with it. This is what I'm saying about the Inquisitor's lightsaber. Darth Maul is so cool with this, and he's doing it all by himself. The Inquisitors are like, ooh, tap a button, ooh. No, Darth Maul is really how you use a double-bladed lightsaber, and that's an S tier lightsaber if I've ever seen one. Alright, next up is another random lightsaber that's going D, because I think that's Plo Koon's lightsaber, but again, looks exactly like this one. Very, very, almost indistinguishable. It's just a basic lightsaber, so I'm putting it there. Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber is next. Qui-Gon Jinn is a great Jedi, but his lightsaber is very basic, I'm going to say. His lightsaber serves no other function. It looks pretty cool. It's one of the few lightsabers that is mainly black. There's not a ton of silver on it. but I think it's kind of a C lightsaber. As lightsabers go itself, that's kind of C. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. So next up is, I do not know whose lightsaber this is. I'm sure it's very easy and I'm just stupid and it's hard for me to see because I'm looking at a big screen and it's tiny. But the lightsaber itself looks pretty basic. It looks a little cooler than these D lightsabers that are basic, so I'm going to put it C with Qui-Gon's. But at the same time, it does not look that great. I swear, I feel like I recognize this from somewhere, but I cannot place where to save my life. Same with this one right here. I have no idea whose lightsaber this is. However, this one also does look a little cooler. It looks like it has cool markings on the side. I feel like this is some ancient Sith lightsaber that I should really know, but I don't. But it looks a little cooler than the C, so I'm going to put it in B. And bang, another basic D lightsaber. Look, these lightsabers right here, indistinguishable. Very, very indistinguishable. They look the exact same. How the frick am I supposed to rank these differently? That's the problem with Star Wars. There were so many opportunities for them to make cool lightsabers that were different from each other. And they're like, no, you know the same lightsaber design? Let's just put it in everything that's not the main character's lightsabers. Like, in the fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi, General Grievous literally pulls out 4 lightsabers, and one of them is Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. Like, Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber hilt, just green. So that was really funny plot hole thing, but I think they could have done way more with the lightsabers for random characters, but that's just me. Next up is the Jedi Guard lightsaber, and this is another example of a better evil Rey lightsaber because this was one of the originals. The Jedi Temple Guard, if you didn't know, have these collapsible lightsabers that are shorter than lightsabers and yellow. So I'm going to put this one in, I'll put it in A, honestly. I like the idea of a collapsible lightsaber, and the Jedi Temple Guards are pretty cool as like a unit, as an entity of people. I think they're pretty sick. So I think the Jedi Temple Guard get an A lightsaber. Yeah, I think that's pretty standard. Guys, I think I'm stupid. Because unless I'm out of my mind crazy delusional, this is Darth Vader's lightsaber. Which makes no sense, because this is also Darth Vader's lightsaber. I think I'm delusional, but at the same time, I don't think I am. These both look like Darth Vader's lightsaber, but this one is different, obviously. Before I lose my mind, I'm going to put this with the other Darth Vader's lightsaber. These both seem like Darth Vader's lightsaber. They have the exact same design, but different colors. I think I'm just crazy, so let me know in the comments. Pong Krell's lightsaber is S tier. Easy S tier. This is the original collapsible lightsaber, and Pong Krell was a beast with it. One of the great tragedies of the Clone Wars to me is obviously, you know, the fall of Darth Vader, Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But onto the real tragedies. One of the real tragedies is that Pong Krell was never in a lightsaber duel. I would have loved to see that guy pop off in a lightsaber fight. That would have been so sick. Because all he did was use it against clones, and that was sick. But a lightsaber duel would have been awesome, so that's an easy S tier. And another S tier is Asajj Ventress's lightsabers. Ventress's lightsabers are also S because, first of all, I'm a sucker for a curved hilt. Your boy loves a nice curved hilt. That alone will put it up there. And then also, in the Clone Wars movie, she can make a double-bladed lightsaber with it by putting them together, twisting, and then she basically had an S. I mean, it's hilarious to see because I could not imagine trying to use that in a fight. It's like, it looks like this. I would not want to wish that upon my worst enemy in terms of using it because I think it would be so inconvenient to have hilts pointing different directions. But she's good with it, so props to her, and it looks sick. So S tier is the way to go, I think. Mace Windu's lightsaber is probably the definition of an A tier lightsaber. You know, it's really cool that it's purple and the only purple lightsaber in Star Wars. I freaking love that. And also, it looks cool because it's gold. Like, the gold on the hilt just looks sick. And the only other lightsaber that I can remember that has gold on the hilt is Palpatine's, which, speaking of which, I don't know why Palpatine's isn't on this list, but you have to imagine it is with me, and if it was, I'd also put it A. Pretend that Palpatine's lightsaber is right here next to Mace Windu's, because that's sick, and I like that he has 2 of them. I think it's cool that there's 2 identical hilts that he uses at the same time. So, Palpatine's is also A, but it's not on this list. And finally, last but not least, we have Grandmaster Yoda's lightsaber. And I think this lightsaber is kind of basic, except for the fact that it's so small. Like, it's kind of cool to me that this lightsaber would be completely unusable to anyone in the galaxy except Yoda and, like, I don't know, Yaddle and Evan PL, Grogu, I don't know, random people. I think I'm putting this one A. If it were a little cool, like, more unique, I think it would be S, but it's not. So, anyway, guys, this is my lightsaber tier list. If there's one thing that Star Wars has, it's awesome villains. Villains who are powerful, strong, intimidating, and dangerous. However, it's one thing for a villain to be strong, and it's another thing entirely for a villain to be scary. You can be a powerful villain and still be a total loser who I'd walk right up to in the street and ask how their day's going. So today, I'm going to be ranking every Star Wars villain based on how scary they are. The way this is going to work is I'm going to have a tier list with 6 tiers. The highest is Nightmare Fuel, which are the villains that make you wish you were never born. Next is Spooky Terrifying, which, you know, are still pretty scary, but they won't cause your soul to leave your body. It's just like, wow, that's pretty creepy. Next is Please Call My Mommy, which are the villains that aren't super scary, but it's still kind of like, okay, someone please alert my mother that her son is a little bit creeped out right now. Fourth is, have you tried saying boo? Like someone who's not really scary, but they're not lame either. It's kind of whatever. They're more in the middle, leaning a little bit towards the less scary side, I'd say. Fifth is not scary. This one is straightforward. It's just the villains that, no matter how powerful or strong they might be, just aren't that scary no matter how you slice it. Like, sorry to break it to you, you're just not that scary. And finally, we have, this is pathetic. Like, get a job, little bro. Maybe you should try retail marketing or real estate or something, because you're not even close to being scary enough to make it a day with this whole villain shtick. Let's be real here. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus himself. And now look, we all know that this guy is like the coolest villain in Star Wars. A fallen Jedi who turned away from the Order to gain knowledge of the dark side of the Force, who's also like the most skilled lightsaber duelist to ever walk into the final establishment that is Waffle House. He's for sure dangerous. But he's also really freaking old. Like, he is just an old guy. There's no other way to put it. And hey, I freaking... This is why you don't get a roommate in college, guys. This is why you live by yourself. Because indeed you get freaks. I've never seen this guy before.
You gotta wake me up.
As I was saying, I got nothing against old people. Elderly people, they're great. Nothing against them. But the thing about old people is they're not usually that scary. You know, as a rule, being elderly comes with deterioration of the body and mind. I believe the statistic is something like when you pass the age of 70, falling over has a 30% chance of requiring serious medical attention. And while that's obviously not good, we need to look out for our elderly. It also means that Christmas came early for me, because in my mind, all I gotta do is hip check Count Dooku when I pass him in the street, and there's like a 1 in 3 chance that I take him out. Look, I know Count Dooku is a fierce warrior who could crush me without moving a muscle, but is he particularly scary or intimidating? Not really. I will give him this though, he does have that elderly aura, where you do kind of look at him twice because he's so stoic and tall and formal and proper. And especially in the Clone Wars, this hair and beard style he's got going is a little creepy, so I'm gonna put him in the have you tried saying boo? Like, maybe with a little work, he could be scarier, but as of right now, he's just not really up there. Next up, we got Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, whatever, and this one is a little trickier. The real kicker here is whether or not he's wearing his mask. If you've watched this channel before, boys, then you know I've said before that Kylo Ren, as a villain, had real potential as maybe even a replacement for Darth Vader. Like, he had that aura, especially in The Force Awakens. Also, speaking of Darth Vader, I want to give a big shout out and thanks to my cousin James. He made me this Darth Vader mold. He 3D printed this, and it's really freaking sick, boys. He said one of his friends at school is a big fan of mine, and the friend does not believe that James is my cousin. I'm his cousin too. Let's get the comments saying thank you, James, for this beautiful Vader. Because isn't this thing tough, boys? I mean, am I crazy? This thing's aura. So, anyway, back to Kylo Ren. I always thought his mask was so freaking tough, especially when in The Rise of Skywalker, it had the burns fused onto it. That looks so freaking cool. So if I catch a glimpse of Kylo Ren walking down the street with his whole mask and cape shtick going on, then yeah, that's pretty scary. And plus, when he starts talking with that freaking voice modulator, he goes up a whole nother level. I am not messing with a guy who sounds this crisp.
Ooh woo, hey my little pog champs.
But the issue comes around when he decides to take his mask off. Because now this is just kind of awkward. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him, I'm looking at his nose. He probably starts crying and whining because he seems to do that a lot, especially in later sequels. And now I'm just uncomfortable. Now the whole mood is ruined and I'm sad. Now, credit where credit is due. He is a big guy. He's got some nice muscles. I think he was a Navy SEAL before he became an actor. But it's not really even an intimidating frame. It's more like a, all right, buddy, I think you've bulked enough. Like spring's coming around, let's try cutting now frame. That's what he's got going on. I mean, the Ben Swallow meme is a meme for a reason. It just looks kind of goofy. Anyway, with the mask and cape and voice changer going on, I think I put Kylo Ren in, honestly, nightmare fuel. But without his mask, or shirt, I'd have to throw him in, honestly, please call my mommy. So let's average those two things out, with the mask, without the mask, and the shirt, and put him in spooky terrifying. I think that's pretty fair. In this ranking video, I'm trying to focus more on some of the bigger villains that are a little more prominent and important to the story. So, sorry to dash your hopes, but Battle Droid Commander 47 and that one Stormtrooper from Rebels will unfortunately not be included in this video. However, the lowest I will stoop is probably to this next villain, Newt Gunray, who isn't exactly stealing the limelight very often, but I'm confident that most of you watching know who he is, and he gets a nice little bit of screen time in both the prequels and the Clone Wars. When it comes to scariness, this guy is about as terrifying as they come. I think I'm gonna have to throw him in nightmare fuel for obvious reasons. No, for real, this guy's probably a top 10 most pathetic villain in Star Wars. What a freaking loser. He's like a banking CEO, which, like, right off the rip is not particularly intimidating, and he's always wearing this ceremonial dress or something. This is what his Lego character looks like. When your Lego character includes a dress for you, you know that you don't got that aura. And most importantly, he's a bug-eyed worm freak with a shriveled up head. What are we talking about? This is pathetic. This guy is not an intimidating, scary villain. Right to the bottom. Now we're on to Jango Fett, and Jango Fett's whole shtick is that he's the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. But no matter how skilled or impressive he is, there's something too sleek, too clean about him to really be scary. True scariness in a villain almost requires some element of disorder, of passion. And Jango's design is too cool, like it's too manufactured. Like, yeah, he's a faceless warrior, and that's definitely intimidating, but personally, I low-key thinks his armor looks less scary than the average stormtroopers. Plus, the color design he's got going isn't exactly scary either. It's like blue and silver, which is sleek and cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not really scary. Boba Fett's colors are a little scarier with like the mottled green and brown, but if you want to see some real armor, the only place to look is a fellow like Gar Saxon. Now, that is a tough fit. With the red and the black and those horns and that red-orange visor, this is scary. But armor aside, both Boba and Jango are tested warriors who are pretty intimidating, and they do got an arsenal at their disposal. I mean, seeing that missile on their jetpack would put the fear of God in my heart. I mean, when's the last time you walked down the street and saw a fellow with a missile on his back? I think the last time that happened to me, I pissed my pants. I think I'd put both of them in probably Please Call My Mommy. They'd give me a little bit of a fright. But nothing more than that, I don't think. But while we're on the subject of bounty hunters, let's talk about the cream of the crop, Cad Bane.
That's why he's the GOAT!
First of all, that name, magnificent, especially because he chose it himself. We saw in Tales of the Empire that Cad Bane's old name was Colby. Colby? Was it Colby or Kobe? I don't know, something like that. Cad Bane is scary in the same way that Rattlesnake Jake from Rango is scary. Like, you see this guy on the street with his red eyes and sharp teeth, and you realize that he would kill you with his bare hands in a heartbeat. And plus the cowboy hat, pure toughness. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's a certifiable fact that without it, you don't have to take him anywhere near as seriously. I mean, the man is bald.
Oh my God.
I like to think that Dave Filoni and them were in a design room at some point, and they are trying to figure out how to make Cad Bane cooler, and some unpaid intern from Berkeley or something muttered under his breath, maybe cover up that Megamind looking head with a cowboy hat, and Dave Filoni heard it and, you know, fired the intern for having a better idea than anyone else. Obviously, they gotta do that. But then he also added the hat, so it was a net positive. Anyway, when you take into account that Cad Bane might have the creepiest voice in the galaxy, a terrifying drawl that has the nails on chalkboard effect, you know, the hello there, little lady. Well, I'm not Cad Bane, boys. He can do it better than I can.
Well, hello there, little lady.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd get those goosebumps every time if I were walking down a dark alley and I saw Cad Bane behind me. However, I will say, I did not care for them making his hat small in Bad Batch. I did not think that was a good design for him, but that is neither here nor there. Throw Cad Bane into nightmare fuel. Next up is Asajj Ventress, the hairless harpy from the Clone Wars. But before we get to her, boys, I'd really appreciate it if you take a second and smash that subscribe button. If you're this far in the video, I know you're probably enjoying it. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free, it helps me out, it helps you out, and a large percentage of people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So do me a favor, just check to see if you are, and if you're not, turn that red button gray. Thank you guys. Now let's get back to Asajj Ventress. Would I call Ventress a scary character? I don't know, dude. Her name is freaking Ventress. That sure sounds pretty scary to me. A name like Dooku, as in like, oh, that dog just Dooku'd all over the floor. That doesn't exactly strike fear into my heart. But when her name is Ventress, that is demon material for sure. Plus, you add on the fact that she's completely bald, which is not exactly a good fashion statement, to be honest, but boy is it creepy. I mean, just compare Bad Batch Ventress with the Zoomer Gen Z short haircut to the Clone Wars Walter White treatment. One of these is scary, one of these looks like they need to start uploading TikToks immediately.
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's f***ed up what they be doing to y'all.
I mean, that one scene in Clone Wars where she guts the clone trooper, kisses him on the cheek, and then drops him to the ground? Oh, freak that, bro. That's terrifying. Now, I will say, she is like a small, thin, lanky woman, so that does kind of take away from her intimidation factor a little bit. And I'm not saying she's not scary, but I'm saying if you gave me 2 rooms, one with Ventress in it, one with Savage Opress in it, I'm not going into the Savage Opress room. I got a better shot of survival if I go with Ventress. That's just how it is. Because Savage Opress got that, like, I don't even know, man. He just got that build. So, sorry, no shot she's making nightmare fuel. I think I'm torn between spooky terrifying and please call my mommy. You know what? I'll give the devil her due. Spooky terrifying it is. And plus, I forgot she gets that mask later on during the Ahsoka framed arc in the Clone Wars. That thing is definitely creepy and also really cool. So yeah, put her up there. The next villain we have is a feared crime lord, known for his power and influence, who holds the life of thousands in his hands. And it's Jabba the Hutt. It's Jabba the Hutt. Alright, we know that Jabba isn't that scary, but let's consider a few things. First, Jabba has dozens of the most skilled assassins and bounty hunters at the tip of his fingers, any of whom would kill you in a heartbeat. Second, Jabba himself is actually enormous. Like, if he were 3 feet tall, then it'd be kind of funny, but look at him in reference to Princess Leia. He's like actually huge. Third, he's crafty. He didn't get to this position by accident. He's a powerful man, creature, slug, thing. And that brings me to my 4th point. Throw everything I just said out the window. This is a giant booger we're talking about. Jabba can barely move, let alone jump you in a dark alleyway. I don't care how many hitmen he has at his disposal. Riddle me this, what is Jabba gonna do to me if I start to walk away from him at a medium pace? Yell at me in a different language? I don't even have to listen to him, cause I don't speak Huttese. Checkmate, clanker. And I hear some of you out there saying stuff like, but Jedwerd, he's a powerful crime lord. He's in charge of so many. Silence. Talk to me when the villain in question doesn't have slime dribbling out of his mouth like a toddler. Talk to me then. But while we're on the topic of unintimidating Star Wars villains, allow me to ask you a question. Who amongst you would call Reva a scary villain? Let's see a show of hands out there. Yeah, interesting. Now, while I couldn't physically see a single hand, I'm sure that there weren't many up there, let's just say. Yeah, maybe Chuck's waving his hand out there, or Steve thinks that Reva is as terrifying as they come, but in general, I'd bet my roommate Cole's collection of video games that most of you don't think Reva is scary. And believe me, Cole's got a freaking lot of video games, I swear. Every day I walk in and see him playing a new one. He swears they're old games, he swears it's his favorite game of all time that he's been playing since he was 4 years old. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all, Cole. I know darn well you're buying new games. Anyway, what possible reason is there to be scared of Reva? Is her name tough? Does she look particularly scary? Does she get whooped by a simple Tatooine farmer with a hunk of metal? See, I'm not exactly reading in the stars what I should be scared by. What about her is intimidating? Even Princess Leia, a 9-year-old girl, successfully rage-baited her into deciding to torture her. Bruh. Look, Blood, if a 9-year-old girl doesn't think you're scary, that's just embarrassing. Let's pack it up. What's even funnier is comparing Reva to any of the other Inquisitors in Star Wars. Like, oh, you got Mr. Ghoulface over here with his sickly pale face and this cool hat, and you got this lady who looks like she's a Black Widow made human with his creepy spider-like persona, and you got the Grand Inquisitor with his sharp teeth. Oh my God. And you got Reva. Yeah, you're kind of there's no easy way to say this. You're not on the team. Like, take a seat over here, big dog. This is low-key sad. Have you considered looking into finance? Have you considered looking into marketing? Because villainy, scary villainy, might not be your strong suit. Yep, this is pathetic. Finally, we have Darth Maul. Are you looking at me? I think we all know what the freaking answer is. It's Darth Maul we're talking about. Let's not be coy here. We all know darn well what the answer is gonna be. We know what it's been since we started this tier list. Alright boys, take a gander. This is the final tier list ranking the scariest villains in Star Wars. Let me know if you agree or disagree and why. There are very few franchises out there that have the sheer amount of villains that Star Wars has. And I'm not talking like one episode TV show villains that only show up once and you never see them again. I'm talking about awesome, reputable, legendary villains that have become iconic in their own right. But just because someone's a villain, that doesn't mean that they're scary. There are plenty of villains out there who are straight up lame. Like, alright bro, I get it. You work for Jabba the Hutt, but this is kind of embarrassing for you. So today, I'm gonna be ranking Star Wars villains based on how scary they are. You might remember that I did this in my last video, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't yet, but only after you finish this one. Don't worry, they're not chronological, so it doesn't matter what order you watch them in. In that video, I only got through the first 10 villains that I deemed worthy, so today, I'm gonna finish the job with the last 10. Here's the tier list we're gonna rank these fellas on. The highest one is Nightmare Fuel, which are the villains that would make you pee your pants if you saw them in person. Like, this is as scary as it gets. Next is Spooky Terrifying, which are definitely still scary, but you probably won't have a heart attack. And then it's Please Call My Mommy next, which is like, alright, you're not that scary, but just scary enough that my mother should know that her son might be a little creeped out. Fourth is Have You Tried Saying Boo? Like, maybe if you put in a little more effort or dressed up like a job application or something, you could be spooky. But as of right now, get a job, little bro. This whole villain shtick's not for you. Fifth one is just not scary. This one is exactly what it sounds like. This villain is just not scary or intimidating in any way at all. And finally, we have This Is Pathetic. Like, let's pack it up, big dog. Clearly your skills would be better suited elsewhere. So that's the tier list, and now let's see where our villains fall. Without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have the king of the clankers himself, General Grievous. And let's start off with the obvious point. That name is so freaking tough. It just sounds scary to say. Grievous, Grievous, Grievous. But then you look at the man himself, and it gets even better. Not only is he made almost entirely of metal, but he's like over 7 feet tall. When he stands next to LeBron, LeBron has to tilt his head up to look him in the eyes. That's crazy. Height aside, the metal frame is terrifying. You would never, ever be able to hurt this guy unless you hit him with the old Three Stooges eye poke or something like that. Even that might not work though, because his eyes are scary too. It's like an alligator. These are low-key the nail in the coffin for his creepy look. The only part of him that's still a living thing, and they look like they shoot daggers at you. Well, maybe his voice is kind of goofy. You know, George Lucas couldn't make him too insane, so he had to nerf him a little bit somewhere. That would only make the most.
Time to abandon ship.
Dang it, why his voice gotta be so creepy too? That's like a metallic rasp or something. So freaking spooky. Imagine him busting out a tune.
Peach, understand. I'm gonna love you till the very end.
So let's recap. He's over 7 feet tall. He's made entirely of metal. His eyes are like an animal's. His voice would literally give Arnold goosebumps. I literally don't know if they can make him any scarier if they try. Oh, come on, 4 arms? Alright, I've seen enough. Put him in Spooky Terrifying. I've seen him enough. This is insane. There's no way that, no. Don't you dare. Don't you freaking dare. And he can crawl on the floor like a spider. He can crawl on the floor like a spider. Fine. I see now that I have no choice. To contrast that, up next we have Captain Phasma. Now, don't get me wrong, Phasma looks kinda cool. This chrome armor is pretty tough, definitely a little more intimidating than normal Stormtrooper armor. Other than that though, there really isn't much to go off of. Let's go over what we see her do in the movie she's in. She tells Finn to go clean his armor. She's kinda in the background when Hux gives his speech. If you look closely, you can see her.
Hey, that's my shoulder. What?
Right there.
She gets thrown into a garbage compactor. She fights Finn in The Last Jedi, and Loki gets styled on, and that's kind of it. That's basically all we see of her. Now, I'm not saying that she was wasted in the movies, but I am saying that there's nothing that scary about her. She looks cool, and I do think this metal stick she carries around is tough, but she's very easily neutralized by a mere threat of a blaster to the head. I'll throw her in Have You Tried Saying Boo? I feel like that's pretty fair. Coming in third, we have Emperor Palpatine, the first Sith of the video, and let's be clear here, he's a scary boy. Now, to be fair, in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, he definitely had aura, but he wasn't particularly creepy. What really pushed him over the edge was, first of all, becoming the Emperor of the Galaxy. That definitely does give him an edge. I mean, that would certainly give a fella some intimidation. But also becoming insanely scarred and deformed. I mean, holy cow, this guy aged 50 years in 1 minute. It somehow becomes even worse another 20 years down the line. I mean, Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi was actually terrifying. He looks way creepier here. even before the lightning, I will say that his hairline is clapped. I mean, holy cow. But it's actually a good thing, because it means that he can consistently wear this hood and cloak fit. And if anyone else were wearing them, it'd be kind of lame. Like, alright bro, you're not an anime villain, just go back to your mama's basement. But it turns out that when you're criminally scarred and you have these sunken yellow eyes, it's low-key very scary. It just is. Based solely off of his physical appearance, I'd probably already put him towards the top of the list. And then you remember what he can do. I mean, not to glaze, but Palpatine in his prime was moving like King Vaughn, for crying out loud. I mean, this guy was not to be messed with. All I'm saying is name a villain in the Clone Wars that Palpatine didn't absolutely wreck at some point. This guy was a beast. All that being said though, I think if I saw him on the street, I would definitely be scared, but not terrified beyond belief. It's kind of like I said about Count Dooku in the first video. Sidious is just an old dude. He just is, which takes away from his freakiness a little bit. There's no way around it. It just does. But he is scarier than Dooku for sure. I mean, Dooku was just too dignified, and Palpatine here looks like he got into a fight with a blender a few years back and lost miserably. I think I have to put him in probably, it's either spooky terrifying or please call my mommy. And I think I have to go with spooky terrifying. I can't rob the man of his fear factor. This is a scary villain. Next up on the list, we have Supreme Leader Snoke, a man who was meant to rival Sidious as a villain in the sequels. The guy behind Kylo Ren's turn to the dark side and the rise of the First Order. The guy that this random YouTuber back in 2016 had me believing was actually Mace Windu returned as a villain. Okay, this is actually crazy. No shot whatsoever that Disney of all corporations was gonna take one of their few black main characters, literally whitewash him, and turn him into a villain. That was just never gonna happen. But you see what I'm getting at here. Snoke is perhaps one of the most overhyped and yet under-delivered villains in all of Star Wars. Force Awakens had me believing that Snoke was gonna be so freaking lit you wouldn't believe it. I mean, this was Kylo Ren's master, and he was like 50 feet tall.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Alright, well, you know, he's still pretty big. I mean, look at his hand compared to Rey's face. Maybe he still will be a scary villain, despite all—
For the love of God! Please!
Look, these videos, the ranking the scariest villains videos, are impartial to the movies that these villains are from. They're not, I'm not telling you what movies are good and bad, but man, they did not want you to get invested in Snoke, that's for sure. They did not want you to care one iota. Like, in theory, the guy could have been super scary. He was big, scarred, nasty looking, and powerful, but they just wanted to crush him in front of you. Let me put it this way, Snoke had less screen time in the Star Wars franchise than Newt Gunray. And it's not like it was close. I mean, Snoke literally had 10 minutes total in both movies he was in. And yeah, sure, you could say that, oh, that's still more than Darth Maul had in The Phantom Menace, but come on, Darth Maul used those 6 minutes so well. I fully believe that this man was a demon after I watched this. Snoke could never, let's be honest here. But he is a scary looking guy. You know, if I saw him on the street, I'd probably want my mother to be alerted, so let's throw him in Please Call My Mommy. Next, we have Grand Moff Tarkin, and here's the thing. Grand Moff Tarkin has aura. Like, he looks kind of intimidating, but he's probably the oldest guy we have on this list. He's like someone's grandfather. The actor Peter Cushing literally wore slippers on set of A New Hope because the actual shoes hurt his feet. That's it. In his own words, they were uncomfortable. I'm not saying he's not tough, but I really do think if I saw him on the street, I wouldn't even feel a little bit intimidated. I mean, he's a good villain, don't get me wrong, but he's not a scary villain. As much as I respect this fella, I'm gonna put him in not scary. Now, I'm gonna level with you boys. I was not planning on including this next villain whatsoever. I mean, he didn't even cross my radar. But then I was looking at my comments section, you know, as a YouTuber does, and per usual, there were a very nice variety. There were a lot of really wholesome comments, a lot of really weird comments, a lot of really uncomfortable comments. But then there was this gem right here from Royal Guy 9100. And normally, I still probably wouldn't have done it. I mean, I'm not a puppet dancing on strings to my comments section. You're not marionettes moving me around. Oh, Jedwerd, do this. Come on. I'm a free thinker. I probably wouldn't have done it anyway. But then he you know, he won me over. He hit me with the pretty please, and I'm a sucker for a pretty please, boys. It was just too kind. I had to do it. So the next villain is BB-9E, the astromech from The Last Jedi. And normally, I ain't scared of no astromech. I firmly believe I could punt these things like a football if I had to. Probably break my toe. I mean, they're like a bowling ball, but still, I could punt them. However, I can't do that because I have played Battlefront 2 before.
Love of God!
Next, we're at a villain who's kind of like Grand Moff Tarkin, very similar in fact, but somehow less scary. And that is General Hux from the sequel trilogy. But before we get to him, boys, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button if you're enjoying the video. Only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and it would really help me out. Also, be sure to watch the first ranking scariest villains video at the end of this video. There'll be a link right to it. I think you'll really enjoy it if you're liking this one. Be sure to check that one out. Thank you very much for subscribing and for watching the other video. And now, let's go on to General Hux. Take all of Grand Moff Tarkin's aura that he gets from being old and delete it. Pretend that instead of old, he's a ginger. That's right, a ginger. Now, I am by no means saying that there's anything wrong with gingers intrinsically, but I am saying that it will be a cold day in hell before I consider a ginger scary. They just don't have that dog in them. On top of that, you add on the fact that he's low-key a total wuss. I mean, The Force Awakens made it seem like Hux was Space Hitler with this subtle speech he gave here. And then the guy killed like billions of people, which is definitely terrifying, not gonna lie. But in The Rise of Skywalker, then they decided to make him a traitor because...
I don't care if you win. I need Kylo Ren to lose.
Man, shut the...
Alright, bro, I was gonna put you a little higher, but then you switched up on the homies. Then you switched up on the boys. This is pathetic. Next up is Savage Opress, which first of all is a terrifying name that alone strikes fear. But let's consider the fact that the only reason Savage is scary in the first place is because he got Night Sister magic that made him a buff psycho. I mean, if I got that, I'm sure I'd also be equally scary, boys.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Then again, just because he won the scariness lottery does not make him not scary. He's like 7 foot tall, he's built like a truck, and he kind of solos most of the characters in Star Wars that he ends up fighting. Plus, let's not forget the fact that he is just straight up ruthless. I mean, I'm thinking of that time that he wrecked those 2 Jedi in the Clone Wars. And what about the Toydarian King whose neck he snapped? If I saw him on the street, I'd be terrified, I think. There's literally nothing about this guy that isn't intimidating. I mean, he even has horns for crying out loud. Who the frick is an easygoing guy and has massive horns? I think I gotta put him in nightmare fuel. There's nowhere else. He's a demon. He's a demon. He's moving on demon time. Alright, I think I'm gonna catch some hate on this next one because, to be honest, I just don't know enough about him. I mean, I stopped watching Rebels after season 2 and frankly just haven't gotten around to finishing it, which I know I'm basically on the intellectual level of a rock for pulling that one, but no matter how you slice it, I don't know too much about Grand Admiral Thrawn. I just don't.
You make me sick.
Leave me alone, please.
I haven't read the books and I haven't seen him in Rebels, so all I know from him is the Ahsoka TV show. However, here's what I'm thinking. Thrawn's skill seems to mainly come from his intellect, from his ability to predict people and their actions, along with coming up with genius strategies. So I can see why he'd maybe be a feared opponent in the realm of like space battles. Like if you're a tactical general fighting him, then yeah, that'd be scary. But if I just saw him out and about, I don't think he'd be that intimidating. I'm just being honest. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's decent in a fight in the same way that Tony Stark would be decent in a fight without any of his tech, but just man to man, I low-key feel like I have to put him in not scary. However, he is blue with red eyes, which automatically makes him a little scarier. So based on that and just that, I'm bumping him up to, have you tried saying boo? I know. Jedwerd, how can you do this? Thrawn is canonically like evil Napoleon, George Washington, and Flight Reacts rolled into one. Sorry, I just don't think he's that scary from what I've seen. Now, the Grand Inquisitor, on the other hand, is a villain who low-key high-key got screwed over heavy. Because in Rebels, this guy was actually creepy. His head looked freaky, he had these sharp teeth. Man, all these villains with sharp teeth. In reality, it would suck so bad to have sharp teeth. You'd just be like cutting up your mouth every time you ate food because you'd just be slicing your tongue and your lips and your cheeks. It would be so annoying. But it does look really scary. The Grand Inquisitor was just tough. He had aura. He was a creepy looking fella. And then live action. They just made him look like a weirdo. Just a pasty, round-headed bum with goofy looking red stripes. And that's just talking about the way he looks. Let's not forget that they also made his character such a loser. I mean, look how Reva guts him here. Holy cow, way to make the guy the opposite of cool and intimidating. So I think if I was only going off the animated version, I'd honestly put him in spooky terrifying. But unfortunately, we are forced to look at the whole scope. And considering the live action version, why don't you go ahead and take a seat down a little lower for me there, buddy. Let's put you at please call my mommy. All right. I've put it off for long enough. You guys deserve the truth. I've been dancing around it. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Darth Vader. Now, if we're being real, Darth Vader is overhyped. I mean, he's just a broken dude with no arms or legs, and that soundbox that Kanye made stronger off of strapped to his chest. Yeah, sure, his voice is cool, but let's be real here. He's probably, like, not scary to have you tried saying boo.
I want to help her out.
Speed, I'm watching the stream while you try not to laugh, bro. That's disrespectful as shit, bro.
You guys know I love my jokes, my little goofs. I mean, let's be real. This is Darth Vader we're talking about. There's no other villain in Star Wars, heck, in cinema, that is scarier. And you know what? To heck with it, I'm giving him his own tier, instant death, because he is just too scary. So this is the list, boys. Let me know what you think. Today, I'm gonna rank every single Clone Wars villain on this tier list right here. We got everyone, from the big guys like Count Dooku and Pre Vizsla and Ventress and all that bunch, to some of the more obscure ones like frickin' Ozzy Sobek from the Citadel episodes of the Clone Wars, and that funky looking doctor who tried to drop the coronavirus on Naboo way back when. And even Grand Moff Tarkin. I mean, whoa, hold on just a sec. What the frick is Grand Moff Tarkin doing on this tier list? Grand Moff Tarkin, when at the time of the Clone Wars, was not a villain yet. He was a valiant soldier of the Republic, which means, boys, it's time to add a tier already. Sorry, he's not a villain yet, comma, give him 20 years, period. There you go, buddy. Glad that's settled. Alright, now that we're actually starting the list, our first one is Darth Sidious. And Darth Sidious, I mean, come on. You can't not give him S tier. It's frickin' Darth Sidious. Even though he's not always out there swinging his dual lightsabers, and when he is, it's frickin' epic, he still is Darth. He's like the head of the Clone Wars. This guy controlled both sides, played both sides, and came out on top. He is the ultimate villain of the Clone Wars, even if he's not in it that much. Definitely S tier. No other way to put it. Bossk. Bossk is easily, I'd say, a B tier villain. He's good. He's not great. He's in probably 6 episodes total. And he's good in those episodes, but it's just not very much screen time. So I think he's good B tier, though. I think it's fair. He's definitely up there. And speaking of B tier, we have next up Darth Maul, who Darth Maul is the most B tier. I'm freaking kidding. Darth Maul is obviously S tier. I mean, come on here. I gotta give Dave Filoni all the credit in the book, because he picked up Darth Maul from the shadows and depths of the bottom of the Phantom Menace hole and dragged him out by his bootstraps and made him one of the most epic villains in all of Star Wars. Because Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace was good, not great, I would say. I think he had a great duel, obviously one of the best duels in Star Wars, no one would contest that, but as a character in that movie, he had like 31 words in the entire movie spoken. 31 throughout the whole movie. That is pathetic. But now we see him in Clone Wars, and in Clone Wars, he is one of the greatest villains in the entire show. He goes from being frozen in space with Savage Opress to the king of the Mandalorians in like 24 hours. No joke, he is actually a legend. Honestly, if you're watching this list, then you've obviously watched the Clone Wars, and you just know how freaking great Darth Maul is, so it is so easy to leave him up here at S tier. Easiest choice of my entire life. Asajj Ventress is next, and Ventress is an easy A tier villain, I'd say. She's not S tier, but she's not B tier. She's an easy A tier. I will say, Ventress is one of those characters that is easier to like as the show goes on. When she first comes out and first starts being, you know, Dooku's assassin or whatever, she's alright. She's kind of ineffective. She's good in a fight, but she never really does anything that insane. But then as the show goes on and Dooku betrays her and she has to fend for herself and she becomes a bounty hunter and she helps Ahsoka find out who blew up the Jedi Temple or whatnot, that's when she gets really cool. And that's when she starts to become much more likable and much more interesting. Also, come on, boys, you know me. I'm a sucker for a curved hill, and Ventress has got 2 of them. I mean, come on, what's not to like? That is actually epic, and she's fire with them. She's actually a great fighter, so A tier, very fair in my opinion. I think we're about to get our first F tier, because this is that random guy from the Battle of Christophsis that Obi-Wan pulls a war crime on and fakes a surrender for, and then absolutely obliterates in the battle. Easy F tier. This guy is so useless. He's only in 1 episode, or 1 arc of Clone Wars, I think, the Battle of Christophsis, and he gets played for a fool. And on top of that, he's not even that great of a leader. He's like just some random guy who has a bunch of battle droids at his command, and it's not like he does anything insane with those battle droids. He's not like some D1 commander. He's just a guy. And as a villain, kind of F tier. I mean, I don't even know his name. I can't remember his name, so F tier for sure, all the way. Okay, this next one is so familiar. I swear, I'm looking at it and the back of my mind is rolling around like a car, trying to figure out who the frick this is, because so familiar, but just don't quite have it. Just not really there. I do not know who this droid is. I gotta be honest. I'm sorry. I know everyone in the comments will. I know I'll get heavily roasted for this. I just don't know who this is. I'm sure it's a very evil, impressive villain droid. I'm very confident of that. Just don't know who it is. So that's that. And that means, boys, that once again, it's time to go add a tier, add a row below. Who the heck are you? Perfect. Now let's put the droid up there. Newt Gunray. Newt Gunray is a very, very easy C tier villain, I think. Physically, Newt Gunray is the least impressive guy I've ever seen. He looks like a worm, he looks like a larva, and I'm sure he leaves a trail of slime when he walks. I'd actually bet good money that he does. And when it comes to being a villain, I mean, he's more of a war profiteer. He just funds the separatists. He's kind of like a business guy. He's not really a, you know, as influential as he may seem. So I feel like in terms of villainy, he's also not that impressive. I think, honestly, everything about him screams C tier, because he's not this bad. Admiral Trench. Admiral Trench is, again, kind of like a Bosk, where he's not a huge villain in the show. I think he's in 2 separate arcs. The one where Anakin defeats him, and the other one where Anakin also defeats him. Even though he's not very physically impressive, he is a spider, which is freaking sick. And on top of that, he is a tactical genius, which is very impressive. So I think he's a solid B tier. I got nothing against Trench. And plus, I gotta admit, when he was a robot spider and he had half his legs were robotic and he had the robot eye, as you can see in this picture right here, freaking legend. I mean, this guy was a cool, freaking tough looking guy. Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan, I think, is a Ventress tier villain. Honestly, I feel like she's a little worse than Ventress, but she's not as bad as Admiral Trench and Bosk, for example. She's a little better than them, because she's more of a big character, you know? She gets more screen time, she's more of a real role, and I mean, I gotta admit, I like Deathwatch, and she's pretty impressive. So, I think it's A tier. She's nothing that special, but she's pretty cool. I like Bo-Katan. I'm fine with A tier. I think that works pretty well. Rush Clovis. Rush Clovis, if I remember correctly, is just like the scummiest guy in Star Wars. Not even really that much of a villain, just a scumbag. From what I recall of the one series he was in, basically, he goes with Padme to his planet with intentions on making her fall in love with him. She's kind of like going with it for some reason, if I remember correctly. And then Anakin shows up, much to all of our delight, and absolutely bodies him, which everyone loves to see. So I think as a villain, he's probably a C tier villain. I mean, he's more physically capable than this guy, that's for sure. Riff Tamson, old hammerhead over here. I gotta be honest, it's pretty respectable that Dave Filoni was trying to make an alien species to live underwater, and he literally just took a great white shark and gave it arms and said, boom, this is our villain. But I do remember Riff Tamson being pretty cool. Physically, he's an absolute beast. I remember there's one scene where he's going through whoever he's fighting, he's just going through and absolutely destroying them, biting off heads, biting arms. He's a legend, like a killing machine. I'm gonna admit, I don't remember his philosophy too well. I can't remember why he was doing this, why he was so mad at the Mon Calamari and the other species that he was fighting. But honestly, just because of his physical strength, I'm gonna put him B tier. I mean, this guy, he's not a very big character, but when he's in the episode, he's in the episode. You don't forget him very easily, so B tier is fair. This droid is evil, but it's almost more Ahsoka's fault than it's, because this droid was obviously sabotaging everyone from the very start, and Ahsoka was still turning a blind eye and just totally fine with it for no reason. And Anakin saw right through that scumsucker. Anakin said, no, I know you're up to something, I'm gonna find you, and Ahsoka being your friend is not gonna help you, and I respect that from Anakin. Honestly, kind of a B tier villain, genuinely. But actually, I am gonna put it C tier, looking at this again, just because I feel like these are 3 legends in their own sense, and you cannot put this droid amongst the hammerhead, the spider, and the lizard. I mean, these guys have their own little zoo right here. This is the animal kingdom in all fairness, but Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin is either S tier or A tier, and right now I'm kind of leaning A tier. You know what? I'm gonna go for A tier. I really like Mother Talzin. I like the style of magic that she uses. I like the director's choices to put magic in the show. That's a bold move, and it worked out great. The Night Sisters are some of the coolest characters in the show, and all the Night Sister episodes are actually awesome. Plus, that one episode where Mother Talzin confronts Mace Windu and makes like a magical sword out of nowhere and stands down against Mace Windu is actually epic. That's a pretty sick moment. So Mother Talzin, honestly, easy A tier. I'm a big fan. The subscribe button, yes! It would not be a Jedwerd video if the subscribe button were not here. And I'm gonna put the subscribe button at who the heck are you? And you wanna know why, boys? You wanna know why I'm putting the subscribe button at who the heck are you? Because only a small percentage of you are actually subscribed to my channel. Listen, you watch my videos every week, you're a big fan of them, I know you have a big smile on your face whenever you put them on, and I appreciate you. Just hit that subscribe button. Scroll down, I'm sure it's glowing right now because it glows when I say subscribe. The subscribe button glows down below. At least go check that and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And now, let's get on to Luke Skywalker. Because if you don't know, yeah, I know, I'm about to drop some huge bombs on you. Darth Bane right here is voiced by Mark Hamill. Boom! I guarantee a lot of you didn't know that, so you're welcome. You owe me this one. Darth Bane, I mean, to be honest, Darth Bane's not even really a villain in the show. Darth Bane is like a hallucination of Yoda's. And honestly, I might have to give him his own tier, boys. I think that's how what I'm gonna have to do, because he's not really a villain. Not really a villain, just a hallucination of Yoda's. Boys, I can't believe I just spelled hallucination right there. That was crazy. I was going with the flow, and I was just typing, and hallucination, boom. Honestly, someone put on some victory music, because I'm in a mood right now. Sorry, just living like a king right now. Can't really hear you over the sound of my glorious fanfare. yeah, anyway, yeah, Darth Bane's going in this one right here. You know what's kind of crazy is how much being a shapeshifter helps you be a fire villain. That's why this shapeshifter who helped Cad Bane break into the Jedi Temple right here is going in B tier. Next up is that medical droid that fixes up General Grievous in his lair, and I guess, I mean, C tier, nothing too special. I mean, he's witty, he's kind of funny, he's a funny guy, funny character, but in terms of villainy, he pushes some buttons to open some doors that makes the heroes fall into some traps. That's about it. Not really the greatest villain I've ever seen, but, you know, I think C tier is pretty fair. That works for me. Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon is probably, if I had to guess, I put him A tier. I think he's an A tier character. And now you might be wondering, Jedwerd, why are you outside? What are you doing in this vast abode? The answer to that, dear viewer, is I'm going to get some bread at Walmart. I have a fat Andrew Jackson in my pocket right here. Look at him. Oh, for all you non-history buffs, that's a $20 bill. Sorry. I need to get some bread at Walmart. And I also need to finish this video. So I'm gonna multitask. I'm gonna do both at the same time. So that's why we're gonna do a cool edit right now of me editing into my car. Ready, set, go. Boom. Am I the best editor of all time or what? Anyway, as I was saying about Gar Saxon is pretty cool. He's not as good as Pre Vizsla. Pre Vizsla's kind of the OG GOAT, but Gar Saxon is a cool cucumber. I like Gar Saxon. I think his addition to Season 7 was pretty cool. And honestly, I think he's a solid A tier character. No, A tier or B tier. He's not a big enough character to be A tier. You know what? I'm putting him B tier. Boom, done. Gar Saxon, B tier. Now, a quick lesson for all you young grasshoppers out there is that driving and recording at the same time is a terrible idea. Don't do it. You should have called me out instantly. If you didn't go into the comment when you saw me driving and talking at the same time, you are the problem. You should have gone to the comments and said, Jedwerd, this is a bad idea. Don't do that. You should have typed it out. But I'm sure you didn't. So, that's why I'm not going to be filming for the rest of this car ride because I need to drive safely. And instead, I'll be using this time to rock the frick out. Alright gang, just pulled into Walmart, so it's now safe to talk again. I'm glad we all learned a little lesson from this. But Prime Minister Almec is next. And Prime Minister Almec is probably a B tier villain. I like him. I gotta admit, he was kind of a twist villain. I didn't initially see him coming. He did go out kind of fast though, I gotta admit. He did get knocked out of the running pretty quick. But I think B tier is a pretty fair place to put him. I don't see a lot of other good options. So I think B tier is gonna be it. Anyway, up next is Poggle the Lesser. And Poggle the Lesser, I'd probably put him a solid C tier. Not as good as most of the other ones, but he's not terrible. It doesn't really help that he just clicks and mumbles and makes weird sounds the whole time, so I never heard him speak a word of English. So honestly, maybe, yeah, C tier is very fair. He's not as bad as a lot of people in F tier, so I can't put him that low, but C tier is a very, very fair place to put him, I feel like. Up next is another one of the Neimoidian ones who are really, really unfun. What's his name? Lot Dot, I think his name is. And that is like an F tier one if I've ever seen it. Not only is he a bad villain, he's just boring as frick. He can't do anything. He, again, looks like a larva who just hatched. Kind of uncool. I think, you know what? Keep that guy at the bottom. Put an easy F tier. Not a big fan. Way worse than New Gunray. At least New Gunray's got a little ring to it, you know? He's got a certain kind of oomph to it. So that's what I'd say. Alright, I'm filming very sparsely because I really am doing my best not to make anyone here feel uncomfortable or like I'm putting them on video or filming them. But I did cop the bread. So the bread is got, and now we're going to go check out. And now we're also going to talk about Pre Vizsla. And Pre Vizsla is probably an A tier. I'm actually a big fan of Pre Vizsla. I think that he's the ultimate Mandalorian. I honestly think that in a lot of ways, he was kind of right about some things. Obviously, I don't condone terrorism, but like, I mean, come on. That Mandalore was getting weak. With all the resources it had, should have been thriving, but Satine was making them weak. So that's what I think. And I'm gonna check this bread out. So, catch you after that. Just got out of Walmart, and you would not believe it. $3.57 for one loaf of bread. What is the country I used to love coming to? Honestly, falling apart in front of my eyes, and there's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, that actually, I filmed it there way less than I thought I was going to because I did not want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. But now, back at the car, I'm gonna talk about, I don't know who this is. This guy who's up next. He's like a king or something. I kind of remember him vaguely from the Clone Wars, but that is about it. Kind of remember as being like a separatist king of some planet and then getting killed at the end of the episode, presumably by Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi. But that is where my knowledge of him ends. So I'm going to put him on the can't remember tier. I'm gonna have to. I don't remember him. So that's that. Anyway, successful expedition. We got the bread. We got into Walmart. We got out, and we ranked some characters while we were at it. We ranked some characters. So now we're gonna go and drive home. All la-di-da-di-da-da. No, we're not driving home. We're stopping the video and then driving home. I hope you guys learned something by now. Do not film and drive. Bad idea. I'm gonna rock out to Chief Keef though, so I'll catch you on the other side. Just arrived back at my humble abode with the goal of making a peanut butter and banana sandwich, only to realize we don't have any bananas, despite the fact that I just got bread, which is highly disappointing to say the least. But on the plus side, there's Dogword. Dogword, say hi! Yeah. Anyway, next up we have that traitor from the episode where they're on Duchess Satine's ship and they're trying to figure out who's putting the spider droids in. Don't remember his name. Don't care that much. I just remember he was a 1-episode C tier villain who didn't achieve very much before he got stabbed through the heart. So that's that. And look how happy he is. Hi, Dogward. Oh, good boy. Well, here we are, back at the tier list, and I realized I was wrong. This right here is Lot Dodd. This is I don't frickin' know who, but not Lot Dodd. So I'm gonna leave him in F tier, and someone is hammering. You can probably hear it. Holy cow, it is kind of loud. All I know is Lot Dodd is still going F tier, and I'm leaving this guy right there too. They can sit there together and wallow in their own filth, which by the looks of them looks like they would, because they look like slimy insects. So F tier. Straight up. The Zygerian Slaver is next. Now, this arc in the Clone Wars, the Zygerian Slaver arc, was actually very, very good. I really enjoyed that. But the Zygerian Slaver as a character and as a villain, he's probably C tier. I could see him as C tier. He's not that influential, not that important. The way more important one, who's honestly maybe an A tier villain, is this lady right here. She was really good, and her relationship with Anakin was very good too. Very interesting, very fun to watch. I'd put her A tier all day. I think he belongs right here at C tier, and I don't see a reason to say otherwise. Wat Tambor is next, and Wat Tambor I feel like is almost the exact same person as Nuka and Rey. These two characters feel interchangeable. Their roles in the Separatists are almost the exact same, except Wat Tambor doesn't speak English. I think C tier is very fair. Next up is that freaky Geonosian lady. I don't remember her name, but she's the queen of the Geonosians that has the little worm hive mind things. And this lady is an absolute weirdo. I mean, her body is like as big across as my room. She's really tall, really fat, disgusting creature. I think she's like, she also dies pretty quick. She's in part of the episode until the rocks fall on her. I think F tier. I forgot about her. That's like flashbacks. Back in the day, when I was a kid watching Clone Wars, I remember getting like PTSD from watching them put that worm up Luminara Unduli's nose. That was disgusting. Boba Fett, I'm gonna put in A tier entirely for his sheer consistency throughout the show. First of all, over the course of the show, we see him grow up a little bit. We see him go from a weird, immature kid who wants to kill Mace Windu and can't really do it because Mace Windu's actually a good Jedi, to like some random bounty hunter leading expeditions to protect people's daughters on the train from getting kidnapped in order to bring them to forced weddings. Do you remember that episode? That was an awesome episode, but very interesting role for Boba to take. I do not know this guy's name, but I do know that he was the Trandoshan who was trying to hunt Ahsoka when they captured Ahsoka and put them on the island for sport. He's like the same level as this character. He was like a 2-episode villain who was part of the arc, and he dies at the end if I remember correctly. The only thing he's got going for him is he's a Trandoshan, and he's nowhere near as cool as Bosk. So because of that, I feel like he goes C tier. Count Dooku. Now Count Dooku, boys, if you've watched this channel before, I think you have a pretty good idea of where I'm putting Count Dooku. I mean, come on. I have his lightsaber right here, and I pull it out every single time I talk about him because I think it's that cool. But look at this curved hilt, boys. Look at this curved hilt. Look at this elegance, this style. These quick strokes that I can hit. This is tough. This is the definition of tough. But yeah, all of that's to say that, in my humble opinion, and the obviously correct one, Count Dooku is an easy S tier character. I mean, he is like the main villain of this show. All of the other characters eventually end up having to deal with him in some way, or have to report to him, or have to... In some way, he's always pulling the strings. In a lot of ways, he's the master of puppets of the show. And speaking of master of puppets, I'm seeing Metallica on August 4th, and I cannot wait. And if any of you are going to be at Gillette Stadium watching Metallica, I will be there too on August 4th. See you then. But yeah, Count Dooku, S tier character, big fan. If you've watched this channel before, you know that. That was never a question for me. The Defibrillator is this guy right here. This is, I don't know his name, but he was on that weird planet with the weird chimpanzee things, the lemur looking things. And he was the one who wanted to burn them to the ground with the defibrillator. So I'm putting the defibrillator guy in C tier. I genuinely have no idea why they're including him, but this looks to be the battle droid commander from the episode where Yoda and the clones got stranded on that random planet with the Toydarians and Ventress. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The first ever episode of Clone Wars. That's this one, I feel like. But this is just some random droid commander, and not particularly special in any way as far as I know. So, I guess C tier? I mean, what the frick am I supposed to do? This is a random droid. I don't know anything about him. Now, boys, back in the day, I used to be a big fan of LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. And that's why I think this guy's name right here is Roboto. Something R Roboto. Something like that. Because I remember using him in a Clone Wars level of that video game. He's probably a Bosk-like character. Well, I can't put him on the same level as Bosk, because he's a good hacker, but he's kind of like a squid-looking thing. Probably not that good in a fight. Honestly, I put him on a C tier. I don't really want to. I feel like he's a little bit better than C tier, but I am sure as heck not making another tier. So right now he's staying at C tier because I don't think I can put him on B. Next up is Castus, and Castus I feel like is also a C tier villain. He does very little. He's in like 2 episodes of the entire show, and then eventually he's gonna like betray Aurra Sing and Boba Fett. So I keep saying Ventress. Sorry, 2 bald pasty ladies. Aurra Sing shoots him and kills him, and that's the end of his arc. So maybe he was a great fighter. I have no idea. He was in like 1 fight that I saw, but I gotta put him in C tier from what I saw, from what I did actually see in the show. This right here is that clone in the Battle of Christophsis who gave information to the Separatists and was gonna betray his brothers in arms. He also didn't make it very far, so pretty bad villain in my opinion. Honestly, he's also a C tier. A lot of C tier villains. I'm realizing now that a lot of the villains in Clone Wars are just incompetent, stupid, fat, useless, or overall unhelpful in most ways, or ineffective at the very least. Zero the Hutt. Honestly, I am putting Zero at B tier for sheer style. This guy has this drip down. Look at him. He's got those glow in the dark tattoos. He's purple. Boys, if you're purple, you win a little sympathy from me. I'm a big fan of purple villains on this channel because I myself, my profile picture is purple, for crying out loud. So Zero, maybe he's not the greatest villain, but you know what? I'll put him B tier. I'll have a little sympathy. Plus, I think it's really funny the way he talks. You talk like this, drama, what are you doing? I kind of like that. I don't know. I'm not. Now, this is the guy I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Ozzy Sobek. He looks very scary. He's like if an ape looked like a human. That's a bad description, but I feel like it also kind of makes sense. He was not a very big villain. He was only in the 4 episodes of the Citadel that we saw, but during that time, we saw him as a pretty ruthless guy. He was willing to do anything to get them back. He was a very, very commanding officer. He did get killed at the end of the arc. I'm gonna put him C tier because I'm looking at B tier and I'm seeing these legends and I'm like, yeah, you know what? He can't fall in amongst them. They are too good for him. They are simply too well done. So I'm putting him in B tier or C tier. Savage Opress. Now Savage Opress is actually freaking sick. I actually love Savage Opress. I think he's so cool. I wish we got a little more character development out of him because what happened was that we had the whole arc where he's against his brother and he's gonna fight his brother and he kills his brother in order to stay alive. And because of that, Ventress chooses him and gives him roids, and he becomes 6'9", jacked out of his mind, and goes and finds Darth Maul. And after that, he has 0 character growth for the rest of the show. Just nothing. He's floating in space. All he does is do whatever Maul tells him. He's like a less cool Darth Maul. So because of that, I'm gonna put him in A tier because he's Savage Opress. I'm not freaking putting him lower than that. Believe me. This is that guy who gave General Grievous R2-D2 and who lied to Anakin Skywalker and deployed the Magna Guards or had the Magna Guards ready to be deployed. And I'm putting him F tier. He was in like 4 minutes of 1 episode. He did absolutely nothing except lie once, and he barely got away with it too. F tier villain, honestly. Do a little better, buddy. Pong Krell. Now, Pong Krell is a villain who you love to hate. Anyone who treats their clones as a lower life form for no reason other than the fact that they're clones is actually a stupid moron and does not realize that they're still organic life forms. Oh, I hate hitting my mic because I know it shakes the audio a little bit, but whatever. He did have some absolutely epic lightsabers. He had 4 arms, so he had the 2 double-bladed lightsabers, and he was a tornado of awesome light whenever he used them. I would have loved to see him in a lightsaber fight, but I guess we won't. So, because again, he died at the end of the episodes. As a villain, he was very ineffective in a lot of ways. He was gonna join Count Dooku, but then he got killed by a bunch of clones, so kind of lame on his part. At the same time, this guy, again, love to hate him. He's a very good villain. He's good at making you angry and feel for the clones. I'm putting him A tier. We're getting towards the end now, and coming up next is General Grievous. And General Grievous, here's the thing. General Grievous is like a pretty cool character. It's cool to see him in a fight, but at the same time, I have never seen a more cowardly robot in my entire life. For a guy who's made of like 98% metal, he is so scared. Every time something goes wrong, he puts a droid in command, slaps him on the back, and runs away as fast as he freaking can. I hope there's a YouTube compilation that's probably at least an hour long of General Grievous running away from bad situations. He is an unbelievable coward. However, that being said, sorry, I'm just eating yogurt covered pretzels. I have a bunch down here. They're really good actually, but sorry, besides the point. Even though he's a coward, he is still an absolute legend. And because of that, I feel wrong not putting him in A tier. I feel like it's the only logical thing to do. And plus, the guy can wield 4 lightsabers. I mean, come on, that is actually dope. This is that random Senate guard, as you can see, he's wearing a Senate guard armor, who betrayed the Republic and worked for Ventress and the Separatists, and then got killed like 20 minutes in for his trouble. That is his entire rule in the show. He was in 1 episode, he betrays them, and he gets killed. He is in almost exactly the same position as this guy, except this guy actually, no, this guy died. I forgot. This guy did die. But the point is that he was also a very, very useless character who did very, very little and was a bad villain overall. And speaking of bad villains, we have Cad Bane next. I mean, oh, how annoying can you get? I mean, the hat, so 80s. The red eyes, so 60s. And the twin blasters, so 1830s. Please, F tier. Psych! If you believe that, I hope you click off now. I really do. Because Cad Bane is my favorite bounty hunter in Star Wars and one of the coolest. One of my friends put it like this. I've said this in a couple videos because he said it to me and it is so true. You know that when Cad Bane's in a Clone Wars episode, it is about to go down. They're going to be fighting, they're going to be running for their lives, they're going to be doing their best to overcome him, and he's going to be doing his best to fight the frick back. Because he is Cad frickin' Bane, the cowboy of Star Wars, the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and one of the most impressive individuals on this list. I know I'm kind of glazing him right now, and you know what? I'd rather do nothing else. Cad Bane is an easy S tier. Sit up there, legend. You're with your friends now. Who the frick is this? He seems very vaguely familiar, but like, I'm gonna put him in who the heck are you? Because I can't remember anything about him. I can't remember even what episodes he was in. He seems familiar, again. Oh wait, was he the guy? Oh, wait, let me cook, boys. In the episode Rookies, when the Domino Squad is trying to prove their worth, is he the guy who's standing in their way and saying that they need to quit and be put on maintenance like 99? Is that him? Hang on, let me go fact check this really quick, because if it's right, give myself a good old pat on the back in eating a yogurt-covered pretzel. The 5 Clone Squad's teamwork is dysfunctional, as noted by its instructor, hired Bounty Hunter Brick. Please be it. Let's go! That is him! Boom! You can't get anything past this noodle right here. I'm mine like a steel trap. Yogurt-covered pretzel on me. Have it back. So we're gonna take our good friend Brick out of Who the Heck Are You and put him in not really a villain, just a hallucination of Yoda's. Even though he's not really a hallucination of Yoda's, he's not really a villain. I mean, he's just a guy. At the end of the day, he's a hired bounty hunter helping the Republic. He's also just trying to weed them out for the good of the Republic in some way because he thinks they're an inefficient, bad squad. So I really don't think he's that much of a villain. I don't really understand why he's on this list, but I'm gonna leave him right here, not really a villain, and just pretend that this whole part right here doesn't exist. We are in the final 3 now, and this is that doctor who basically made the coronavirus on Naboo and was trying to drop it before he got captured. I don't remember his name, and I don't particularly care that much because I remember everything else about him. He's a C tier villain. He's kind of with the rest of them, I feel like. He's not that different from most of them. I mean, his plan failed. He was a mad genius who was trying his best to infect the whole system and didn't really work out for him. So because of that, he got mad and got arrested, and that was it. That was the end of him. So C tier. I think very fair. We are getting to the final 2. At number 2, we have the legend himself, Hondo Ohnaka. I'm really debating S or A tier, and I think S tier. I really do. This is the Jack Sparrow of Star Wars. This guy, if you've watched him before, you will love him. Personable, charming, funny, witty, looks out for number 1. I mean, what's not to like about him? He's in so many episodes. Very consistent character in the sense that he is always dishonest and will always betray you for profit, as he says, I smell a profit. S tier all the way. Big fan of Hondo Ohnaka. Anyone who's seen him absolutely loves him. Finally, Aura Singh. Aura Singh is, I'd say, an A tier villain. She's very calculating, very cold, very efficient, very good bounty hunter. And this, boys, is the final tier list. Look right here. This is all we have.
But Deleted Scenes Kenobi is an absolute monster and decides against capturing him or killing him humanely. Instead, he ignites his saber and chops off Grievous's arms to stop him from moving.
What the frick?
He then reaches down and pulls out some kind of organ from his chest.
He throws his organs away? Yeah, no freaking wonder this scene got deleted. What the frick, Obi-Wan? Today, I'm gonna be watching and ranking every single deleted scene in all of Star Wars. And the first one we're gonna be starting off with is Grievous kills Shaak Ti, deleted scene. That's sad.
I'm sorry, Master Kenobi. I failed.
Oh, General Kenobi. We've been
Okay, so is it canonical that Grievous just loves to say General Kenobi every time he sees Obi-Wan Kenobi? I swear, there's not an interaction they have where he doesn't go, aha, General Kenobi.
We've been waiting for you, stinking Jedi.
Rip, boys, rest in peace.
I look forward to adding your lightsabers to my collection.
No.
This is not a good time to argue, Master.
Might I recommend?
No way. Are they actually joking and making mustache twirling hand signal jokes right after Shaak Ti got freaking stabbed through the heart? There's not a single chance. No way. That's crazy. Honestly, I'm gonna put this deleted scene in not half bad. I'm considering putting it in why the frick was this deleted, but I gotta be honest, boys. The cracking jokes at the end right after their beloved counterpart and Jedi Master Shaak Ti gets stabbed through the heart, like literally 3 seconds later, kind of kills the vibe a little bit. Kind of kills the vibe. I know, I'm sorry. It just kind of kills the vibe. If it wasn't for that, I think this scene would go in why the frick was this deleted, especially when you consider the fact that this was supposed to be like the sequel to the original 2003 Clone Wars show in which Shaak Ti was kidnapped. So it actually does make sense lore-wise. All right, coming up next, we have a Last Jedi deleted scene. So boys, lower your expectations. We all know this one's gonna be pretty freaking bad. I mean, just get ready for it. Doesn't really help that it was posted by the official Star Wars YouTube channel, and it's called Phasma Squealed Like a Whoop Hog. I'm not convinced that this is gonna be good. Holy green screen, boys. I can't even ignore that. Look at this. Holy... I mean, I guess I can see why it was deleted because they didn't even edit it, but I mean, you know, I'm being unfair. They didn't post this for a reason.
You call for order. You beat us down. But when your shiny neck was threatened, you squealed like a whoop hog.
Do you hear that guy squeal like a... How did they think?
When I put a gun to your head, you shut down Starkiller shields. Now, what would your troops do if they found out? Or your masters?
Who would believe a story like that?
Wow, these stormtroopers are super easily convinced by the guy that they're fighting to kill who is doing anything to stay alive. It's like he said one sentence that was very easy to make up probably, and they all start looking around like, not her? What? She did that? Didn't love the editing in that scene.
You were always scum.
Yeah, you tell her. I love the editing in this. I gotta say, boys, I'm a sucker for some tacky green screen. Look at this. Look at this. What the frick is this? Alrighty, it really isn't fair to judge that one on the unfinished editing because obviously they never posted it, so there's no reason to finish the editing. I think in general, honestly, the only thing that scene did was give Finn a moment to talk in The Last Jedi without being turned into a joke. Like, that scene actually probably would have helped Finn's character and given him a little finality to his arc with, you know, being a stormtrooper. Because I think in all The Last Jedi, they never once mentioned that he was in fact a stormtrooper back in the day. Honestly, boys, I think I'm putting this in could have gone either way just because of the corny dialogue. The, you squeal like a whoop hog. And the, you're scum. Yeah, that's right. Rebel scum. It's just corny. So I think I'm going to put that in could have gone either way. It's not actually half bad, though. For being The Last Jedi, it's higher than I thought I'd put it. Alright, boys, coming up next is Anakin Skywalker fights Greedo deleted scene from when they're kids on Tatooine. But before we get to this, I wanted to let you know that all these deleted scenes came from you guys, because a month ago I left a community post saying, what are your favorite Star Wars deleted scenes? Let me know in the comments and include a link to the scene if you can. And I did my best. You guys left a lot of scenes. You left 63 comments over here. So I tried to get all of them, tried to find the ones that I thought were pretty good. But unfortunately, boys, I hate to break it to you, I was not able to get to all of them. For example, right here, Claudia Jabba the Hutt makeout scene. Couldn't quite find the time to put that one in the video. I really am sorry about that one. My bad, Micah Soda. So apologies. But coming up next is the Anakin Skywalker fights Greedo. So let's look at that really quick. Show him, Anakin.
What's this all about?
He said I cheated.
Did you?
No.
You still think he cheated?
Dogma.
Well, Annie, you know the truth. You'll just have to tolerate his opinion. Fighting will not change it.
Honestly, boys, no joke, this might be the most heartwarming deleted scene in this entire tier list. I mean, Qui-Gon coming through as always, being the GOAT and settling conflicts without raising a finger, and honestly giving us an insight to Anakin's inner darkness, even from a young age. I mean, all the aspects of this scene are really pretty good, and I'm actually pretty impressed by that scene. Honestly, boys, I'm throwing this bad boy in why the frick was this deleted. I really like this scene, and I think it would have been a good addition to the movie. I really wish they kept it in. Anyway, next up we have the infamous Anakin versus Dooku deleted scene, The Revenge of the Sith, which is their infamous duel. And this duel, for the most part, from what I can tell, there's no music on it. I'm gonna have to put my own epic music over it. honestly, this duel looks freaking phenomenal. Like, it's really well choreographed, really well done. Everyone's moving really well. Hayden Christensen, I think that's Hayden Christensen and not his stunt double or anything. He's fighting pretty well. The Dooku actor's fighting really well. I'm actually really impressed by this. There is one part, though. It's kind of a long duel. It's like, well, it's a minute, but for a deleted scene, that's pretty long. There is one part I want to skip to, and that's the infamous part at the end where it's, I think we all know what I'm talking about. I'll just show it. He comes through right here, and he drops the lightsaber. Look, they're going to show it again, I think. He comes through, and he drops the lightsaber, and Dooku swipes it, and then that is sick. Boys, no matter what your opinion are on the prequels, Revenge of the Sith, or any lightsaber duels ever, that is freaking awesome. Now, a lot of people like to say that, oh, Star Wars fans got robbed because they didn't leave this one in, and I don't really think that's true. I think, honestly, the one that's in Revenge of the Sith that we have is still a fire duel. It's freaking awesome, and in my hour-long video where I ranked every lightsaber duel in Star Wars, I put that one really high. This duel is really cool. Honestly, most parts of it are on par with the one that we do have in Revenge of the Sith. The only thing that really sets it apart is the lightsaber drop in midair scene. That part's really cool. But honestly, I'm just gonna put it in not half bad. Like, I don't think it was necessary in the movie, and I don't think that it didn't, like, I'm not upset that it wasn't included, you know? I'm fine with the one we have, and I think that this one's good. It would have been cool if this was in the movie, but I'm fine that it's not, you know? Now, boys, we are, if you haven't noticed, in fact, in a new residence of mine. If you're a longtime fan of the channel, then you will be very aware of the fact that this is not the Jedwerd room, and we are missing one of our most important members. Boys, Claude is gone. All we can do at this point is just honor and respect his legacy and remember what he wanted us to be. Remember what he strived for us. So boys, honor and cherish Claude's memory. Always remember this as the day that we said bye to Claude. But anyway, yeah, this is the new room, this is the new residence, and yeah, let's get back. Oh, fine. Anyway, let's get back to the video. And coming up next is the legendary one and only subscribe button. Yes! Yes! Boys, Claude may have left us, but the subscribe button on the tier list never will. And boys, I'm gonna put the subscribe button and thank freaking goodness that this trash isn't in the movie. And you wanna know why I'm putting it there, boys? Because if it was in the movie, then it couldn't be in all of our hearts. Boys, it really mean a lot to me if you'd scroll down and hit that subscribe button. Only a small percentage of people who watch this channel are actually subscribed, and I really, really appreciate it if you go and hit that sub button. If you like the videos, if you like any of the videos, if you like this video, just do me a favor. Really helps me out, costs nothing from you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, truly. But now on to the deleted scenes. Coming up next, we have a really, really good one and a really, really violent one. The Jango Fett extended death scene with 3 times more violence. Boys, I love America. Well, let's get started on this. Okay. Holy frick! You did not need to Mace Windu. Oh, he lost an arm in that shot too. Oh, did you guys see that? Oh, Mace Windu. A simple chop of the head would have done, my man. You did not need to. His son, his kid is watching. He has a young son. What the frick? Look, boys, I can see why it was deleted. I really do understand why they deleted that one. I mean, I don't think they had to. It is Star Wars. We saw Dooku get beheaded like 30 minutes earlier. I don't think you had to get rid of it, but I see why they did it. I'm gonna put this in probably best that it got taken out, with the acknowledgement that I would have really, really freaking liked it if they kept that bad boy in. That would have been so funny to see. All right, coming up next is an extended deleted part of the Anakin versus Obi-Wan duel on Mustafar. Lava Tsunami is in the title, and a big shout out to Vader's Fortress for posting this. That's my guy right there. Let's check this out.
In it, Anakin was going to try and take out Kenobi using a tsunami of lava.
Bless you now.
Anakin first uses the Force to squirt a small amount of lava on Kenobi. Although Kenobi is able to stop most of it, it still sets his platform on fire. Realizing that this is a pretty effective strategy, Anakin then unleashes a monstrous tidal wave of lava at Kenobi, reaching several meters above his head. Fortunately, however, Kenobi is able to block it with the Force. Do you think that this should have made it into
like Moses part of the Red Sea right there with Obi-Wan blocking it with the Force? I think that would have been really cool actually to see in the movie. I think the duel itself is obviously already legendary. I think it just would have been cooler to see that too. Plus, I think it really would have helped us to see how powerful Anakin and Obi-Wan really were in their prime, for Anakin to throw the lava and Obi-Wan to block it. Like, yeah, I already said it, but Moses part of the Red Sea. So honestly, I'm putting this one, why the frick was this deleted? I really would like to see this in the movie. It wouldn't have taken anything away from the duel. I guess maybe the CGI would have been hard to animate in like 2005, but at the same time, it would have been cool to see. Clone Troopers disguised as Jedi, deleted scene. Let's check this scumsucker out. All right. Okay.
Master Yoda, thank goodness
okay,
you're safe.
Right off the bat. Why the frick did the clones think this would work? This is quite clearly Temeru Temuera Morrison, the guy who plays Book of Boba Fett and all the clones in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. This is quite obviously a clone. No one's gonna fall for this.
We've recaptured the temple, but we expect another clone attack at any moment.
Quickly then.
You clones make terrible Jedi.
That's what I'm saying, Obi-Wan. Okay, so it's basically just the scene we already got, except the clones are pretending to be Jedi. I think that this scene is cool, and it would have been way cooler, and honestly, very justified to be in the movie if the clones didn't try to pass off themselves as Jedi. I mean, boys, they served with the clones. The Jedi served with the clones for like years on end. Years. How the frick were the clones like, oh, I know, if we mount a hood and put a hood on our heads, they will not be able to sense us. They will not be able to do that. It was just shockingly unintelligent for the clones to think that would work. So honestly, I'm gonna put that one in I'm putting that in probably best that it got taken out. I mean, there's no real reason to keep it in. The scene we got of Obi-Wan and Yoda fighting the clones was already pretty good. And again, clones are not that stupid. Clones know darn well that they don't look like Jedi and that every Jedi is gonna know what they look like. All right, boys, we're about halfway through the list, and you might be realizing by now that this isn't every deleted scene in Star Wars technically, because there are thousands of deleted scenes, and to be honest, most of them are just completely boring. The scenes these are, as I said earlier, the comments that you guys left on my community post mainly, and on top of that, scenes that I knew of that I thought were cool and actually a good topic for whether or not it should have been added to the movie. That's generally what I tried to do, which is why I kept this one. General Grievous deleted R-rated death scene in Revenge of the Sith. I mean, boys, I'm not gonna pass up an R-rated death scene for a deleted scene. That's awesome. Again, big shout out to Vader's Fortress. Love that guy. My day one homie.
But it ends in a similar way to canon, with Kenobi and Grievous scrapping it out. At the end of the fight, Kenobi starts rummaging around inside Grievous and starts pulling out all sorts from inside. This appears to immobilize the cyborg. But deleted scenes Kenobi is an absolute monster and decides against capturing him or killing him humanely. Instead, he ignites his saber and chops off Grievous's arms to stop him from moving.
What the frick?
He then reaches down and pulls out some kind of organ from his chest.
He throws his organs away? Yeah, no freaking wonder this scene got deleted. What the frick, Obi-Wan?
Kenobi slowly reaches out with the Force to grab Grievous's blaster. He then slowly aims and blasts Grievous's organ sac, finally killing him. I don't know about you.
Okay, I think, personally, I think that, you know, maybe pulling out his organs and throwing his own organs across the room from him would have probably killed him. But yeah, I guess you can shoot the organs lying on the floor if that makes you feel better, Obi-Wan. Dang, that is dark. No wonder that got deleted. Now, boys, I'm not going to say it wouldn't have been cool or funny or, like, at the very least, insane to see that in the movie. But at the same time, I think I got to put this in probably best that it got taken out. I mean, it would have been a little weird to see, and it wouldn't have worked very well with the physics and biology of, you know, Grievous as a character and Obi-Wan as a character and his sense of morality. So I think it's probably best that it got taken out. Still, insane scene. I was not expecting that one at all. Anakin Skywalker speaking droid. I think I've seen like bloopers of this on Instagram Reels, and I hope it's not as bad as they look there.
It's broken. Can you understand what he's saying?
I'm not a protocol droid.
I'm pretty sure that beep is down.
Oh no.
I sense Count Dooku.
That's bad.
Oh, yes, you're right. Beep is up.
What the frick?
I think.
Why are they trying to pass off that Anakin can make droid noises with his mouth? Anakin is a human being. No human being can make those noises. That's so weird. You know what, boys? This scene is historic because for the first time, we're putting an actual scene, not just the subscribe button, which, by the way, you should subscribe. We're putting an actual scene in the thank freaking goodness that this trash isn't in the movie, because that is garbage if I ever saw it. I feel like that had to be like a behind the scenes, like George Lucas just thought it'd be funny to have this exist in the multiverse somewhere and not actually post it, because there's no way they thought to themselves, I have a good idea. What if we make Anakin make droid sounds with his mouth? You know, the living, breathing organism. What if we make him have click clack, click clack, I'm pulling on my youngin's Chief Keef organ sounds. What the frick? All right, we're getting to the end now, and this is Anakin meets Padme's family in episode 2.
We were so worried.
Dear.
I know, but I had to say it. Now it's done.
Okay, so far the only thing this scene is like really impressive about is or not impressive about, but useful for, is showing Anakin like understanding what a real family is like and what growing up in a real household with actual family members and siblings and a dad, for crying out loud, what it's like.
So tell me, son, how serious is this thing? How much danger is my daughter in?
Man, Anakin got there like 20 seconds in and he's getting the dad talk. That's rough. That's a rough on its head.
There have been 2 attempts on her life. Chances are there will be more.
Oh, he was asking about... Oh, they were asking about boring political death and potential assassin. Ah, boring as frick. I want to hear the dad talk. Honestly, like I said earlier, this scene is really good in the sense that it gives Anakin a sense of what it would have been like to grow up in a real family and to see the difference in how he and Padme grow up. But at the same time, it's not necessary, and I don't think the movie was any worse because this scene wasn't in there. I'm gonna put it in could have gone either way. It really could have gone either way, and I'm not particular about it. All right, we're in the top 3 now, and coming up next is Shaak Ti Can't Stop Dying. And now you may be thinking to yourself, Jedwerd, you babbling buffoon, we've already seen Shaak Ti die in that deleted scene. She got killed by Grievous, and you're correct, viewer. That is one of the deleted scenes that she dies in. However, she does have another one because Shaak Ti cannot get a break. And in this one, I think she gets killed by Anakin, and we're gonna react to this one in a second. But first, we're gonna do today's Things I Love and Things I Hate. That's right, boys. I gotta skew my chair out. I got a different chair now. Today, we're doing Things I Love and Things I Hate. And the thing I love today, boys, is actually, you'll be shocked to learn, chocolate pudding. I love me some good old chocolate pudding. Chocolate pudding, I think, is one of the best casual snacks you can eat. Now, health-wise, it probably is about as healthy as eating a stick of plastic. But taste-wise, it is absolutely delicious. Now, do you feel like an absolute pig and like utter garbage after you eat this? Absolutely, frick yeah. But is it totally worth it? Again, frick yeah. So the thing I like is chocolate pudding, but for everything I like, obviously, there's something I hate. And the thing I hate is football. No matter which way you slice it, I really just don't think football is that fun, either to play or to watch, and especially not to watch. Like, I'd rather play any day of the week, but watching it is miserable to me. 1 to 2/3 of football is merely watching them stop, reset, and then start again, only for them to play for 5 seconds, stop, and then reset again. It's miserable. I think it's so boring. I think it's so uninteresting. And compared to, like, tennis or, like, ice hockey, it's so much less fun to watch than either of those. It's also so technical when it gets down to yards, like the nitty-gritty details about distances and like what's his end zone. I don't know football that well at all. I'm just saying I personally really don't enjoy it. If you do, hey, good on you, bro. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. So today's thing I like is chocolate pudding, and today's thing I hate is football. And with that being said, boys, let's get back to today's deleted scenes. Now, poor Shaak Ti just can't catch a break because this is her second death scene. Shaak Ti can't stop dying, and let's check it out right now.
What is it, Skywalker?
That's awful, bro. That's so cold. She goes, what is it, Skywalker? In the most bored voice. First of all, the Jedi Temple is being stormed, Shaak Ti. The Jedi Temple is being overrun, and you meditating can't sense that is crazy. Second of all, Anakin took no prisoners there. Anakin saw her quietly sitting there, didn't say a word, and just stabbed her through the heart. Keep in mind, he was probably friends with her like 3 days ago. 3 days ago, he probably sat down and asked her how her day was going. And then today, he's like, Psh. So, I mean, overall, I think this is probably not half bad. It's kind of the same as the other one. Like, Shaak Ti doesn't need to die. It's not canonical that we need to see Shaak Ti die for the movies to work, but it would have been better if they were in there, I think. I would have been better if we had one of those 2 deaths for Shaak Ti dying. Now, second to last is the only originals deleted scene that I think we have on this entire tier list, mostly because everything that George Lucas got, he tried to use because he was working on a tight budget. I guess not for the later movies, but for the earlier movie, he definitely was. But this is Luke Skywalker makes his new lightsaber, and let's check it out. Ah, beautiful. That's so sick. Bro, that's so wholesome. That's such a good scene. It explains how he got his new lightsaber. It explains that it's green, which I guess got explained later on in the movie anyway. But you know, we get a first glimpse of it, and it's kind of like a passing down the torch thing. Like first Obi-Wan made his lightsaber like a billion times because he kept losing it, and now Luke's following in his footsteps. I love that scene. I really think that's cool. Honestly, boys, I'm putting this scene in why the frick was this deleted. I really think this would have been a good addition to the movie. It takes nothing away from the movie, and yeah, I like it a lot. I'm willing to die on the hill. I really like this scene. All right, boys, we're saving the absolute best for last, and that's why coming in the final spot on this list is Palpatine incinerates 2 royal guards, and I'm actually very interested to see how this goes. Again, big shout out to Vader's Fortress. He's giving me a lot of these deleted scenes, a lot of the clips of them, so a big shout out VF. I appreciate you, big dog.
The deleted scenes version of the Palpatine vs Yoda fight certainly gives them a far less lame send-off. After Yoda confronts Palpatine, the Emperor rises from his chair and shoots out 2 devastating bolts of Force lightning. However, instead of blocking it using 2 to menace, Yoda force pulls both Royal Guards into the lightning. A good 5 to 6 seconds go by as the Royal Guards are electrocuted by the Emperor.
I kind of like that, actually. I think it's pretty cool. It would have been a pretty good send-off for the Royal Guards. Honestly, boys, I'm going to put this one in not half bad. I think that one would have been pretty cool. Anyway, this is a final tier list, boys, and if you like this video, I'm going to rank every single arc from the Clone Wars TV show, and I mean every single one. The Lair of Grievous, the Citadel, the Siege of Mandalore, and so many more. And we're starting off with an absolute slam dunk of a Clone Wars arc, and that is Ahsoka framed. Now, this is the one where Ahsoka is framed by Barriss Offee for bombing the Jedi Temple, is on the run for 3 or 4 episodes from the Jedi Order and Anakin Skywalker, her master, and last minute is about to be tried and found guilty until Anakin finds evidence and proves that Ahsoka is innocent and Barriss Offee is guilty. I am not joking when I say that this arc is one of the greatest in the entire TV show and one of the greatest things that we've ever gotten out of Star Wars, period. I mean, it is simply phenomenal. I genuinely think I'm going to add another tier for this one just because this is genuinely, in my mind, some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten ever. And I'm going to frickin' say that. The best Star Wars we've ever gotten. Now I'll do like parentheses basically. Just so I'm not like sacrilegious to the original sequel, the original trilogy, not the sequels, the original trilogy and the prequels and whatnot. But I truly believe that this is one of the greatest things that we've gotten out of any Star Wars TV show, certainly. Ahsoka Lost. This is the one where Ahsoka gets kidnapped by Trandoshans and is forced to play like a Hunger Games of sort on Trandoshan Islands. And is hunted until she finally overthrows the Trandoshans and frees her and several other Jedi who have also been captured over the years. What's important about these later arcs is they really show that the Clone Wars has moved on from a basic kid show back in season 1 and 2 to this deep, mature, like these episodes really are meaningful and they have death and real world elements involved in them. And I think that's so valuable. It's not S tier, it's not like wonderful, and it's not nowhere near as deep as Ahsoka framed and nowhere near as meaningful to the actual, story of Clone Wars, if you will, but I'm gonna throw that bad boy in A tier. I think that's very fair of me. Ambush. Now look, you gotta respect it. Ambush is the first ever Clone Wars arc ever. It's the first one we get in season 1. It involves Yoda crashing on a Rishi moon and proving to King Kakadu, whatever the frick his name is, that he is worthy of the Republic's support, not Asajj Ventress. And the way he proves this is just by like, I don't know, beating some droids and getting to him. It's kind of a bad system for a geopolitical war to determine who your ally is gonna be, but it's good fun. I will say that. It's very fun. It's a good way to kick off the series, and it really did show how lighthearted the Clone Wars was back when it originally started. But it really hasn't aged that well. It's nowhere near as good as most of the later arcs. I'm gonna throw this one a solid C tier. It's fun, but it's not phenomenal. I mean, this is no one's favorite, I don't think. Next up is the Bad Batch, which is an arc from season 7 of the Clone Wars, when we first get introduced to the Bad Batch as a group of people, and then later on they get their own TV show and whatnot. But this arc is fun. It's a very fun arc. I mean, I guess they find Echo in it. That's one of the big plot points. You get to meet the characters, the Bad Batch themselves, which is really fun, especially at this point in the Clone Wars where we've never seen this modification of clone before, if you will. I'm gonna put this one, I think this one's probably B tier. I don't like it as much as Ahsoka Lost, but I like it more than Ambush, so I think B tier is fair. Onderon Rebels. Now this arc is when they go to, I can't remember what planet, but they meet Saw Gerrera and his sister Sienna Gerrera, or whatever her name is, the sister who dies that Ahsoka can't save. The best part about this arc is the 7 Samurais aspect of it, where the Jedi go and find the resistance group and they go and teach them how to defeat the droids and what strategies to use to overthrow the separatist forces. That part's really good. It is cool to see Saw Gerrera, who we know down the line will become one of the heads of the rebellion against the Empire. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid arc. It's not phenomenal. I'm gonna throw this one in B tier too. Blue Shadow Virus. Now this is the one where Dr. Vanichi, or whatever the long-necked guy is in this arc, the villain finds basically the coronavirus and threatens to drop it on Naboo and destroy all life on Naboo. I mean, that is insane. That is just a crazy proposition to even have. That's millions and millions of people and animals and whatnot. So I'm impressed he even had the guts to want to do that. I remember playing this arc in LEGO Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. I remember this was one of the more fun mission sets you had to play. The actual Clone Wars arc is pretty good. Again, most of the arcs from the earlier seasons, which this one is, are way less deep and more lighthearted and fun. And those have a time and place. Don't get me wrong. Those are very good in their element. I think I like this one more than Ambush, but I like it less than the Bad Batch and Onderonian Rebels. I'm gonna put it the front of C tier. I'll do that. I think that's very reasonable on my part. Boba Fett's Revenge. This is the arc where Boba Fett goes and he wants to kill Mace Windu with the help of Aurra Sing and whatever the weird lizard-looking guy is. Oh, Boss, but also the other weird lizard-looking guy. It's kind of weird he's working with 2 big, weird lizard-looking guys, but regardless. Now, I didn't enjoy this arc that much, but I can acknowledge that it still was pretty good. My favorite part of it was when Boba Fett was undercover in the Venator, and he goes and he pretends to be a clone cadet, and he impresses all of them because he's way more skilled than any of them, and then at the end of the day, he betrays them and goes to Aurra Sing and tries to kill Mace Windu and fails a couple times, and then the series kind of trickles off from there. I do like when they go to Hondo's planet, what's it called? Frick, Florum. I'm a real fan, guys, I promise. Don't burn me at the stake. I know what I'm talking about, please. Honestly, I'm gonna throw this one, it's not A tier, but it's B tier. I think it's a solid B tier. It's a long arc, it has multiple plot points, intricate plot points, and it introduces some cool characters that we haven't really seen in the Clone Wars as of yet. Plo Koon, Aurra Sing, you know, the works. Bomb Bad Jedi. Boys, I think we might have finally gotten our first F tier. Yes! About freaking time. F tier on the list, boys. Now, this one isn't awful. The Bomb Bad Jedi is alright. But I really just don't like Jar Jar Binks. I do not think he needed to be in the Clone Wars as much as he did. I don't think a lot of people liked him in the Clone Wars that much. I mean, I didn't like him in the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, as little involvement as he had in the second movie. But regardless, I just don't like Jar Jar that much. Just what I'm trying to say is, boys, if you put Jar Jar in there, I'm just not going to be a happy camper. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I play the game. I'm not going to be satisfied with seeing this stupid freaking Gungan wander around like he's drunk for a bunch of episodes pretending to be a Jedi. It just pisses me off. So this one's going F tier, I think. But I don't like seeing clumsy characters accidentally get really lucky and do really well. It annoys me, and I don't like Jar Jar. Bounty Hunters. Now, this is the arc where Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan go to a village on, I think it was Felucia, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm sure you die-harders in the comments more so than I am will correct me if I am wrong. I think it's Felucia. But they go to Felucia and they basically, with the help of a bunch of bounty hunters, defend the village from Hondo and his gang from ransacking it and taking all the village's profit for the last like 8 seasons or whatever. And by seasons I mean like harvest seasons, not like seasons of Clone Wars, like harvest seasons of, you know what I'm saying? It's like farmers. Now, I said earlier that Onderanian Rebels I liked a lot because of the 7 Samurai archetype they do, where they go and they assist this resistance group against the Separatists, and they teach them how to defeat them, and they train them basically. And this show is more than that. They arm the village, they help the villagers prepare for the attack, and then when the attack finally comes, it's very satisfying to see the villagers, with the help of the Jedi and the bounty hunters, repel the attack. That's what I like about it. I think it's a solid B tier. I enjoy this one a lot. And it's also, we're going to see a lot of cool bounty hunters. Embo, we get to see, and I know you guys love Embo. And you want to know how I know you guys love Embo? I can prove it to you. I made a video a while ago where I found, I ranked every bounty hunter in Star Wars. I'm sure it'll come up when I do this. Yeah, top 10 best bounty hunters in Star Wars, which did all right. And guys, have you been noticing there's so many ads on YouTube lately? I mean, look, I get paid through ads, so I can't complain that much, but all these ads, I mean, gosh dang, bro. Just let me watch the freaking video. I get it. I get you need to make some money, but you don't need this money. I promise you don't need this money. I promise you. I remember in this video, I ranked all the bounty hunters in Star Wars. I think my number 10 was Greedo, 9 was Zam Wessel, and then Embo was like, yeah, Embo was number 8. I put Embo at number 8 on the list. And because just genuinely, boys, I like Embo, but there's a lot of better bounty hunters out there. Fennec Shan's better, Boba Fett's better, Cad Bane's better, Bosca's better, you name it. Usually they're better than Embo. They're just cooler, intrinsically. That is, however, my opinion, because one of the most liked comment on this video was, Embo will always be my favorite bounty hunter. I mean, how do you not like him? He literally has a dog. Oh, he literally has a dog. Well, I'm sorry, if he has a dog, then forgive me, my loyal fans. If he has a dog, then he must be the greatest of all time. I get you guys like Embo. I just think there's a lot of cooler bounty hunters than him out there. Oh, and if you're wondering who number 1 on the list was, I mean, come on, boys. You know who I am. You know what I like and what I like to see. It was freaking Cad Bane. I freaking love Cad Bane. Cad Bane is the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT. Anyway, I'll link this video, the top 10 best bounty hunters in Star Wars. I'll link it somewhere below if you want to watch it, or you can just go look it up. It's a good video. I like it. Anyway, let's get back to this tier list now that I've shown that Embo is more popular than I give him credit for, apparently. The Battle of Christophsis. Now, this arc is good. It is a little bit ruined by the fact that it relies on the Clone Wars movie too much. This is where, you know, they get Ahsoka, and then Anakin and Ahsoka have to leave to go rescue Rod of the Hutt, and they leave Obi-Wan and Christophsis. But this one does expand on it a little bit. I mean, if I remember correctly, Obi-Wan goes and commits a war crime. That's right, our man Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Anakin Skywalker, commits a war crime. Unheard of. Unbelievable. Now, the war crime was he faked his surrender to get the upper hand on his opponent, which I don't know the rules of the galaxy. U.S. law and the Geneva Conventions calls that a war crime. You can't fake a surrender. If you surrender, you got to do it for real. But Obi-Wan fakes it regardless. And then at the end of the arc, if I remember correctly, there's a clone traitor, which is really interesting. It's an interesting plot point, and it's interesting to see them work that in because they've kind of built the clones up as not built to be traitors. Like, they are impossible, like unable to be corrupted basically from their goal of serving the Republic. Obviously, we see other clones who stray away, but very rarely do we see other clones who are straight up traitors and helping the Separatists. So that's an interesting plot point. The arc itself is pretty good. Let's throw this one. I want to throw this one in C tier. I'll throw it above Ambush, but it's not as good as this. It's a little worse. I like it less than Blue Shadow Virus. I'll say that. The Citadel. Now, this, in my opinion, is one of my favorite arcs in the entire Clone Wars show. I'm dead serious. I love it. Basically, Evan PL gets captured and he has crucial information that they need to get back. So Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and a bunch of other random clones, including Captain Rex, go and mount an assault on the Citadel, a separatist armed base, to get him back. And over probably 5 episodes, they go, they free him, and they escape, but not without losses. And Evan PL himself dies in the end. It's tragic. It's very sad. It's a very sad arc. What I love so much about this arc is it really shows the brutalness of war and the brutalness of some of these commanders. I mean, the guy, what's his name? It's the guy with the same build as Moralo Eval. I can't remember his name, but the leader of the Citadel, the commander, he's devious. He will do anything to get Evan PL back, and he will do anything to stop the intruders from rescuing him. On top of that, so many characters die. I mean, a ton of clones, and then Evan PL himself don't make it out, which really shows just how much darker the Clone Wars show has gotten since, you know, the ambush days back from season 1. The Citadel is probably S tier. I really like this arc. It's one of my favorites in the entire Clone Wars show. Alright, coming up next is the subscribe button. Boys, only a small percentage of you who are watching this video are actually subscribed. And what's up with that? I know you like these videos. I know you watch them whenever I upload them. And I appreciate you so much for it. But if you do enjoy these videos, it'd really help if you just go down and check. See if you're subscribed. Because a lot of times you're not. Sometimes YouTube will unsubscribe you. And some of you might have just forgotten. Because it's a busy world out there. And we all got stuff going on. And let's throw this subscribe button in I haven't seen. Because you know what? A lot of you guys haven't seen that subscribe button, and that's the reason you haven't clicked it yet. I know if you see it, you would click it. So go and look for it and click if you see it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it more than you know. Cloak of Darkness. Now, this is the one where Ahsoka and Barriss Offee fight Ventress as she tries to go and free, what's the name? Newt Gunray from the Venator. This is probably a solid C tier, but it's high C tier. It's fun. It's a good arc. It's fun to watch. It's nice to see Luminara unduly in action. A consistent trend with Clone Wars arcs is the more unique and cool characters they introduce, especially Jedi like Luminara Unduli, Plo Koon, later on Ayla Secura, Evan PL, the more cool characters that we haven't seen before they introduce, the cooler the arc is, because it's nice to see more Jedi than just the big 4 that we see in every episode. You know, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda, maybe a little Mace Windu. It's cool to see more Jedi than just them. And this does introduce Luminara Unduli as a real character who has a great duel, by the way. The duel in this episode is really fun. So I think it's a solid C tier, top of C tier. It's not phenomenal, but it's not bad at all. Next up is Clovis Returns, and this one, look, I'm gonna be honest, boys, I don't like the Clovis episodes very much. There's like 2 or 3 of these arcs involving Clovis throughout the show, and if you don't know, he's in love with Padme or something, which makes Anakin very mad. I think these arcs are pretty boring. They're very bureaucratic. They rarely have much important stake in the show, except to show that Anakin is an angry guy who is getting closer and closer to the dark side every day. But I don't remember this arc well enough, this individual one, to rank it. I don't really think, unless it comes back to me later, I'm going to throw it in haven't seen for now. Obviously, I have seen it probably 2 or 3 times because I've watched the Clone Wars a bunch of times, but I don't remember this particular arc well enough to be fit to rank it, I think. So I'm going to throw it in haven't seen, and you guys in the comments, let me know. Let me know where you would put Clovis Returns, because I can't remember why. I don't know where I'd put it. All right, boys, I'm gonna try not to be too hurtful to one of my favorite TV shows, but this next arc coming up is genuinely one of my least favorite things I've ever seen in Star Wars. And I've seen The Acolyte, I've seen The Last Jedi, and I still probably would rather watch those more than I'd rather watch D Squad. Basically, D Squad is the most boring arc in the entire show and the least interesting arc in the entire show. I know some of you will disagree. I know some of you droid fans out there will love this arc, and I'm happy for you. You know what? I am glad that you guys enjoy this arc. It truly makes me happy to see that. I do not in any way whatsoever. This arc is basically a bunch of stupid freaking droids getting stranded on a planet where they find a clone and they help him get back to the rebellion or something. One clone, just one random guy. And that is like somehow worthy of 7 or 8 episodes. It is so long, it's not even funny. It's not even funny how long it is. It genuinely makes me mad. I hate it. Okay, it's 4 episodes. It's not 7 or 8. But you know what? The fact that those 4 episodes feel like 7 or 8 episodes shows how bad this arc is. I have to pour myself through it, like Anakin crawling up the stupid rocks on Mustafar to get off the lava area. Like, genuinely, this pisses me off. It feels so long. Yeah, I can't even put this on the same level as Bombad Jedi. I would watch the Bombad Jedi a million times over to prevent myself from watching D Squad even once. I'd rather listen to Taylor Swift than watch this arc. And we'll throw D Squad right in there because that's how I feel. Now listen, out of 130,000 of you guys, who I love to death, by the way, thank you for everything you've done for me, but I know out of 130,000 of you, some of you are bound to be Swifties. Some of you might love Taylor Swift and might think that I'm insinuating that Taylor Swift is bad by comparing her with D Squad and saying I'd rather listen to her. And you'd be right. I mean, I am dogging on Taylor Swift heavily. But take heart, viewers, because there is one Taylor Swift song that I like, and that is called Paper Rings by Taylor Swift. I really like this song. The song's actually fire. So, you know what, Swifties? You and I have something in common. We like paper rings. But no, I don't really like Taylor Swift, and this arc does suck, so that's that. Eth Koth, Rescue / Deserter. I do like this arc a good amount. I like how it continues on into 2 arcs. It starts off with Eth Koth's rescue, which is very fun. Again, because they introduce a new Jedi that we don't see very much, Eth Koth. It's really cool to see a new Jedi, and I believe Adi Gallia helps Obi-Wan rescue him, so it's another new Jedi. It's Eth Koth and Adi Gallia. Boom, peanut butter and jelly. It's fun to see new characters. It just is. But no, the first half of this is really fun with rescuing Eth Koth, and it has some cool duels with Grievous before Grievous escapes inevitably. And then the second part of it, where they go down to the planet and they find where Captain Rex finds a deserter, a clone deserter who has interesting, unique motivations for leaving the what's it called? The Republic. I promise I know what the Republic is. I just forgot for a sec. The clone who has understandable reasons for deserting the Republic finds Captain Rex, and together they protect his family by warding off a squad of commando droids. It's very fun. It's a very fun episode, and it really makes you think, which is pretty impressive because this is an earlier season. I believe it's seasons 3 or 4. I can't remember which. I think I'm throwing this one A tier. I like this one a lot. Domino Squad. Domino Squad is where we see, obviously, the Domino Squad. You know all the Domino Squad. Heavy, Echo, Fives, all these wonderful clones whose characters we get to see grow over the course of the Clone Wars and who come back in multi-facets as ARC Troopers, and Echo joins the Bad Batch later. It's wonderful. It's actually awesome. This is their origin, how they overcame their initial obstacles and their problems within the group. Now they always butt heads, can never agree on anything, and we're gonna fail out, but last minute, save the day, clutch the frick up, and prove their worth as clone soldiers of the Republic. I mean, this arc is straight up S tier. I mean, this really does show redemption, and it also sets up these characters that we get to enjoy for the rest of the whole Clone Wars show. If you watched it, then you love it. I know you do. So, I'm throwing that S tier. Dooku Captured. Now, boys, you know me. I'm a sucker with a capital S for Count Dooku. I love the guy. The guy is my spirit animal if I had one to be Count Dooku. But this arc, it is alright. It's pretty good. It's unique for sure. I mean, it's nice to see Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan working together. I like that a lot. But the whole arc itself isn't that interesting. It's pretty early on, so it's low stakes. You know no one's going to die or nothing that important's going to happen. It's cool because you think they're going to capture Dooku early on. But you've also watched Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and you know darn well that Dooku's gonna escape and be with the Separatists readily again by Episode 3, so even that can't really happen. I think I'd throw this one probably a solid B tier. At the end of B tier, it's nowhere good as Bad Batch or Onderani and Rebels, but end of B tier works well for me. I will say, if Dooku wasn't involved, it'd be C tier, straight up. Duel of the Droids. Now, this is the arc where they lose R2-D2 and they get another droid who's somehow a spy for Grievous, and it just happens to get gifted to Anakin, and it tries to kill Anakin a couple times, but never that hard, and then it ends up with them going back to the lair to find R2-D2 and Grievous and fight Grievous. This arc's alright. I really think it's probably the epitome of a C tier arc. It is one of Grievous's worst arcs in the entire show, I will say that. Out of every Grievous arc, it is probably one of the least interesting and displays Grievous the worst. And also, never on my 38 years on this earth, never in 38 years of living, have I seen Ahsoka be so annoying in an arc. I mean, she is just insufferable. Anakin's clearly like, yeah, this droid is bad news. He's obviously trying to kill me or do something to hurt me. And Ahsoka's like, oh, Sky Guy, you're just being a paranoid, obnoxious. You miss R2. And it's like, no. The droid is genuinely trying to fly Anakin into like hordes of vulture droids and trying to trap him in rooms with bad guys. Like, what do you think is? He activated the Magna Guards. Ahsoka, you are a freaking moron. You are stupid. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, this really just shows how Ahsoka became one of the greatest characters in all of Star Wars. One of my favorite Jedi and favorite characters in the entire saga. And she got to there from the point of being one of my least favorite, most insufferable characters in the original beginning of the Clone Wars show. She was so annoying. I mean, in my 38 years on this earth, have I never seen a more annoying character than in Duel of the Droids. It just pissed me off so much. Oh, frick, boys. I got Spanish class in like 5 minutes. I gotta dip while the getting's good. But I will be back to continue this list shortly. And I'll probably be back with some Chick-fil-A because I am hungry. Hungry like the wolf. So anyway, boys, don't miss me too much. I will be back shortly. Try not to watch too much good Clone Wars without me. And I'll catch you boys on the flippity floppy. See you soon. Just got back from Spanish class. Chick-fil-A in the hand. Isaac walking towards me down the hall. About to go rank Star Wars. Listen to 20 Minutes by Lil Uzi. Life is good right now. Alright, I just paused off the Chick-fil-A. So now it's time to go clean up a little bit, wash the hands, reveal the purple shirt again, and get back to filming Star Wars videos. All right, boys, we are back. We are so back. And it's time now to move on to Five's conspiracy. Now, this is the arc where Fives discovers that there's something more going on to the clones than just their programming. They have a chip in their brain that programs them and forces them to kill a Jedi. And he goes on this whole expedition and he finds out the truth and he even confronts Palpatine himself. But then he tragically dies. And real ones cried when Fives died. Not me, because I'm not a real one, obviously. But real ones cried, sobbed when Fives died. Now, if you look at the tier list so far, there's not a whole lot of S tier, boys. There's only S tier, 2 S tiers, and 1 the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, basically. And I'm seriously I'm seriously considering putting Five's conspiracy in the best Star Wars we've ever gotten. But I do, at the end of the day, prefer Ahsoka Framed. I'm gonna put it in S tier. It is still phenomenal Star Wars. It is some of the most interesting plot we have gotten. It reveals so much about the Star Wars universe and the Republic as a whole. It really sheds light on how Order 66 could have happened the way it did happen. And it really helps explain later on why Rex is able to remove the chip from his brain. Overall, it is phenomenal. I mean, there's no other way to put it, boys. If you've watched Five's Conspiracy, you love it. You feel bad for Fives, and you wish all the clones could have had the same fate that Rex did, where he's able to remove it and not be afflicted with the compulsion to kill his friends. So anyway, boys, long story short, that's S tier. Geonosius / Brain Invaders. This is another two-parter where it's first the invasion of Geonosia following Attack of the Clones, you know, when they escape the arena and all that, and start the Clone Wars there. And it goes on to the Brain Invaders, where they have the worms that go inside people's brains and control them and turn them into zombies that listen to the Queen. This arc is good. Again, we see Ki-Adi-Mundi in this picture right here. That's because Ki-Adi-Mundi is a character in this, and it's always fun to see a new Jedi. Again, I keep saying this, it's always fun. So that's instantly some brownie points, instantly a little sprinkle on top. I do like the last part of Brain Invaders when they're on the ship off of Geonosia and the worm starts invading and takes over Barriss and all the clones and Ahsoka has to fight them off alone. That is the best part of the entire arc in my opinion. I like that part a lot. But the rest of it, oh sorry, let's watch Chick-fil-A. But the rest of the arc is simply, I think B tier. I mean, it's not a phenomenal arc, but it's pretty decent. I like it a good amount. I'm gonna put it B tier. Next up is Holocron Heist, which is a Cad Bane arc, and I love Cad Bane, boys. You know me, I'm a sucker for a good bounty hunter like Cad Bane. If we're including the last half of this arc, where what's it called, when he captures Ahsoka and blows up the ship and makes his escape, I think it'd be probably B tier too. I like this arc. No, you want honestly, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at B. I think that's pretty fair of me. Next up is Jedi Crash, when Anakin, Ahsoka, and Aayla Secura crash onto some random planet and have to help some lemurs out from a firebomb thing. I think this is a solid B tier. Again, we have Aayla Secura, a new Jedi who we don't know very much about, and I love seeing a new Jedi, so that instantly gets some brownie points for me. Yeah, I think Jedi Crash is a solid B tier. It's not phenomenal, it's not super unique or special, but it's interesting. Lair of Grievous. This is an A tier off the bat. If you've ever seen this arc, you know how cool it is. You know this one actually has stakes. Nadar dies in it because he's a freaking moron. Bro, imagine you're a Jedi Knight and you became a Padawan like a week ago, and you think that you, yourself, are gonna take on General Grievous, the guy who has killed hundreds of Jedi by himself. You think that you're gonna do that. That is called being a freaking delusional moron, and that's exactly what Nadar is. Nadar deserved to die for just being so stupid, just so arrogant. But the whole arc is great when they have to navigate through Grievous's lair, and Grievous is getting fixed the whole time and is constantly taunting them, and Kit Fisto fights him in the end with 2 lightsabers. It's all great. I really like the Lair of Grievous. If you've ever seen it, you just know it's a good arc. It's one of the most classic ones in the entire show. I'm putting it A tier. Lethal Trackdown. So this is when Ahsoka and Plo Koon found Aurra Sing and Boba Fett and tried to kill them, or tried to capture them at the very least. I remember this now because earlier when I ranked Boba Fett's Revenge, I lumped this in, and this Lethal Trackdown arc is the reason I put Boba Fett's Revenge so high, because I thought they were the same arc. If they're not the same arc, I'm moving Boba Fett's Revenge down to a C, and I'm moving Lethal Trackdown up to the B tier. I like this one a lot. I think Lethal Trackdown is good. And again, I love seeing a new Jedi, and Plo Koon's in it. It's great. I love Lethal Trackdown. Lightsaber Lost. Now this is a pretty short arc. I think it may only be like 1 or 2 episodes, but this is honestly one of the cooler ones in the show just because of how unique it is. It's not dealing with global threats or planetary threats. It's not even dealing with the Separatists. It's dealing with a random lightsaber thief who takes Ahsoka's lightsaber. And Ahsoka has to listen to a wiser, older mentor, Terry Sinube, and figure out the best way to use her wits and be slow, and the best way to get her lightsaber back. This episode's a great lesson on the value of patience and the wisdom that comes with age, and overall there's a lot of great lessons in here. It grows Ahsoka's character, it introduces a new Jedi, Terry Sinube, which, hey, you love to see a new Jedi, boys, so round of applause for good old Terry Sinube. Hands up in the air, yes Terry, woo! You know what, I'll do this. If it's 1 episode, which it very well might be, I will put it A tier. If not, I'll put it B tier. How long is the lightsaber lost arc in Clone Wars? It is 1 episode, 25 minutes. So in that case, boys, I really do have to put it, let's go. I do have to put it in A tier, the Malevolence. This is one of the earlier arcs in the Clone Wars. I remember this was probably season 1 or 2, and I do remember playing LEGO Star Wars 3, the Clone Wars, that level of this, that episode of this level. I play this level in LEGO Star Wars 3 is what I'm trying to say. My favorite part of the entire arc is when the Malevolence is used on the Venator, and it hits Plo Koon and his clone troops, and they have to figure out how to get out of it and how to escape it, and how to survive too, because the droids are hunting for them. So I think the Malevolence, I'll put it B tier. I like this one. I think it's fun. I think it's a good episode, good arc. Mandalore corruption. So this is when Sabine and her like nephew and his friends discover the corruption that's happening and that Death Watch still exists on Mandalore. Out of all the Mandalorian arcs, it is the worst. It is the least interesting by far, but that's a lot. That still means it's good. Like, the Mandalorian arcs are the best arcs in all of Clone Wars, and this being the worst of the best arcs is a good thing. That's a W. We take that. Probably B tier. It's not A tier, but it's not that bad. It's not C tier. No, you know what? It honestly probably is C tier. Nothing really happens. All it does is set up the basis for Mandalore plot and Obi-Wan coming there, and then eventually the Siege of Mandalore. It's a lot of background information. It doesn't really do that much, but it's fine. I'm putting it C. The Martez sisters. Now, boys, I want you to picture something for me. I want you to put a little scenario in your head. Imagine there's a character who left the Jedi Order in season 5 and has now returned since. You don't know where she is, what happened to her, and to top it all off, she's a fan favorite character. She's one of the best characters in the show. Everyone wants to see her. Imagine you do a new season, and in the season you promise to explain where Ahsoka's been. And in that new season, the explanation you give is that she's off running around in bumfrick nowhere trying to fight random mob bosses with 2 random people you've never heard of or met before and don't care about at all. That is the Martez sisters. Possibly the least satisfying explanation for what Ahsoka's been doing for the last, year or 2 in all of Clone Wars. Genuinely. Maul conquers Mandalore. Now this, one of the reasons I love this arc so much is because Maul gets found by Death Watch, and then like 48 hours later is the literal king of Mandalore. Like, he went from 0 to hero, literally in 48 hours. That is so impressive. That is crazy. And because of that, I think I'm going to throw this bad boy. I think I'm going to put it A tier just because there are better Mandalore arcs coming up. Maul's resurrection. Now this is when Maul, gets found by Savage Opress, loses his spider legs and gets the robot legs, and then goes and absolutely decimates random towns trying to get the Jedi's attention. Obi-Wan finds him and he goes and captures Obi-Wan, and then Ventress comes and saves Obi-Wan, and then they escape, and Darth Maul and Savage go start their crime empire until eventually they're found by Mandalorians. Now that is Maul's resurrection, essentially what happens, and this is a great arc. This is really fun, it's really cool, and it's really cool to see Obi-Wan reunited with his old foe, along with getting a good explanation for how Darth Maul came back. I mean, take notes, J.J. Abrams. This is how you bring back a villain who was previously thought to be dead. And it's pretty simple. It's not that hard. You just need a little exposition, and it works great. I promise you, you could have done it with Palpatine. You really could have. I think this whole thing's A tier. I think they really could have botched this whole thing. They could have made it unconvincing and just feel like a cash grab and feel like they're bringing back some random character for the sake of bringing him back, but he really felt like he had a purpose here, and he really felt like he worked in the Clone Wars universe and fit into this whole sphere pretty well. I think they could have botched that so badly, and the fact that they didn't is worthy of an A tier to me. Plus, the arc's just freaking fun to watch. It's just cool to see Darth Maul come back, let's be honest. The Battle of Mon Calamari. This whole arc is cool because of the fact that it's set underwater, and we get to see, Kit Fisto in action. Love to see a new Jedi in action. But other than that, it's not that special. It is cool it's underwater, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. The novelty kind of wears off pretty quick. I think this is a solid C tier. I think I kind of associate the Battle of Mon Calamari with Cloak of Darkness. I feel like these two are kind of very similar in nature, and I don't know why exactly. I just feel like they are. I don't know. The Mortis arc. I think Mortis is an interesting arc. I think it's interesting because it gives us a broader view of the Force and how it's interpreted in the galaxy as a whole. I think it's cool to see the representation of the brother and sister and the father. It's very interesting. Definitely some religious themes tied in there from, Christianity, maybe Islam, maybe Buddhism. Definitely. I mean, it is the Force. The Force is a mystical energy field. That is Buddhism at its core. I think this Mortis arc is a solid A tier. I think it's really good. I greatly enjoy the Mortis arc. I think the older I've gotten too, the more interesting it's gotten. Like Obi-Wan seeing Qui-Gon, all these random events that, I don't know, I just appreciate more than I did when I was, 11 watching this. I think at 38, it makes way more sense to me, so. The Night Sister Massacre. So back in the day, we used to have a DVD of the Clone Wars that we used to watch on car rides, my sisters and I. and we only had a DVD of a third or a half of season 5, and this Night Sisters Massacre episode was in that DVD. So I've seen this episode easily probably 10, 15 maybe times. I've seen it so many times, and it's really good. It's good fun. It's really interesting. It's cool to see the Night Sisters brought in, and it's cool to see Dooku's attack on them in order to get to Ventress, and it's cool to see Grievous absolutely massacre them. The whole battle is phenomenal. It doesn't really have long-lasting consequences, except that Ventress has to go off on her own, so it's not super impactful to the actual universe as a whole. I think it's a solid B tier though. I really like this episode, and the Grievous Ventress duel is one of the more interesting duels in all of Star Wars. I love it. Night Sisters. Now this is the arc where Ventress decides she needs an apprentice to go kill Count Dooku with, so she goes and takes Savage Opress, tests him, make sure he's worthy, jacks him up on all the steroids he could find. I mean, this guy was shooting Tren for like 2 seconds and he became bigger than anyone I'll ever know. And then she sends him in undercover to go work with Dooku, and then they go and try to kill Dooku together, and Savage is like, you know what, screw this. He attacks both of them and gets out of there. I like this episode a lot. I don't like Savage Opress. This is some of the only growth as a character he has in the entire show. Literally, as soon as this arc ends, he goes and finds Darth Maul, and then he becomes Darth Maul 2.0. He just becomes a big guy with a lightsaber who's a little less interesting than Darth Maul, and who never gets another drop of character development. I put it on the same level as Night Sisters Massacre, probably. I think these are both solid B tier episodes, and they're pretty similar. They're kind of tied at the hip, so. Nomad droids. Boys, I hate droid episodes. I mean, even the good droids like C-3PO and R2-D2, there was just no universe where I wouldn't rather be watching the Jedi do something fun and something cool and something awesome in another episode. I never would choose to watch droid arcs, but I'm genuinely going to put this, and I'd rather listen to Taylor Swift. I just don't find them enjoyable at all. I really find no entertainment in them, almost in any way whatsoever. Obi-Wan Undercover. Now the thing where I see the Night Sisters Massacre a bunch of times, because I had the DVD of it, is the exact same with Obi-Wan Undercover. I had the DVD, and this was on the DVD, so I've watched this arc also probably, you know, a dozen times in my life, and I love it. I think it's so interesting. It's really creative, and the best episode of this arc is the box. The box is so cool. It's just a cool test, and it's really cool to see how Obi-Wan's training is prepared him for this, and it's cool to see the other bounty hunters in their element, and the nature of bounty hunters in general, and then of course the plot on Naboo, on the Chancellor's life, when they try to capture the Chancellor and Anakin stops them, not knowing it's Obi-Wan. It's all great. I really love this arc. Truly, I think it's phenomenal. I'm putting it in S tier. I think I really like it. I think it's so cool. Especially when, and also I forgot, when Obi-Wan goes into prison, when he goes into the prison system and he gets Cad Bane and earns his trust there, and Moralo Eval. I love that. I love it so much. Pursuit of Peace. I'm gonna level with you guys. I don't remember anything about Pursuit of Peace. I mean, I'm sure I've watched it a bunch of times, but I'm gonna put it next to Clovis Returns because I just cannot recall any of the plot points about it. Rescuing Rada the Hutt. I'm putting that F tier. I do not like Rada the Hutt at all. Leave me with garbage. Anyway, I don't like Rada the Hutt. I'm putting that F tier. I think it's boring. I think the Clone Wars movie in general is trash. Liberation on Ryloth is pretty good. It's a pretty basic Clone Wars Liberation arc, but it does show the compassion of clone troopers. When they find Numa, I think, the little Twilight girl, when they find her, Waxer and Boyle, that's their names. When they find her and take care of her for the entire arc, and they go with her and they use her help, and they liberate Ryloth, mostly because of her help and guidance. I love it. I think it's so good. I think it's similar to Batman. It's like the old saying where if you can't picture your version of Batman comforting a child, then you've just drawn Punisher with a Batman mask. Like, it is the same with clones. Like, these clones are not just killing machines. They are humans. They have empathy, and they can relate to these people, and they know what they're doing to their lives. They know that these people are in war-torn areas, and they need help and compassion. So I think it's awesome. I think Liberation on Ryloth is really good. I'm putting that A tier. I like it a lot. The Senate Murders. The Senate Murders, I'm gonna throw up there in C tier. I mean, they're interesting, but there's nothing special about them. I don't even think they use the Jedi involvement that much. It's more trying to figure out internal politics. It's not bad, but I'm just not a huge fan. It's all right. It's fine. Same thing with Senate Spy. I mean, look, there's Clovis there, and I think this Clovis betrays the Republic in some sense. I actually don't remember this one well enough. I'm also gonna put this next to Clovis Returns because I don't remember the plot of this arc almost at all. I've watched it a couple times, I'm sure, but I just don't know it. So I'm gonna throw that in haven't seen. The Siege of Mandalore / Order 66. This whole arc, you'll forgive me for putting this here, boys, but this is the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, basically. I love the Siege of Mandalore and its, you know, transition into Order 66. When they go and they capture Maul, and at the same time, all the Anakin stuff is happening where he's killing Count Dooku, and then eventually he kills Mace Windu and becomes Darth Vader, and the clones hit Order 66, and then Darth Maul knows all this, and he's telling Ahsoka, but she doesn't believe him, and then she has to save Rex and get off the ship and leave all the clones behind. It's tragic, it's sad, it's moving. It adds to Order 66 in ways that the movies never did. It really humanizes the clones and their struggle through this. I love it. I mean, everyone loves it. The Siege of Mandalore into Order 66 is just phenomenal. Sphere of Influence, I do not remember this one well enough to really rank it. I am gonna put it in haven't seen. I think that's pretty fair, and I just don't know it well enough to properly give an analysis of it. So The Disappeared. Now this is the arc when Mace Windu goes and he goes and tracks down some people, some missing people. There's like a cult thing, and it's somehow linked back to Mother Talzin, and for some reason he brings Jar Jar Binks with him. I genuinely don't know why. What a stupid thing to do. Why would you ever bring Jar Jar Binks with you? You're asking to get disappointed, but he does it for some reason. I don't remember this arc super well, but I remember it better than the haven't seen arcs. I'm gonna put this one, I'll put it in B tier. I remember being interested in it. Plus, honestly, I'm very biased by the duel with Mother Talzin and Mace Windu, because when she pulls out the dark saber, it comes out the dark sword, and it comes out like this, and it's the green magic, and she duels Mace Windu with it. That is absolutely sick. But you know what I forgot? Jar Jar Binks is in it. Trespass. Now this is the episode when they go to the snow planet that's not Hoth to take care of these tribal guys. I know this is the symbolism and Star Wars' takes on, you know, imperialism and American intervention in the Middle East. I think it, you know, obviously it misrepresents it a little bit, but it's also trying to simplify it down in a lot of ways. I think this is probably a C tier arc. It's interesting. It's pretty good. It's not bad at all, but it's just, I think it's solid C tier. The Battle of Umbra. This is the easiest S tier on this list, or at least one of them. The Battle of Umbra is phenomenal. Pong Krell and his battle against the clones, and the clones really taking up their own arms and becoming one of their own, is such a great thing to watch. Like the progression from, you know, the clones are just dropping along till eventually Pong Krell has them killing each other in battle, and then they discover that it was him all along. He tries to escape, but they capture him, and then they execute him for what he's done to them. The whole arc is awesome. The Battle of Umbra is S tier easily. The Mystery of Sifo Dyas, Yoda's Journey. Now this is a little bit more of a spiritual Clone Wars episode for at least half of it. The Mystery of Sifo Dyas is when Obi-Wan and Yoda, or Obi-Wan and Count Dooku, whoa, I'm tripping out here. Obi-Wan and Anakin go to that random planet with the pyramid-headed crime boss guys, and they discover the last guy who knows that Sifo Dyas didn't die by accident, and then they fight Count Dooku to keep the secret, and they learn that Count Dooku is Darth Tyrannus. This whole saga is a B tier, I think. It's solid. It's not super memorable, but it's alright. I like it. Younglings. Younglings is an S tier arc. I love the Younglings arc. First, when you have to go build their crystal, it really highlights the power of individuality and how everyone has their own skills and assets that they need to learn to utilize, and people need to realize their weaknesses and come to reason with those. And on top of that, when they get stranded and captured by Hondo, their ingenuity there is like awesome. It's really cool, inspiring. It's just a great take on what it means to be a Jedi youngling. And it's so, I don't know. I hate to say moving, but it's like, it really is such phenomenal Star Wars. It truly is awesome. It's like that Yoda saying from Empire Strikes Back, episode 5. It's luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. And in this episode, out of almost all the episodes in the Clone Wars, highlights that more than any of them. Like, we're all, these younglings and us as human beings, we're all luminous beings of worth and value. And I think that's one of the most valuable messages out of this. And then, of course, it ends cool when they're trying to escape from Hondo and Naka. So it's a double-edged sword. It's really cool, and it's inspiring, and it's deep, and it's just a great episode. Great arc. I love it. Younglings, phenomenal. Getting to the final 3, we have the Zillo Beast. Now this arc is decent. I think it's cooler after they capture it on Malachor. It's cooler when they bring it back to Coruscant and it breaks out there. It shows the greediness of the, I mean, this is like really tying it back to real world, but the greediness of the military industrial complex, where instead of letting this beast be, they decide they need to go kill it and study it and torture it and whatnot, just so they can make better armor. I'm putting Zillo Beast, and it's also, come on guys, it's a big freaking animal. It's a huge animal rampaging. That's freaking sick. That's really cool, and that's pretty unique for the Clone Wars. They don't do a lot of huge animal rages, so I'm throwing Zillo Beast. I'm putting that A tier. I really like Zillo Beast. Zero's Escape. Zero's Escape, I don't care about that much. The only good part, or really interesting part in my mind, is when they find out that Cad Bane is behind it, or sorry, Size Noodles is behind it, and that leads to Zero's death, And Cad Bane fights Quinlan Vos and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because, come on, boys. Quinlan Vos, new character, new Jedi, sprinkle on brownie points instantly. That's way cooler. And then when they fight Cad Bane, he uses his weapons, his rocket packs, all the works. Gets a lightsaber at one point. That's a really cool duel. But the rest of the episode is pretty, like, alright. It's not bad, but I'm putting that in C tier. What you may be noticing is that all of these C tiers right here are pretty decent. They're not as good as the stuff up here, but they're all decent. And that just goes to show how good the Clone Wars is as a show. Like, these are the only Clone Wars arcs I would really call bad. All of these I really like. Like, I think these are all good, and it comes down to how good and what's better than what. But these are all fire arcs and fire, you know, series to watch in the Clone Wars. This is why the Clone Wars is so popular, so phenomenal of a Star Wars TV show, and genuinely one of the best Star Wars products we've ever gotten, ever. Finally, last but not least, we have Zygerian Slavers, and I really like this arc, boys. I know it's not as popular per se, but to me it's always stood out as one of the more interesting arcs. Star Wars' take on slavery, and I'm moving this one to S tier. I think it's phenomenal. But boys, if you like this, Fives is genuinely one of the most tragic characters in all of Star Wars, and because of that, he's going on to S tier. Real Men Cried. That's right, boys. Today we're ranking every single character death in Star Wars on this tier list. We have 6 tiers. S, Real Men Cried. A, Sad. B, Meh, take it or leave it. C, okay. D, Couldn't Care Less. And F, I'm glad they're gone. Not too many characters in F, but there's gonna be a few. And actually, honestly, Luke Skywalker right here, I'm highly considering putting in F. I don't think I can just because Luke Skywalker is too legendary of a character, but the way they treated Luke was despicable. And his death was an absolute butchery of how it should have been. I'm gonna put him in D. Making him fade away on that island after fighting Kylo Ren in a duel from across the galaxy in this phantom fight was absolutely abhorrent. I freaking hated it. I wanted to punch my screen after I watched it. I was gearing up for some boxing. But I can't put Luke Skywalker in F. I'm glad they're gone, and I'm not glad he's gone. I wish we'd gotten more of him so that he could redeem himself, because The Last Jedi, again, absolutely made a mockery of him. So he's going in D. Couldn't care less. Next up, we have Emperor Palpatine, and this looks like Return of the Jedi Palpatine, because I think, yeah, later on we have Sequels Palpatine, and I'll put him right next to him just so we can get that out of the way real quick. Return of the Jedi Palpatine, I'm gonna put... Okay, here's what's interesting. Because I'm not sad he's gone, but they treated him with respect, and his death made sense in the universe. So I'm gonna put him in A. Not that it's sad that the most evil man to ever live in the galaxy was gone, but more that, you know, it's sad that he died... I can't even defend this. You know what I mean. It's an A tier death. Sad is the wrong word to describe it, but the death itself is A tier. I think you understand. And on a similar note, Rise of Skywalker Palpatine gets a couldn't care less death because he was shoehorned in out of the middle of bumfrick nowhere in order to make Rey have some final villain. So he's going in couldn't care less. I feel like just a little bit of a warning. I think a lot of sequel characters are going to go in couldn't care less. Next up is Darth Vader, and Darth Vader is an S tier death. The Darth Vader is actually a tragedy. Real men should have cried here because Darth Vader came back to the light. Anakin Skywalker was redeemed. Luke Skywalker saved his father, and that was an S tier death. I think everyone knows that. I'm sure tears were shed in theaters across the world when this premiered in 1983, so. Actually, let me call my dad. Let me ask him what he thought. He was in theaters in 1983 when this came out. It's one of his favorite Star Wars movies. As you know, if you've watched this channel before. That's right, we're gonna talk to Jedwerd. He's gonna cameo yet again for another time. He's coming back. Let's hope he picks up, though.
Hey, Jed.
Hey, I'm filming a video, and I was just wondering, what was it like in 1983 when Darth Vader died? Like, was it like a good ending, or did it feel weird?
No, it was a good ending. I think it was a little bit, you get a little torn. I mean, turns out it's his father. There's a lot of drama. In the end, Luke never gave up on him, on his dad.
Preach.
So you're like, man, yeah, he's
spitting facts.
Planet, killed people everywhere, and did a lot of damage to the galaxy. But in the end, he kind of, you know, wanted to be a good dad. So you had a weird...
That was the side part, that you wanted to be a good dad.
You felt bad, but at the end you're like, hey, sorry about that. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have just tried to destroy the galaxy, and I just want to be your dad, Luke.
Right. Okay, alright. Just wanted to get your input on that. Alright, thank you. Alright. Well, that is certainly first-hand knowledge. He was quite a yapper. I did not see that one coming, but anyway. On to Cad Bane, and Cad Bane is... freaking Cad Bane. I love Cad Bane. Cad Bane is genuinely one of my favorite bounty hunters in the galaxy. I love him in Clone Wars. I think he's better than Boba Fett because Book of Boba Fett ruined Boba Fett. And I'm gonna put Cad Bane, unfortunately, much to my heart's despair, in C tier. Couldn't care less because they shoehorned him in the end of Book of Boba Fett for no reason. They were like, oh, Boba needs a bad guy. Here's how the meeting probably went down in the Disney executive studio room. We gotta do something cool for the end of Boba Fett. We gotta do something cool for the end of this epic TV show. We gotta do something really sick so that people remember it. Dang, I'm looking huge. Sorry, we gotta do something really cool. What if we bring in this random bounty hunter that Boba Fett has interacted with maybe 3 times, and maybe a couple times in comics, and have Boba Fett kill him? And simultaneously, we put an end to one of the best bounty hunters in the galaxy at the same time. 2 birds with 1 stone. Guys, we're geniuses. We rule the world. They did not rule the world, in fact. That freaking sucked. I freaking hated it. C tier, couldn't care less. I wish I cared. I wish I could care about Boba Fett, but I can't. Or, sorry, Cad Bane, but I can't. Supreme Leader Snoke. I'm freaking glad Snoke's gone. The way he went out, he could have been a cool villain, but if you're going to take him out that easy, I'm glad he's gone. If you're not going to develop him, if you're not going to make him a big bad villain for the entire trilogy, get him out of here. I'm freaking glad he's gone. I'm noticing a trend with the characters that are in the bottom tiers. They seem to all be from the sequels, at least their deaths were. So, wonder how that's going to play out for the rest of the video. Let's see. Next up, oh, we got the subscribe button, which is going in Real Men Cried. And you want to know why it's going in Real Men Cried? Because I'm crying, guys. Boys, I have tears going down my cheeks as we speak. 92% of you are not subscribed. Why the heck? Like, why not? You watch my videos every week, you come and click the Jedwerd video, and you can't wait, and you clap your hands like this in a little excited ways. I know you're liking the videos. Just subscribe. It helps me out, it helps you out, it helps the channel out. Thank you very much. And now we're going on to Han Solo. Han Solo is, okay. Because I cared a little bit. In theaters, when I was 9 watching The Force Awakens, I cared a little bit. There was a little bit of empathy in my heart. But looking back on it as a mature lad in this day and age, I'm like, that's how Han Solo went out? That's how you killed him? His own son killed him when he wasn't expecting it? What a terrible ending for one of the most legendary characters in cinema. Honestly deplorable. And I know the comments are gonna be like this. Jedward, you don't understand. Harrison Ford wanted to die. Okay, I don't freaking care what. Harrison Ford has wanted to die since Empire Strikes Back. The reason that Empire Strikes Back ends on that unfinal note of Han Solo being frozen in carbonite is because George Lucas was praying to his god, because he's like a Buddhist. He was praying to Nirvana. He was praying to Nirvana that Harrison Ford would come back in Return of the Jedi, because he wasn't sure. Harrison Ford did not want to come back that much. He was not that excited for the next Star Wars movie. Harrison Ford's been asking to go since Empire, and he finally got his wish in Force Awakens, but they did not do it very well. Regrettable, but let's move on to Admiral Holdo. I'm freaking glad Admiral Holdo's gone. Frick her. Honestly, one of those characters that you're like, oh, thank goodness she's gone. She was so annoying. What an awful leader. I was happy when she was gone. Why would you not tell anyone your plan to save their lives? Why is it so important that you keep this a secret? There's no reason to keep it a secret. Don't make them think you're some agent on the inside trying to kill them all. Captain Phasma, man, we're just having like a string of sequel characters here. Holy cow, I promise you're getting to some other characters later on in the list. Plo Koon, Eth Koth, or sorry, Agent Kohler, they look kind of the same. Heavy, we're getting there, just stick with me. Captain Phasma, man, Phasma could have been a cool villain if they developed her a little bit more, but they kind of made her a random villain that Finn fought and killed. I'm gonna put her in couldn't care less, because, you know, I'm not glad she's gone. She had potential, but I don't really care that she's gone. I didn't feel anything when she died. It's just, the fight between her and Finn was merely an excuse on the part of the writers. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren was, okay. He was still bad, don't get me wrong. Like, his character arc was so wishy-washy and flip-floppy. Is he good? Is he bad? No one knows. That's just how life is now. I thought the death could have been way better, but as it was alright. It was alright. I'm putting him on C. I'm leaving him there. General Hux. General Hux, again, General Hux had real potential. He was a scary villain in Force Awakens, and everyone's seen his infamous speech, except the German version. Anyway, I think I'm gonna put him a fat C tier too, because he had a real potential, and I was hoping that his potential would be pulled out. Actually, you know what? No, there was no hope. As soon as he said, "I'm the spy," boo, we don't like that. I instantly knew it was going down the drain. There was just no hope left for him. There was no hope at all. Princess Leia. Princess Leia was an A sad. Princess Leia was one of the characters who was treated well in the sequels. I'll say that. I liked her arc, except for her flying in the space thing and her Jedi, but for the most part, she was where she should have been, leading the Resistance against the First Order. That makes sense. And when she died, it actually fit into the plot decently well. It didn't really make sense why she died, because she was perfectly healthy, standing around directing Resistance troopers until then, but I think it was sad. I think that it was well done, better than most of the sequel deaths, and I'm gonna leave her an A. Next to, man, look at the contrast between these two faces. Oof, yeesh, that's not looking too good. Qui-Gon Jinn. Real men cried. Qui-Gon Jinn had such potential. Everyone loves Qui-Gon Jinn. A lot of people, he's their favorite Jedi of a lot of people. And I wish we got more of him. I really do. I think we could have had a great arc of him as a main character if he hadn't died. But at the same time, he needed to die. I just learned this, but the reason that the Duel of the Fates music is called Duel of the Fates is because there's two fates. If Qui-Gon dies, then Obi-Wan trains Anakin and he goes to the dark side because Obi-Wan's not equipped to in the long term. If Obi-Wan dies and Qui-Gon trains Anakin, Anakin has a much better path and a much better chance at success. That's why it's called Duel of the Fates. A little fun fact for you Star Wars heads. I'm sure all of you knew that. Let me know in the comments if you did. Actually, speaking of the comments, I wanted to try something in this video. However many views this video gets, let's try to have double as many comments. So if this video has like, I don't know, 2,000 views, let's try to have 4,000 comments. And that might require, look, I'm asking you boys to be brave. That might require some of you to comment 3 or 4 times, just random things. Just type your keyboard like this. That might require it. But I think you should try. I think we should go for it. We should give it a shot. And then, I don't know, let's see. It's February 4th as I'm filming this. 2 weeks from now, I'll see how accurate we are. I'll make a community post talking about how close we got to the double comments ratio. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And let's go on to Yaddle. Yaddle had a B Mad Death because Yaddle as a character was not developed enough for us to really care about her. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. If Yaddle had been a really big character in Star Wars, we would have cared a little bit more. As it was, she was only in a couple episodes of Tales of the Jedi. And obviously she was cameoed in Phantom Menace or whatever. But her only time she ever spoke was Tales of the Jedi. It was sad because you knew that she was trying to do the right thing. But then Dooku absolutely smoked her in that duel. Oh, and I forgot. Okay, actually I'm not going to move her up. I almost moved her up because you have that fake out where you think she died and she emerges like this. She's like this and she's using the force to lift it up. And you're watching it and you're like, that's so freaking sick. But then she like collapses in absolute exhaustion and Dooku comes over and just like... Dooku walks on over and pretend this lightsaber's blue. He's like... And it's sick. So that's why Yaddle's B tier. She died at Dooku's hand. And speaking of Dooku, where the frick is Count Dooku? Boys, we have a crime on our hands. There's a Jedwerd tier list about character deaths, and Count Dooku is not on it. I'm remedying this right now. Just give me 2 seconds.
Count Dooku, my name invokes you. The Jedi orders rule too long, it's time to undo.
Alright, all is right with the world. Count Dooku is on this list. And believe me, I'm putting him S tier. I shed real tears when Count Dooku died. Not actually, I'm a tough man. But Count Dooku is an S tier, real men cried. He really was a man after my own heart. But anyway, now we're on to Zam Wessel. Zam Wessel's like couldn't care less. She was such a side character. Just a means to an end. Jango Fett hired her. And speaking of Jango Fett is okay. Because he wasn't a big enough character for me to really be sad he died. But he was cool enough where I was like, oh, I kind of wanted to see more of him. Yeah, okay, C tier. Next up we have this guy, the one and only this guy. And actually, boys, I have learned his name. Since the last video where I believe we're ranking every Star Wars character, I've learned his name is I'm a Gundy. That's the name. And the reason he's named that is because Dave Filoni thought it was funny because his entire purpose in Star Wars is to die. However, you might be asking, Jedwerd, you rogue, rebellious rapscallion, you. Why would you put him S, Real Men Cried, if he's only in 1 episode of the Clone Wars and barely has a name? Basically, Gundy has a very emotional final moment to us men. 92% men, I'm speaking to you now, 8% women on my channel. Thank you for being here, love you to death, I'm not sure if you'll get it. Basically, every man has a vision of having a final stand with the enemies approaching him on all sides, and he knows he's gonna die, but he ignites the lightsaber and faces them down anyway. Actually, you know what? I explained it so well in my ranking every Star Wars character video. I'm just gonna cut that clip and put it in here. Plus, I put one from Metallica over it in the editing software, and I think it sounds so freaking cool. So just roll that clip, All of us guys out there have had daydreams and visions of us in a valley like that, waves and waves of the enemy coming on, and us making our final stand. Sacrificing ourselves, knowing we're gonna die, but just holding off the enemy. Every guy's imagined that. Every guy can relate to Ord Mantell, if that's his name, so I'm gonna put him in C tier because that guy's living the dream. Every guy's had visions like that, so. Alright, next up is General Grievous, and General Grievous is it's an Emperor Palpatine, because General Grievous was a good character in Clone Wars. I'm gonna throw him in A. He did get respect in his death. They treated him well. That's a solid A for me. Next up is this scum sucker. I can't even remember his name. It's the guy from Solo I know. Even I couldn't remember his name. I don't remember how he died. Let me go find out. Guy from Solo death. Solo, a Star Wars story. Han shoots first. Okay, so let's just watch this.
You're still paying attention because now I'm going to tell you the most important.
You're joking. That's insane. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Look, listen to his line. His line was written in some studio by some guy who's never even like watched a movie before. Who starts a sentence with, and now I'm gonna tell you the most important, just listen.
I hope you're still paying attention because now I'm going to tell you the most important.
Who the frick talks like that? I hope you're still paying attention because now I'm gonna tell you the most important thing. Frick that. And yes, please don't get me started on prequels dialogue. I know, I'm on your side. But that just seems like over the top, excessively bad. Because of that, I'm very tempted to put him couldn't care less. So I'm going to. Plus, it doesn't really help that I couldn't physically remember his name. I had to look it up on YouTube with, what I search? Guy from Solo Death. That does not help his case very much. So he's going in couldn't care less in D tier. Next up is a genuine tragedy, and that is 99. 99 is going S tier. And everyone who's ever watched Clone Wars knows why. 99, defective clone. Everyone thought he was useless. Everyone looked down on him. But he did his duty. He stood tall, he stood strong, and he fought till the end. He wanted to serve his brothers, wanted to help them, and he defined loyalty in the Clone Wars TV show. 99, S tier all day, my friend. See you in Valhalla. Shmi Skywalker. Shmi Skywalker is an okay death because you kind of knew she was gonna die. She kind of has to give Anakin the emotional tension he needs. So yeah, I'm putting her in okay. It was kind of weird because they didn't really talk about her, and then all of a sudden Anakin's just there and she's dying on this like wooden cross thing. So that was kind of weirdly done in my opinion, but C tier. Okay. Heavy is another S tier. Boys, I'm a sucker for self-sacrifice. Look at this, just look at this list. So many of these guys sacrifice themselves for a cause greater than themselves, and Heavy is no exception. Heavy was another 99 character who did his duty, and everyone loves that, so. S tier, Real Men Cried. Darth Maul from Phantom Menace. Darth Maul from Phantom Menace is kind of an okay. I gotta be honest, and the only reason I'm saying that is because there's also a Darth Maul from like Clone Wars Rebels at the end of this list. That's why I'm saying that, because in Phantom Menace, look, he was so cool. Ray Park, choreography, double-weighted lightsaber, all of it was sick. I was a big fanboy, believe me. When he does the little thing, that was sick. Anyone would say that. But he was not that great of a character, and his death wasn't that emotional because he was underused. He had what, 30 words in the entire movie and a cool fight? Phantom Menace Darth Maul is an easy C tier. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'll move him to Matt because he was better than these two. He was better than Kylo Ren and Han Solo. Pong Krell. Pong Krell was one of those guys that you love to hate. He was, honestly, I'm throwing my boy up there in A for villainy, up with the other two big villains of the Star Wars so far. Pong Krell was really cool in the sense that he was awful. Everyone hated him and you were supposed to hate him. He was despicable. But he had a great arc as a character and his death was very well done. The whole fight with the clones, leading them through the weird night jungle, that was sick. So I'm putting him up there in A. Pre-Vizsla. Pre-Vizsla is A tier. Pre-Vizsla, look boys, this might be a little unpopular. Pre-Vizsla was kind of right. In some way, look, I'm not defending Death Watch, but Pre-Vizsla was kind of right. Mandalore had gotten weak. Mandalore was able to be pushed over by anyone who got in their way. And Pre-Vizsla saw that, and look, maybe he was a little extreme. I'll give you that. But he knew what he wanted. He knew how to make Mandalore strong again, and he implemented his system in one of the best ways possible. He tried his best. Also, his final words, absolutely sick. There ain't no man out there who watched that and didn't have respect for the guy. That's a good way to go out. He met a warrior's end.
Like you said, only the strongest shall rule.
Ki-Adi-Mundi. Okay, so I think there's a bunch of Jedi on this list who only appear basically in their Order 66 deaths. We have Ki-Adi-Mundi, Aayla Secura, Plo Koon. Anyone else? Is that it? I think that's it. Okay, Ki-Adi-Mundi, of the Order 66 deaths, Ki-Adi-Mundi is the one I feel the least empathy for because I have the least connection with him. Ki-Adi-Mundi is going in C, okay, because I don't really care about him that much. Plo Koon is going in A, sad, because through Clone Wars, Plo Koon was actually developed into a real character. And it was sad when he died. It was sad when his clones turned on him and they shot him down over, I can't remember which planet. Again, you commenters will know which planet. Another great thing to comment on and double the comments to views on this video. I haven't forgotten about that and you shouldn't either. Aayla Secura is also really sad, and here's why. I watched a YouTuber called The Closer Look who does a lot of great videos. I really recommend you check him out. And he talked about this, about why Order 66 is one of the saddest scenes in Star Wars. And in it, he mentioned that Aayla Secura, when she's getting shot, when she's on Felucia, I know that planet, and the clones are behind her and they're getting ready to open fire. When they first raise their guns to point it at her, she looks ahead of her. She has no idea what's happening. She thinks they're going to shoot an enemy ahead of them. She has so much faith in them that when they raise their guns and point it at her back, she doesn't even notice. She thinks they see a surprise attack that she doesn't. She thinks they're looking out for her. And then when they do start shooting, she doesn't fight. She raises her hands in surrender, but it doesn't matter. That was sad. Real men didn't cry, but that was sad. Greedo is next, and Greedo's going couldn't care less, D tier. Here's why. Greedo only exists for one purpose, to show that Han Solo was in immense debt to Jabba the Hutt. That's the only reason. There's only one reason, and that was it. And Greedo, terrible bounty hunter. If you're a bounty hunter and your target gets to jump on you by playing with the wall and distracting you so he can get his gun out, you know it's over for you. You know you're not going anywhere. Your career is over, buddy. Kiss it goodbye. So Greedo's going D tier. Ben Kenobi. Ben Kenobi, here's the thing. Ben Kenobi's death was done so well, and he doesn't really die in the sense that he is a Force ghost, so I'm gonna put him A tier. If he had died permanently and it was meant to be a little sadder, I'd put him S tier, but he did it so well. The actual fight with Darth Vader, it helps that he surrenders himself. That's one of the key components. If Darth Vader had killed him, behind, like stabbed him in the back or something, that would have been sad. But he surrenders himself so they can escape, and he can guide Luke through the Force. Jabba the Hutt. Oh, this, boys, someone's chopping onions right now. This is S tier. Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, freaking Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's, okay. Andor, okay, Andor and where's Jin? Andor, Jin, and Shira are all kind of the same tier because Rogue One is a movie about self-sacrifice and fighting for what you believe, even giving up your own life. So I'm gonna put all of them in sad. That was a sad movie. I remember being blown away when I was watching them in theaters get shot. When the Death Star hits the planet and they're sitting on the beach and the wave of fire is coming towards them, that's sad. That really is. And it really catches you off guard. You're not expecting that from a Star Wars movie. Chirrut also kind of same scenario. He was just trying to help them. He did help them actually. He connected the thing and then he got blown to bits. But it was sad because Chirrut was a cool character. Chirrut was funny as frick, man. I miss that guy.
Are you kidding me? I'm blind.
Padme Amidala. Padme is A sad. Padme is an A tier sad because, well, here's the thing actually. No, she's B. I'm putting her in B. You wanna know freaking why? Because she had no right to die. She's in a top tier medical establishment on some random asteroid in the middle of bumfrick nowhere, and she's like in perfect health, nothing wrong with her. She's lost the will to live. The frick does that supposed to mean? Medical droid, fix her up. Get her back to health. You can't will yourself to die. I don't care how sad you are. You got two twins that need you. Frick's wrong with you, honestly. B tier. Only because she was so weak-willed. That's my issue with the whole predicament. Yoda. Yoda would be sad, except he's almost exactly like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's in the same boat because when Yoda died, it was for a greater purpose and he was a Force ghost. He stayed on to help. A tier is a good spot for both of these characters. I think their deaths were done very well. Mace Windu. Mace Windu is going A tier. A tier, I was gonna put him in B, but I think A tier just because of one thing. In the Revenge of the Sith novelization, it is revealed that Mace Windu is going to appoint Anakin as a Jedi Master. Jedi Master after they defeated Sidious together. And that is a true reflection on the meme, honestly, of the you are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Master. That's a true insider knowledge. And because of that, it's sad that he died. I'm gonna put him A. I'm gonna put him A tier. Also, Samuel L. Jackson. Everyone's sad when Samuel L. Jackson leaves the movie. It's just, you know, it's gonna go downhill from there. Alright, these next three are all the ones who confronted Sidious with Mace Windu in Palpatine's office. Kit Fisto, Stacey Tin, and Agent Kolar. These two, Stacey Tin and Agent Kolar, couldn't care less. Honestly, if you're going to put up that little of a fight against Palpatine as Jedi Masters, I mean, both these guys are on the Jedi Council. They're both proficient in their areas of expertise. If you're going to put up that little of a fight, you deserve death. Honestly, look, I'm just saying, look, don't hate the player, hate the game. If you're going to play the game that badly, where you get impaled with a lightsaber on the first time he swings, you freaking deserve it. Don't come whining to me. D tier, couldn't care less. Kit Fisto, C tier. Because Kit Fisto blocked one hit from Palpatine. That one hit he blocked saved his reputation in my book. C tier. Alright, next up is Tech. How does Omega say it? Tech, tick, tick. I freaking hate Omega so much. Honestly, I can't stand her. Tech, alright boys, time to level with you. I have watched Bad Batch Season 2. I have, I promise you. But I did kind of trail off towards the end, and I kind of lost focus when Tech died, so I don't really remember his death that well. But I do remember he fell to his death from that thing, and Tech was a cool character of the Bad Batch. He's going after with Padme, Maul, and Yaddle. The Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is going C tier because he has sick final words. His final words were really cool and a really good reflection on the power of the dark side and pissing off the wrong people.
There are some things far more frightening than death.
So C tier. Okay. That's where I'm going to put him. Plus, I hate his lightsaber, so he loses... As a character, he loses a little bit of points in my book. Kanan Jarrus. Okay, again, anyone who's watched the channel, boys, Jedwardians out there, you know I haven't watched Rebel Seasons 3 and 4. I'm going to, I promise, but I haven't yet. But I have seen Kanan Jarrus' death scene. There was some sick music in the background, some really emotional music swelling over it. He's doing one of these. He's holding back Hera, and he's also holding back the fire. And it's a sick moment of self-sacrifice. His vision returns, Boys, without having watched Rebels season 3 and 4, I'm putting him in S. That's how you know it's a good death. When I cried without having watched the show and not knowing him as a character that well, when I didn't actually cry, but when I cry, real men cry, you know that you've done it right. Because I wasn't even that attached. I haven't watched all of Rebels, and I still thought it was super sad and super heroic of him. So S, real men cried. Darth Maul from the Clone Wars and Rebels. Darth Maul, honestly, real men cried. Honestly, when I saw some YouTube comment about this, I think it was in the top comment of the Maul tribute video with like 10 million views. The top comment said something along these lines. It was, the sad part of Maul's death is realizing that he never actually hated Obi-Wan. He never actually hated the Jedi. He hated Palpatine. But since he couldn't get to Palpatine, he settled for less. He thought that this would make him happy. He thought pursuing these people who he thought had harmed him would make him happy and satisfy his need for revenge, but it didn't. All it did was make it worse. And also, I do know that you boys really like Darth Maul, because in my video where I asked you guys to fill out my Google form test and I reacted to it, you guys said Darth Maul was one of your favorite Sith. Go watch that video right now. I promise it's so good. You'll really like it. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. And thank you very much for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe. Have a good one, guys. Bye. See you later. See ya. Bye.